the teacher discussed the test paper is not as effective as my own review. Indeed, that is true. Xin Yan was also one who did not pay much heed in class. Those who achieved high scores had their own study methods. Coupled with Xia Yin-chun's self-discipline, evident even during weekends, maintaining her grades would be effortless, even if she had to self-study at home. At present, he too was in a similar situation, which gave him the audacity to say that Xia Yin-chun's high scores were solely her own merit, with teachers being of secondary importance. Before he was filled with ambition, Xin Yan spent his free time playing video games, adopting the mindset that as long as his grades remained stable, scoring well enough to attend a university in another city was quite acceptable. He often sacrificed sleep for gaming. The gap in their academic achievements widened with each indulgence. Seeing Xia Yin-chun actually begin to study, Xin Yan immediately scooted over, pushing her slightly to the other side of the chair while he perched on the edge, leaning close to her. It's too late tonight. Staying up late will cause breakouts. This is my study time. I need to read every day. Xia Yin-chun brushed away his outstretched hand. What does my sleep have to do with you? You can play for a while, and then hurry back. Let me sleep, and you're not sleeping either. I'm not going back tonight. Why not? Are you planning to sleep on the sofa? Guess. Xin Yan squinted and pinched her delicate ear. Don't study tonight. I'm here to warm your bed. Xia Yin-chun's big eyes sparkled as she raised a finger. 10 minutes. Xin Yan pressed her finger down. What are you trying to do? Are you planning to stay here? I want to tell you. You really have thick skin. Xin Yan, unfazed, ruffled Xia Yin-chun's fluffy hair and returned to sit on the bed, burrowing into her blankets. If I weren't thick-skinned, I wouldn't be able to be the best in the world. If you want to study, then do so. I'll just play on my phone for a bit. If you truly wish to be close to me, let me offer you a shortcut. Xin Yan was taken aback. Are you suggesting we take that route? Go away. Xia Yin-chun rolled her eyes, responding tersely. You must address me as Sister Chun at least once a day, and we will surely get along. I don't even want to expose you. Hockey Chun surprisingly seeks only her own pleasure, yet insists she is not a bad woman. The shortcut is laid out here. If you choose not to take it, so be it. Xia Yanchun shrugs, indifferent, as if to say, do you truly believe I desire your company? All right. We're not compatible. Come now, the bed is warm enough for you. Chapter 174. A mere brush of lips does not constitute a kiss. Can you not listen for once? I'm genuinely upset. It's quite impudent to linger in someone else's home at this late hour. What are you babbling about? If you don't come soon, I'll truly fall asleep. This is my bed. You can't just sleep here. Hee. With Xin Yan around, Xia Yanchun finds it impossible to concentrate on her studies. This pattern persists whenever they are not at school. If she fails to match Xin Yan's performance in the upcoming exam, it will undoubtedly be due to his incessant interruptions. His daily visits hinder her studies, causing her progress to stagnate, allowing Xin Yan to outpace her. If her once proud achievements cannot overshadow his, he will surely become insufferable. The current ambiguity makes her uneasy. On the day results are revealed, his demeanor may very well change. Previously, she had hoped for Xin Yan's success, but now, as he excels, a part of her wishes he would not surpass her, at least not to the point where she possesses no advantages whatsoever before him. Frustrating. However, she soon dismisses these thoughts. In terms of grades, she harbors her own small pride. Attempting to outpace her will not be so simple. A little less studying won't hurt. After all, the weather is quite chilly, and Xia Yanchun cannot resist turning off the lights in her room. Instantly, the room is enveloped in darkness, save for the glow of Xin Yan's phone. Upon noticing, Xia Yanchun feels her heart sink. This fellow is watching an online class. How infuriating. He disrupts her studies while secretly attending a lesson himself. Annoyed, she throws a pillow at him. No more watching. Not fair. Even watching an online class earns me scolding. There are alternative methods for solving this problem. I must take a look. What problem type? Show me as well. Xia Yanchun climbs onto the bed, maneuvering past Xin Yan to lie against the wall, her head poking toward him. She resumes her studies from the beginning. Impressive. This solution is quite ingenious. Eager to learn, Xia Yanchun mentally revisits the solution process she had just observed. No more. It's time for sleep. Xin Yan places his phone on the desk, adjusts the blanket, and covers half of Xia Yanchun's face. The warmth of the duvet is truly comforting. As she lies down, Xia Yanchun immediately feels the heat radiating from Xin Yan, even through the air, causing her cheeks to flush. She whimpers softly, squirming, her small hand emerging from the blanket to raise a finger. Before she can declare that it's only for 10 minutes, Xin Yan swiftly tucks her hand back under the covers. Are you really planning to sleep next to me? Do you realize how disastrous it would be if we were discovered? Who would find out? My sister? Xia Yanchun is momentarily speechless. Both their families are absent, and Xinyu has gone to work. In a certain sense, no one would know what they are up to. But that doesn't make it permissible. Two 18-year-olds of the opposite sex cannot share a bed like this. Just keeping you warm. As Xia Yanchun remained silent, Xin Yan leaned in closer, cradling her hand in his palm. Despite being nestled in the blankets, her hand remained icy, and Xin Yan rubbed his foot against hers, finding it even colder. Xia Yanchun instinctively curled her toes. This isn't good, she murmured softly, her expression obscured in the darkness. What is not good? It's just not good. Well, I shall not concern myself. Your discomfort only affirms my correctness. You're incorrigible. We're evenly matched. Xin Yan's arm encircled Xia Yanchun's petite frame, drawing her nearer, his warm breath brushing against her forehead. I find it rather pleasant for us to sleep together like this. What is so pleasant about it? Well, I think it's quite delightful. Xia Yanchun puffed her cheeks, as they lay side by side, noticing Xin Yan had no intention of leaving. She found herself at a loss for words. Should she indulge him? Must they even indulge in sharing a bed? Avoiding his gaze, she buried half her face in his embrace, hesitating for a moment. We are rivals, after all. So what of it? I genuinely still detest you. Indeed. I shall do the opposite of what you desire. Xia Yanchun playfully nudged her feet into Shun Yan's, seeking warmth from his lingering heat. Winter necessitates the comfort of a fluffy quilt. It surpasses the warmth of heating, provided there is someone to share the bed with. Now that she had a warm companion, comfort was all that remained. Shun Yan carried a pleasant scent, having just bathed, and Xia Yanchun took a small sniff, uncertain if it was merely her imagination. She sensed that Shun Yan believed her mood was quite buoyant, prompting him to hold her tighter, his large hand resting on her back as he shifted her slightly to meet her almond-shaped eyes. In such proximity, Xia Yanchun would certainly not engage in any game of who could hold their gaze longer. She quickly averted her eyes, pouting, "What are you staring at, a coin?" Shun Yan smiled softly, remaining silent, as he faced her, his breath quickening as he leaned closer. For the first time, being so near to Shun Yan, their noses nearly touching, Xia Yanchun's heart raced, bubbling like boiling water. His lips were even warmer than she had anticipated, slightly coarse. Just a gentle brush against her own sent her pulling the quilt over her face, leaving only her sparkling eyes visible. It was merely an accidental touch. Xia Yanchun's heart threatened to leap from her chest. She hadn't expected Shen Yan to be so audacious as to truly wish to kiss her. "I really must sleep, Shen Yan. Just let me have another kiss. Get lost. Who permitted you to kiss me? How nauseating. You must have left drool. Are you ever done?" Embarrassed and indignant, Xia Yanchun placed her hand against Shun Yan's chest, feeling his heartbeat, a reflection of her own exhilaration. Even as she sought to create trouble, one kiss was insufficient. He wanted more? No, it was just a brush of lips. That doesn't count as a kiss. Rivals cannot kiss. Brothers cannot kiss sisters. She turned away from him, her back to Shun Yan. "Don't disturb me. If I sleep in class tomorrow, it's your fault. Then let us sleep. I'll bring you breakfast tomorrow." Shen Yan, having become rather docile, no longer dared to hold her tightly. A mere kiss on Xia Yanchun's lips was already quite gratifying for him. Once the physical sensations subsided significantly, he cautiously placed his hand on Chuanbao's soft abdomen, embracing her comfortably and wishing her good night. Xia Yanchun, however, ignored him, turning towards the wall like a turtle, preferring to fiddle with the plush of her toy rather than converse with this fellow who fancied his own comforts. Yet, his hand was undeniably soothing. The peony blossoms had begun to bloom. Chapter 175. Your sleeping posture is abysmal today. Shen Yan did not engage in his usual exercise. Although he rose early, he was reluctant to leave the warmth of the blankets, instead lying beside Xia Yanchun in a half-dreamy state, embracing her for an extended period. Haki-chun slept rather restlessly, constantly shifting and stirring, awakening him several times. Were it not for his limited sleep duration, he might have lost his temper and inadvertently kicked Xia Yanchun out of bed. However, given that this was her room, he dared not act so rashly, lest he risk losing his cozy haven. It was not entirely fair to blame Chunbao. It seemed that his own shortcomings were greater, as he selfishly held her close without considering whether she could sleep well in his embrace. As it was still early, Xia Yanchun had not yet awakened, her body fully relaxed and soft as could be. Shun Yin gently rubbed her belly, taking great care not to disturb her slumber. He had intended to bring her breakfast, but since he skipped his workout, he had nothing to offer, only planning to fetch something along the way later. As the clock approached 6, Shun Yin silenced Xia Yanchun's alarm and gently pinched her ear. Xia Yanchun furrowed her brow slightly, instinctively emitting soft, delicate sounds as she lazily turned over, seeking to nestle deeper into Shun Yin's embrace to continue her slumber. It was time to rise, yet she lingered in bed. Shun Yin poked her forehead. Xia Yanchun opened her bleary eyes, sleepily parting her lips. Upon awakening, her first instinct was to push Shun Yin away, but her strength was lacking, and her hand merely rested on his chest. "What time is it?" "Exactly 6 o'clock. "Oh," Xia Yanchun replied dazedly, struggling to sit up. Feeling the chill of the air, she slowly lay back down, exclaiming, "It's so cold. Cold or not, you must get up. Just 10 more minutes. You have sleep in your eyes. Be careful, or I might wipe it off you." Seriously, how disgusting. Quite average, really. Xia Yanchun had mastered a certain shamelessness. If she couldn't even manage such trivial matters, she would have no hope of persuading little Shen Yin to do her bidding or shoulder the blame. After a few minutes of luxuriating in the warmth of the bed, she mustered her energy to sit up, playfully tapping Shun Yin's head. "Still sleeping? Rise and shine. Am I not waiting for you? Did you not exercise? Your breath reeks. Or have you become so lazy that you don't brush your teeth or wash your face in the morning?" Xia Yanchun, sitting like a duck, crinkled her nose in disdain. It was no wonder that the duck-sitting pose was considered the most adorable for young girls. It was utterly charming to Shen Yin, who chuckled heartily. "I skipped today. I now question whether you ever exercise at all. What's wrong with taking a day off? To date, I have yet to see you engage in any physical activity, hence my skepticism. There are plenty of things you have yet to witness." Xia Yanchun blinked, suddenly looking scornful. "As expected, you haven't changed, have you?" Shen Yin took a moment of deep contemplation before finally grasping the essence of her words, no longer smiling. Did BYD still wish to witness his friend's downfall? Alas, he had unwittingly led himself into a pitfall. Haji Chun, ever so keen, seized the slightest opportunity to unleash her fervor, displaying an audacity that was quite extraordinary. "Who cares whether you believe it or not?" Shen Yin bared his teeth, casting aside any consideration for the girl's emotional state. He threw off the covers and dashed home in a blur. Upon arriving, he brushed his teeth and washed his face. Aware that at this hour, Shen Yin would almost certainly remain asleep, making it impossible to catch him spending the night at Xia Yanchun's house. What a predicament! It felt as if he had spent the entire night lying beside her, his body awash with a lingering fragrance. When the time came, they departed together. sharing breakfast downstairs in the community. At this hour, the streets were filled with middle school students, adorned in various uniforms, gathering in small clusters. The air heavy with the warmth of steam rising from the stalls. What shall we eat? You order for me, he suggested, hinting at the desire for a treat. As if it were a mere formality to ask, Xin Yan, having known her since childhood, was well aware of every little detail. Even the faint birthmark on Xia Yin Chun's skin, yet this playful manipulation of unspoken understanding felt rather juvenile. Humph, are you going to drink soy milk? No. And you aren't allowed to drink it either. Soy milk is fine. After all, it is a type of beverage, and you haven't exercised today. So why should you indulge in sweets? Xin Yin clicked his tongue, realizing that even sipping a drink now required a clandestine approach. Xia Yin Chun remained as sweet as ever, appearing to be a charming young girl, impeccably dressed in light blue trousers. Seemingly having tucked her school uniform jacket into a small bag, the steaming rice rolls were served, 1 portion for Xia Yin Chun and 2 for Xin Yin, along with 2 steamed buns. You eat more than a pig, Xia Yin Chun could not help but tease. Not too bad, I'm not ravenous, Xin Yin replied. Just a little hungry. When did you wake up? A bit before you. He lied, having gone to bed around midnight and waking at 4:30. Spending the rest of the time lying next to Chun Bao, basking in the scent of her hair and the warmth of her presence until 6. Good grief. Xin Yin felt he had done nothing of consequence, merely maintaining a single posture, yet expressing it made it sound rather lewd. Sleeping next to you is unbearable. You're not allowed to come over late at night again. I don't need you to warm my bed. Is it really that uncomfortable? Indeed. But you seem to sleep quite soundly. Enough of that. Your sleeping posture is atrocious, it's infuriating. Xia Yin Chun chattered away, her words dripping with sincerity. Seeing you sleep so peacefully, I couldn't bear to wake you. With a sister as kind-hearted as I, you should consider yourself lucky. So benevolent, so benevolent. Xin Yin clapped mockingly. She hadn't stirred even when he touched her belly, her dreams filled with murmurs, sleeping like a little pig. Had Xin Yin not risen early, he might have fallen for Xia Yin Chun's tricks. She had a knack for twisting the truth, both in the past and present. The innate charm of her persona. With all her little schemes directed solely at him. It was Friday, and a thick fog blanketed the morning, with temperatures mirroring those of the previous day. Xin Yin had checked the weather forecast, which predicted a spell of cooler days ahead, with the lowest temperature dipping to 9 degrees and the highest reaching 18. The climate had yet to stabilize fully. The weather today renders exercising rather uninviting, prompting Xin Yin to contemplate relocating his workout sessions to the comfort of his home. Even if the rain holds off, he plans to engage in an hour of indoor activities, such as squats and push-ups. Due to a leisurely breakfast at the dining hall, Xia Yanchun finds herself arriving at school a tad late. By chance, she encounters a group of athletic students returning to their dormitory after training. Clad in shorts despite the winter chill, they exude an aura of vitality, and among them is Huang Chun. Upon spotting Xia Yanchun, a few of them immediately engage in playful antics, inadvertently causing a commotion. Xia Yanchun rolls her eyes, feeling rather exasperated. Surely, no girl could possibly be attracted to such behavior. She has heard that boys, when passing by a crush, might playfully slap their friends to draw attention. Whether this is true remains a mystery to her. Shun Yin approaches from behind, nudging Xia Yanchun, causing the athletic students to awkwardly disperse. Why didn't you wait for me? Would it have killed you to wait half a minute? Shin Yin queries, exasperated. The cold air envelopes them. I can tell you're not pleased with me. We both fell asleep last night. Could all of this be merely a figment of my imagination? Xia Yanchun's eyes widen in surprise, and in frustration, she tugs at his shirt. Are you trying to drive me mad? Why say such things? No one can hear us. I'm not speaking loudly, he responds. Even if no one hears you, you shouldn't say it, understand? Just pretend yesterday never happened. Alright, Shin Yin concedes. By the way, those athletic students seemed eager to get acquainted with you. Of course, I am simply outstanding, she replies with a hint of pride. Indeed, your confidence is admirable, Shin Yin smirks. I feel capable of outshining them all. Where does this bravado come from? Don't believe me? I wish I could. But they have been preparing for physical exams since the class divisions. They've been training rigorously. You only started working out this semester, didn't you? People can dream and boast a little, right? Just to amuse you, Sister Yanchun. A smile from you would suffice to let it all pass. Truly, I could run 2 laps without breaking a sweat while holding you. Allow me to display my muscles. He flexes his arm, the loose jacket concealing any visible change. Xia Yanchun pinches him, finding his muscles surprisingly firm, her fingers reddening from the effort. 3 months of training. Can one really achieve abs and such solid muscle in that time? She feels incredulous, envisioning Shun Yin delivering a punch that could turn her into a squishy cream puff. Alright, you are impressive, she concedes. Shifting the topic, she asks, do boys always act a bit hyper around girls? They were just pretending to dribble an invisible basketball. It was quite amusing. They wish to get to know you, to assert their presence and catch your eye. Honestly, many boys behave this way. If I were the object of their affection, witnessing them trying to elevate their visibility by slapping their friends would only seem bizarre. Don't generalize. That is merely a small fraction. I, for one, am not like that. I've never slapped Qindong when I'm beside you. Shin Yin chuckles. Xia Yanchun bites her lip, hastening her pace, her cheeks warming slightly. Can you truly call that infatuation? You barely put on a show. Who asked you? She retorts, her voice muffled. Are you hungry? Shun Yin retrieved 2 steamed dumplings from his pocket and presented them before her lips. Xia Yanchun opened her mouth, glancing around with keen awareness to ensure no acquaintances were present, before swiftly taking a bite of the dumpling. The dumplings from the south were predominantly made of glutinous rice. Savory and aromatic, still warm. A slight greasiness adorned Xia Yanchun's lips, prompting her to extend her tongue to lick them. Shen Nian swallowed the remainder in a single gulp. In the classroom, he consumed half a bottle of cold water, feeling a chill settle in his stomach. Drinking cold water in winter only intensified the sensation. Lo and behold, a new commercial star had arrived. Upon spotting Shen Nian, Shen Dong erupted in playful banter. Hey you, have you seen the confession wall? Your name has been prominently displayed there. What? I'm not even on the forum? Shen Nian's face fell, a look of dismay crossing his features. The confession wall should be used for genuine declarations, not for all this nonsense. Shen Nian scratched his face, curious about what they had said about him. You should take a moment to check it out yourself. I laughed so hard last night, I nearly lost it. Did you really lose it? Damn it. During the long break, Shen Nian's curiosity got the better of him, and he discreetly shielded his phone with a book to sneak a peek. He saw a post about himself and felt a rush of audacity. What could a teacher do if caught? He truly feared little, acknowledging his own arrogance. Yet he felt that school no longer offered him much. While the institution may not miss a student like him, he certainly had no need for it either. He specifically sought out the confession wall, scrolling through a few posts until he discovered one related to him. The accompanying image was that of an honor roll, with the caption reading, "This genius had me laughing uncontrollably. The wall is killing me." There were quite a few comments below. Is the honor roll not subject to review? Is this life motto accurate? Captured in broad daylight with a phone. You're not so simple yourself. OP. Is it really $5 a day? I have a 2-digit app that sums to 10. Care for a little advertisement? Do you have a problem up there? Follow Yon Chun Dafe. Thank you, meow. I've already sent him $5. Let me share something from today. I saw 2 boys in the cafeteria, after eating. They went to buy drinks, and then returned to their dorm. Why didn't you mention such a significant event sooner? ISNT, anyone concerned about his mental state? A congregation of eccentrics. Shen Nian found his mind reeling, pondering if this was truly the second high school. Is this humanity? The second high school was already among the finest in the province, and it seemed this generation had nearly reached its nadir. Individuals like him, who possessed a semblance of normalcy, had become a rare breed. We were on the brink of the age of pretenders. The post garnered numerous likes and comments. Peaking in the evening, Shen Nian began to grasp that perhaps this task of renown was indeed fulfilled in this manner. News spread like wildfire, and now everyone recognized him. Good news travels far and wide. Shen Nian pulled Shen Dong aside for a moment, playfully patting his back. Hey brother, have you made any progress with your childhood sweetheart lately? If you want to rub against me, just do it. Stop looking for topics. Shen Nian wiped both hands against Chen Dong. Everyone heard that. It was Chen Dong who said to just go for it. You're not actually going to do it, are you? Chen Dong feigned distress. If you truly did, you wouldn't be pleased. Why don't you just shake it off? My apologies, my friend. I didn't notice you earlier. I was wondering whose clothes were hanging there, but it turns out it was you. I'm truly sorry. I'll bring you back a couple of duck feet. What more is there to say? Since we're calling each other brothers, I could simply remove my shirt to wipe your hands, couldn't I? Shen Nian indeed brought Chen Dong 2 duck feet. The two of them munched on them together in the corridor, a strong aroma of pickled peppers wafting through the air. By the way, how are things going with your childhood sweetheart? Have you two started dating? Not at all. Chen Dong fell silent for a moment. She had an accident a while back and hasn't been to school for months. If she doesn't perform well on the college entrance exam, she'll have to repeat the year. What happened that is so serious? Haha, she got into a car accident while out having fun. Fortunately, only her leg was injured. But healing from such injuries takes a long time. She can barely stand for a while now. I used to visit her in the hospital every day. Shen Nian sighed, feeling somewhat helpless. As for healing those injuries, his miraculous skills could be worth a try, but the conditions for their activation are rather stringent, requiring physical contact. Even if he were willing to attempt treatment, she might not consent. Who would allow a stranger of the opposite sex to touch them? If she could heal, that would be fortunate. Shen Nian casually offered some words of comfort, reasoning that since she could recover, it was not his concern to ponder, as modern medicine is sufficiently advanced. Indeed, there's nothing really between us. It's just a normal relationship. Didn't you send me a photo of you two holding hands before? Cough, cough, cough. Is that so surprising? I've already said it's ambiguous. How about you and the class monitor? Chen Dong deliberately lowered his voice. What else could it be? Everything remains the same. She's inconsequential. It's freezing. I'm going back to the classroom for a nap. Shen Nian hastily wrapped up the conversation and slipped away. As for his relationship with Xia Yanchun, there truly was nothing significant. Excluding any instances of hugging, holding hands, or sleeping together, they were merely typical classmates, right? Oh, and let's add the fact that they had kissed. Just a standard classmate relationship. Chapter 177. Prefer cherry blossom medicine over arsenic after attending classes for 2 consecutive days. The system remained quiet. Before he knew it, it was Sunday. Shen Nian, as per his usual routine, rose early to exercise. Feeling a slight sting in his lungs from the cold air. Such sensations accompany deep breaths on frigid mornings. With no elder present today, Shen Nian refrained from conversing with anyone and, upon finishing his workout, headed to the nearby market. Sundays were his only free time. Perfect for trying out his newly acquired survival skill, culinary mastery. Shen Nian rarely cooked, only managing simple dishes like scrambled eggs or fried rice. With Chun Menu guiding him, he could produce visually appealing dishes. After all, knowing when and how much seasoning to add required her reminders. He resembled a mere emotionless stir-fry machine. He had previously been inexperienced in fishing, but mastering that skill had transformed him into an expert angler. Perhaps mastering cooking could turn him into a chef as well. Why should others toil for years to hone their culinary skills while he could achieve it in a single day? At this early hour, Shen Yu and Xia Yanshun were still asleep, fortunate indeed, as they would be treated to a breakfast prepared by this aspiring chef for the very first time. As he contemplated this, he ended up purchasing a small piece of pork and half a raw chicken, realizing that in the realm of cooking, he was rather impoverished, unsure of what delicious dish to create. In the midst of preparing rice porridge, Shen Yan took the initiative to search for a tutorial online. He minced pork and added it into the pot, creating a warm bowl of lean meat porridge. On such a frigid day, a bowl of lean meat porridge was particularly suitable. Shen Mingyue cherished the act of cooking lean meat porridge for Shen Yan, and under her influence, it became the first dish that Shen Yan thought of when porridge was mentioned. He recalled his mother stating that lean meat porridge was quite warming, yet, despite consuming it, she always wrapped herself in layers, for the cold still seeped through. Even with gloves, her hands remained chilled. The notion of warmth was perhaps more psychological, evoking a sense of comfort, much like how Grey Wolf believes that Red Wolf's fried rice is the best in the world. Xia Yanchun's hands and feet were perpetually cold, and if possible, Shen Yan wished for the lean meat porridge to warm her as well. Sprinkling a few chopped scallions on top made it visually appealing. Yet when he served himself a bowl and tasted it, he found it somewhat lacking in flavor, perhaps even a bit fishy. How strange it was that it didn't turn out delicious with such ease. Setting the lean meat porridge aside, Shen Yan began washing chicken, heating oil in the pan, and once it was sufficiently hot, he added a touch of garlic and ginger before introducing the chicken. He was strictly following the tutorial. As Shen Yan observed the chicken lying motionless in the pan, he pondered, "Why won't you turn yourself, dear chicken? Must I do it all?" With that, he flipped the chicken, tossing it around until it was seemingly in disarray. It began to brown slightly. This piece of chicken had grown far too large for its own good. The final product, while not entirely unappetizing, possessed a somewhat unappealing appearance, which did little to whet one's appetite. Shen Yan, undeterred, sampled a piece and grimaced at the overwhelming fishiness. He had forgotten to add cooking wine. Perhaps it was suitable for Haji Chun instead. Disappointment washed over him. If the meat wouldn't even stir itself in the pan, what good was his culinary prowess? Just then, Shen Yu, usually inclined to sleep until noon, emerged from her room, alerted by the commotion in the kitchen. "What on earth are you concocting? It has a peculiar odor," she remarked. "I made breakfast. Come and take a taste." "You can cook breakfast?" she inquired, feigning enthusiasm as she glanced at the unappealing chicken, then at the relatively decent lean meat porridge, before retreating to brush her teeth and wash her face. She could not let her brother's kind intentions go to waste. Shen Yan had surprisingly prepared breakfast for her, and this gesture moved her deeply, as she was a diligent worker from a prestigious state-owned enterprise. She felt a surge of emotions, contemplating the notion of honoring Shen Yan as one of the top 10 most touching figures in the country. Seated at the table, Shen Yu filled a bowl with porridge and took a delicate sip. It doesn't quite measure up to Shen Yan's," she mused. "At least mine is edible. Can yours even be consumed?" Shen Yan felt a flush of embarrassment. "What do you mean? Have you always thought my cooking was so unworthy?" "Pretty much," she replied. Like a thunderbolt, her words struck him. The pride he took in his culinary skills was now likened to something even a dog wouldn't eat. Shen Yan had not always been this way. How could the once adorable little brother transform into such a figure, showing disrespect to his sister? How dare this monstrous impostor pretend to be his brother? Do any of you have a method for dealing with the remains of an 1.8-meter beast? I earnestly seek your advice. Just kidding. Don't take it too seriously, dear sister. Your cooking is, after all, quite acceptable. Have you resorted to calling me sister to plead for mercy? I shall inform our mother about your late-night study sessions during the summer, so prepare for her reprimands. Oh, that's unnecessary. I am no longer burning the midnight oil. Who are you trying to fool? I distinctly saw your room illuminated at 2 or 3 in the morning. Shen Yan covered his face in dismay. Oh dear, there's no explaining this. Even if he was indeed studying, to Shen Yu and their mother, it would still be considered staying up late. Besides, the credibility of a high school student studying until the early hours and then waking up early is rather dubious. In all likelihood, he is the only one in the world who dares to sleep only 3 or 4 hours each day. Shen Yu unleashed a torrent of complaints, leaving Shen Yan at a loss for words as he allowed her to vent. Despite her tirade, Shen Yu finished her bowl of porridge and devoured 2 pieces of chicken, her expression sour as she returned to her room without washing her bowl. Deliberately sulking and refusing to do the dishes. It seems that being a younger brother has become increasingly challenging in these times. Shen Yan retreated to his room to play a few rounds of a card game, attempting to draw a card. Unfortunately, Lucky 5 did not grant him the fortune he sought, leaving him disappointed. Must a little girl be present to restore the Han dynasty? The sky gradually lightened, and the soft morning light of 8 o'clock descended gently. Shen Yan glanced at his bank card, combined with the previous 50,000 coins. His savings had reached 6 figures. How delightful. After graduation, he could use this money to embark on a nationwide tour with Chun Bao. He wondered if Chun Bao was awake yet. Lying on his bed with his legs crossed, he poked at Chun Bao's QQ avatar. You poked at Xia Yin Chun's red envelope and said, "Hello, Mom." Damn it, this annoying reminder has persisted since the Spring Festival. Just as Shen Yan contemplated changing his own notification to something more flamboyant, Xia Yin Chun responded with a question mark. Shen Yan, I thought you were still asleep. Xia Yin Chun, just woke up. Are you being mischievous, or is there something important? If it's just mischief, I'll go back to sleep. Shen Yan, I made some porridge. Would you like some? Xia Yin Chun took a good 10 seconds to respond. Did you make it, or did your sister? Shen Yan, I did. Xia Yin Chun, will I die if I eat it? Shen Yan, you want to die? Chun Bao, I prefer your medicine over arsenic any day. Xia Yin Chun, you're insane. Chapter 178. No young love. Xia Yin Chun was quite eager to taste the breakfast prepared by Shen Yan. Having grown accustomed to him bringing her breakfast, she had no intention of eating if he didn't eat. The thought of cooking porridge herself was utterly unappealing. It would be far more economical to order takeout, especially since she merely intended to read at home. Breakfast was of little consequence. However, Since Xin Yan made breakfast and sent her a message, it was clear he wanted her to come over to eat, so she resolved to graciously accept his invitation. After brushing her teeth and washing her face, she glanced at her phone and was met with Shun Yin's rather disconcerting message. The medicine had arrived. Ha Jinyan was still as remarkable as ever. She exhibited not a trace of fear. Xin Yan had always been a loquacious individual, and nothing he uttered was surprising. Casually donning a coat, Xia Yanchun stepped out, lightly tapping on the door across the hall. Xin Yan's voice resonated from within. Who is it? It's your sister. My sister is named Xinyu. Hurry, and open the door. Xia Yanchun huffed as she wrapped her hand against the door. In a short while, the door swung open, revealing Xin Yan, who towered over her, requiring her to tilt her head slightly to meet his gaze. I thought it was someone else. Xin Yan grinned. Apologies. But you're rather short. I didn't see you through the peephole. How could you not see me? Xia Yanchun inhaled deeply, relieved it was not her time of the month, or else Xin Yan would have truly vexed her. Xin Yan stepped aside to let her in and turned towards the kitchen. I assumed you wouldn't come after scolding me. Had I known you were coming, I would have heated the porridge sooner. Following him into the kitchen, Xia Yanchun glanced at the pot of congee with lean meat, which had been simmering for some time and had begun to congeal. Xin Yan added a bit of water to reheat it. You should consider what you've said. Do you not know why I scolded you? And what about the chicken? Do you want to eat some? I can heat it up for you. Xin Yan diverted the topic. No need. I'll just add a bit to the porridge when it's warm, Xia Yanchun replied, plopping herself on the sofa, clearly expecting Xin Yan to serve her. Xin Yan was unfazed and brought her a small bowl, concealing a chicken wing beneath the congee. Try it and see if it's palatable. I thought of you while preparing breakfast, hence the chicken. Xia Yanchun shuddered slightly, feeling a bit nauseated. Sweet talk. Am I allergic to such flattery? Family, is my flattery really that saccharine? The steaming porridge wafted white vapor, and Xia Yanchun cautiously accepted it, blowing gently before gracefully lifting the spoon to take a sip. Xin Yan squeezed in beside her. So what do you think? Surely you didn't use a prepackaged meal? Xin Yan felt tears welling up. No, my friend, I am quite adept at cooking. I don't expect you to find it delectable. But please don't give the impression that it was made from a pre-prepared package. He could overlook pre-packaged century egg congee and seafood porridge. But this pot was crafted by his own hand. Just admit my cooking is terrible. I beg you. Xin Yan felt compelled to kneel before Xia Yanchun. I never claimed your porridge came from a pre-packaged source. I merely inquired since I have never witnessed you cook before. You startled me. Can we refrain from such alarming statements in the future? Xia Yanchun chuckled, her eyes twinkling. What is the matter? Supermarkets offer pre-packaged congee, if you genuinely used one. I wouldn't hold it against you. So is it good? It's decent. It tastes quite similar to what my mother makes. Lean meat congee always has a similar flavor. But my family prefers to add minced ginger to ward off the cold, while yours is in chunks, making it unpalatable. Xin Yan sighed in relief. As long as she could eat it, that was sufficient. If you can't handle the ginger, just leave it. I'll help warm you up. Xia Yanchun regarded him with a look of disbelief, as if he had struck a nerve. In the midst of their conversation, she cast a glance towards Xin Yu's room, uncertain whether she had awakened. She could no longer deny the ambiguous relationship between herself and Xin Yan. However, she was not keen on having others, especially acquaintances, discover it so soon. There was absolutely no question of early romance. Such a notion was entirely out of the question. It was merely a matter of ambiguity, devoid of any early romantic entanglements. In truth, I am not particularly inclined to assist you. Humph. Preserving one's dignity is not shameful. It is the inability to face the truth that is truly humiliating. I hardly gave it any thought, all right? Xin Yan immediately changed his demeanor, casually resting his legs on the coffee table as he pressed the remote control, feigning interest in finding a movie to watch. Yet, his hand stealthily slipped from the back of the sofa to rest on Xia Yanchun's arm. He maintained a stoic expression. Xia Yanchun rolled her eyes, contemplating that at this hour, Xinyu would likely remain asleep. After all, it was just an embrace, so she allowed it. If Xinyu were in the living room, even the slightest contact would have counted as a loss for Xin Yan. What do you wish to watch? I can set it up for you. I will return home after breakfast. Are you going back to study? Xin Yan glanced at her. Otherwise, what do you propose? Are you not studying? I've already studied. After finishing the porridge, I continued my studies. It was only out of boredom that I messaged you. I was actually playing a game of Three Kingdoms. Xia Yanchun took a sip of her porridge and inquired, did you exercise today? Yes, I did. Have you ever seen a park at 5 in the morning? I have. What do you do when you exercise? Do you run or something? Yes, I run and do pull-ups using the park equipment. But why do you ask? Just curious. Xia Yanchun was genuinely curious, knowing that Xin Yan exercised daily, evidenced by his muscular physique, yet she had never had the opportunity to observe him. Rising early was simply not in her routine. What is so curious? Curiosity is curiosity. I finished my meal. Xia Yanchun stood to wash the dishes, the cold water causing her hands to turn red and tingle, prompting her to wish for some hand cream. Do you have any dabao at home? Yes. Xin Yan fetched some dabao from his home. Xia Yanchun immediately applied it to her small hands, regretting not having asked Xin Yan to wash the dishes instead, given that his hands were always warm. However, she suddenly realized that she did not feel particularly cold, even after washing dishes in cold water. Her hands had only felt chilly for a moment. They were now warm. The weather was cold, and she often found her hands and feet icy while sleeping, as well as in class at school. Even after a hot shower, it would not be long before her extremities succumbed to the cold. Now, not only her hands, but even her feet lacked that frigid sensation, and she was even wearing slippers, feeling pleasantly warm all over. What is the matter? Xin Yan observed her lost in thought with the dabao and puzzledly asked, has my time-stopping technique succeeded? What nonsense? Xin Yan appeared dejected, realizing his technique had not worked. Go away. What are you so down about? Xia Yin-chun, flustered, raised her hand to tug at his ear. 89 points. I implore the esteemed readers to bestow a 5-star rating for a score beyond 9. Chapter 179. Did not notice the presence on the bed. Xia Yin-chun's voice was somewhat raised, and as she tugged at Shen Yin, Shen Yu's door swung open. Disheveled and looking as if she had risen from the dead, even her tone was muddled and drowsy. Even though Xia Yanchun quickly withdrew her hand from tugging at Shen Yin's ear, she still witnessed the scene. What are you two doing? Can't you let anyone sleep? Don't you know that a working person needs to catch up on 12 hours of sleep during the weekend? It's only 8 o'clock, 8 o'clock. Even earlier than a regular workday. Those two mischievous little devils are flirting so early in the morning, robbing a kind older sister of her precious sleep time. You really need to be kicked out of the house. Could you keep it down? Xia Yanchun, feeling a bit embarrassed, pursed her lips and joined her hands in a gesture of apology, offering a sheepish smile. Shen Yu's gaze was piercing as she shut the door again. Even Xiaochun, who she regarded with fondness, had to face reprimand for disturbing her slumber. Equality in treating her younger brother and the neighbor girl was paramount. Let me teach you how to command my younger brother. Is this how you disturb my sleep? Xia Yanchun exhaled deeply. See, you've disturbed Sister Shen Yu's sleep. And it's all your fault, Shen Yin. She shot him a glare, deliberately lowering her voice. Look what you've caused. Wasn't it you who shouted so loudly? Shen Yin retorted. If you hadn't said such bizarre things, would I have shouted? Enough already. You blame everything on me. He grinned smugly. Creak. Shen Yu's door opened once more. She revealed half her face, her eyes heavy with sleep. Although she had enjoyed the breakfast prepared by Shen Yin, disturbing her sleep was a grave offense. And Xiaochun was equally culpable. She opened the door, her gaze sweeping around, holding her phone, seemingly engrossed in something. These two silly children had always been raucous. Their presence at home ensured there would be no peace. You two, get out and play. You're not allowed to return until afternoon. With that, the door slammed shut again. Xia Yanchun's phone vibrated in her pocket. Upon checking, she found a 100 yuan transfer from Shen Yu. Shen Yin had received one as well. Shoo! Shen Yin made a gesture for silence, pointing towards the door. Xia Yanchun understood and hurriedly dashed into the corridor. My sister just transferred me 100. She sent me 100 too. Shen Yin closed the door. It seems we've disturbed her sleep. We must be sent away. Humph, whose fault is that? Humph. Your emotions are so unstable. You're quick to huff and puff. Huff. What am I huffing about? It's clearly your fault. Now tell me, what did you mean by saying time should pause? Upon hearing this, Xia Yanchun's cheeks flushed a rosy hue. Who didn't he know the mischievous thoughts boys entertained? Did they think time would pause for sketching? She had no desire to expose Shen Yin's intentions. Shen Yin was momentarily at a loss for words, scratching his face. You can't articulate it, can you? You always accuse me of being lewd, yet look at your own thoughts. Xia Yanchun, perched high in her authority, poked Shen Yin's shoulder playfully. She intended to push him back slightly to assert her sisterly dominance, but Shen Yin stood firm. Her finger barely budged him. Feeling somewhat embarrassed, she reminded herself that as an elder sister, her demeanor should not falter. Shen Yin squinted and smiled, grasping her finger, and then her small hand. We're not angry. We have 200 yuan. Let us go out and have some fun. Xia Yanchun did not withdraw her hand, but lowered its position slightly. I'm emotionally stable. I'm not angry. All right. Where shall we go to play? I have no desire to go anywhere. It is freezing. I shall return home to read. And your words can fade away into oblivion. Are we not friends? Then you ought to transfer 100 yuan to me. That was sent to me by my sister. Why should I send it to you? Who told you to speak recklessly? Xia Yanchun exhaled through her nose, withdrew her hand, and retrieved her keys to unlock the door to her home. It felt somewhat chilly inside, so Xia Yanchun merely ajar the door and quickly dashed back to her room. Although the main door remained open, the bedroom door was firmly shut. Upon hearing the door close and the gradually clearer sound of footsteps, Xia Yanchun buried herself under the covers, reclining on a slightly oversized plush toy while gazing at her phone. The footsteps then ventured into the kitchen, only to return 2 minutes later, opening the bedroom door. Cocooned in her warm bedding, she inquired, "Where have you been?" "I helped myself to a peanut snack." "No need to thank me. It was but a small favor. Are you out of your mind? Eating in this frigid weather? You'll finish off an entire box. It's a winter treat. The more you eat, the better it gets." As Shen Yin concluded, his expression shifted, and he fixed a serious gaze upon Xia Yanchun. "Chunbao, could you promise me one thing?" Xia Yanchun, with her almond-shaped eyes wide open, replied, "What is it? Will we be able to buy choco ice cream in the future?" "The peanut snack is rather unimpressive. Buy it yourself," she added pleadingly. "Please ask Chun Jia to purchase choco ice cream for the fridge next time. Didn't he, my sister, just send you 100? Use that to buy it. Call me Chun Jia. It's a bit chilly. I'll go warm up in bed." Watching Shen Yin shamelessly leap onto the bed beside her, even covering his legs with the quilt, Xia Yanchun could not resist jabbing him with her elbow. "So you refuse to call me Chun Jia? Will calling me Chun Jia be the end of you? Who told you to come to bed? I didn't know. I saw someone had left the door open and thought I would come in to remind you. But I accidentally got lost, and didn't notice anyone was on the bed." Such words could not be uttered by aerobic beings, nor by anaerobic ones. Only organisms that avoid oxygen could articulate such excuses. Xia Yanchun felt an overwhelming sense of helplessness as she gently patted Shen Yin's head and tousled his hair. How pitiful. When did this symptom begin? Shen Yin laughed. "Do you think of me as a madman? Huh, aren't he you? You should have said so sooner. You rascal." Taking advantage of his physical superiority, Shen Yin mercilessly tickled Xia Yanchun, making her laugh uncontrollably to the point of tears. With her feeble hands grasping at Shen Yin's, she pleaded, "Stop, please, don't tickle me anymore." Chapter 180. Indulging you day by day as the best of all. Xia Yanchun was left breathless from the tickling. nearly on the verge of tears. Fortunately, Shen Yin ceased his relentless assault in time. Xia Yanchun's mouth slightly agape. She nervously adjusted her clothing, feeling a sense of fear. She was no longer a match for Shen Yin. Whenever he chose to engage in such antics, she found herself utterly defenseless. The only recourse was to sulk and let Shen Yin guess her feelings later. She began to understand Shen Yin's past feelings. He had been subjected to her teasing. Incapable of resisting, always bearing the brunt of her mischief, and unable to explain himself. The thought was utterly despairing. Truly, she was a wicked woman. Now, Shen Yin sought to exact his revenge. Xia Yanchun adjusted her disheveled attire. The jacket was unzipped, and the button of her pajamas at the bottom had inexplicably come undone. Or perhaps she had never fastened it at all, leaving a sliver of her abdomen exposed to the cool air, which felt quite uncomfortable. With her cheeks flushed, she pulled the quilt over herself again, deeming it an intrusion. What are you babbling about? Shen Yin, tidying the rumpled sheets, sat cross-legged and clutched a stuffed toy, exuding a sense of arrogance. You should leave. You're not welcome in my room. Go wherever you please. Have you exercised and showered? Don't soil my toy. As she reached out to reclaim the toy, Shen Yin, with a playful grin, gently swatted her hand away. Xia Yanchun bit her lower lip, noticing the faint blush on Shen Yin's ears, and felt a rush of warmth in her fingertips, instantly retracting her hand. Her heart racing as she retreated further into the bed. How could she feel this way about Shen Yin, such a perverse individual, cursing him silently 100 times? A mischievous thought crossed her mind. Slowly sitting up, she raised her fist in front of Shen Yin, then gradually lifted her index finger, playfully narrowing her eyes. She knew everything yet chose silence, wanting to assert herself. The more Shen Yin misbehaved, the more justified she felt. Shen Yin, grinning widely, exclaimed, "What are you doing? I can't decipher what you're up to. Didn't you say you were going to read?" She laughed. "With you here, how could I possibly focus on my book? My bad. My bad." Xia Yanchun felt a twinge of pride. She relished the sight of Shen Yin's flustered expression, finding it quite endearing. However, she wasn't a cruel-hearted woman. A moment of embarrassment for Shen Yin sufficed as punishment for his playful antics. She soon settled back comfortably, turning her face toward the wall, allowing Shen Yin a moment of respite. She longed to burst into laughter at Shen Yin, yet as a girl, after asserting herself, she found it difficult to confront the aftermath. A flurry of pink bubbles emerged in her mind, chaotic and intertwined with memories from her childhood, surfacing like spring shoots breaking through the earth. At an age of innocence, she had explored all matters of ambiguity. At an age of understanding, she treaded carefully. These were the two phases of her relationship with Shen Yin. Though reluctant to admit it, Shen Yin had indeed grown alongside her, bringing a sense of ease and lightness to their interactions. Did her 10-year-old self envision a day like this? Did Shen Yin, a decade ago, foresee this moment? Shen Yin, truly, was still the same foolish boy, unable to restrain himself. The atmosphere felt surreal, as Shen Yin sensed a stifling pressure, akin to a python's embrace. Kids, I think I've developed severe corn syndrome. In this peculiar ambience devoid of temporal awareness, Shen Yin sat for quite some time, relying on his resilient mental fortitude to suppress the overwhelming sensation. He was uncertain whether to return the cushion to its original place, feeling a strange unease about it. Upon hearing the subtle sounds made by Shen Yin, Xia Yanchun slowly turned around, daring not to glance elsewhere, and focused directly on Shen Yin's face. Once she confirmed that the moment was right, her previously anxious heart finally felt at ease. "Oh, you," she exclaimed, playfully shaking her finger at Shen Yin, a silent understanding passing between them. "What about me?" He feigned ignorance. Shen Yin, at a loss for words, could only resort to his act of pretending not to understand. It dawned on him that Xia Yanchun was embodying the archetype of a mischievous yet charming woman, seemingly relishing in his embarrassment, which, at this juncture, appeared to be a success on her part. How disheartening. Next time, don't tickle me, all right? It's always the same, utterly disgusting, Xia Yanchun exclaimed. Suddenly recalling the National Day holiday when Shen Yin had also made a peculiar face after tickling her, his eyes filled with disdain. "Can't you go without it? I want to watch videos now. I can't be bothered with you. Together, let me have a look at your big data. You want to see everything, don't you?" Shen Yin, no longer in a state of heavy embarrassment, nestled into Xia Yanchun's quilt, pushing her gently against the wall without a hint of remorse. Before she could utter a word, he pulled the soft, warm girl into his embrace, sitting up with her and encouraging her to lean her weight against him. He then adjusted the quilt, leaning against the headboard with her, the pillows stacked comfortably beneath them. Xia Yanchun didn't mind this arrangement. She hadn't locked the door, knowing full well that Shen Yin would come regardless. Even if she had locked it, he would have simply used his key. On weekends, aside from studying, she had little to occupy her time. Having Shen Yin's company was quite pleasant, akin to her usual visits to his home, whether to see Shen Yu or Shen Yin, ultimately seeking someone to share time with. Leaning against Shen Yin felt quite comfortable, and she extended her hand to his abdomen, scrolling through short videos on her phone. The vast array of big data offered an endless stream of content. Xia Yanchun flicked her thumb as videos appeared one after another. Cooking tutorials, travel vlogs, and adorable pet clips, yet no gaming content in sight. The video that captured her attention the longest featured an elementary school teacher checking students' homework on the first day back from the National Day holiday. Students lining up one by one to have their work verified before being allowed into the classroom, some visibly frightened. You were just like that as a child. Caught by the teacher for not doing your homework, only to face Annie's wrath at home. Why didn't you mention this when you asked me to help you with your homework? Xia Yanchun cleverly sidestepped the remark. Sho, what are you talking about? I don't recall anything. As long as you're not turning dark, it shows you have a good heart, you know. It's all in the past. I merely made a mistake that every sister is prone to make. You've said everything. What more is there for me to say? Shen Yan tugged at her soft cheek, causing Xia Yanchun to instinctively retract her neck, allowing him to do as he pleased, considering it a form of penance. Now that you've pinched my face, you can't think of retaliation, he warned. Stop talking. Keep watching. You take over, Xia Yanchun insisted, shoving the phone into his hands, thus freeing his other hand from pestering her. Feeling her extremities grow chilly, she draped her foot over Shun Yan's leg, seeking warmth from his body heat. Her toes curling as they even managed to catch a few strands of his leg hair. She truly did that. Shen Yan frowned, casting her a bewildered glance. Xia Yanchun covered her mouth and chuckled softly, no longer tugging at his leg hair. Like a little bird, she nestled against him, seeking warmth for her chilly feet. Why are your feet so cold? I don't know. They were quite warm this morning, Shen Yan replied, pulling the blanket tighter around them. I told you that lean meat porridge warms the body. Indeed, it does help a bit. Feeling cozy, Xia Yanchun stealthily extracted the hand that was leaning against Shun Yan's and gently clasped two of his fingers. His hand was cool to the touch, and Shun Yan understood her intention to warm herself. He let her be until her small fingers began to playfully entwine around his, causing him to feel slightly unsettled. A glance at Haji Chun revealed her looking back at him, her eyes filled with innocent confusion, unaware of Shun Yan's gaze. Shen Yan realized. This was Chun Bao's instinctive reaction when gripping something. Some people tend to exhibit subconscious movements when holding onto things. Not ideal, he thought. As he withdrew his hand and enveloped hers instead. We're already like this, aren't we the best in the world? Xia Yanchun's lips moved, then pressed into a line. Beneath the unseen blankets, her small hand quietly opened, intertwining with his large hand, their 10 fingers locked together. Today is. I indulge you for a day. The best in the world, she declared. 9 out of 10. Thank you, dear readers. Chapter 181. The infuriating little Chun Bao. What do you mean by today is? Tomorrow won't be? Shen Yan raised an eyebrow. Xia Yanchun tightened her grip on his fingers, insisting, today is the only day. Tomorrow is different. Oh dear. Then I must seize the time to accomplish what needs to be done, Shen Yan said, attempting to remove his clothing. Hey, what are you exaggerating about? What are your intentions with me being the best in the world? Xia Yanchun rolled her eyes. You don't think being the best means you can do anything, do you? He grinned, baring his teeth, tilting his head to press lightly against her fluffy head, letting her hair tickle his face. It was impossible to go home now, and he had little interest in going out. Staying at Xia Yanchun's home felt quite pleasant. He planned to shamelessly linger there for the entire day, intending to buy groceries in the afternoon to prepare a meal, subsequently exploring the depths of culinary mastery. Currently, he was unaware of what constituted mastery in cooking, as the lean meat porridge he made tasted rather bland, lacking the flavor of his mother's cooking. Why is it that, despite being a survival skill, you are so inept? Not even worthy of fetching fishing brothers' shoes. Xia Yanchun recognized his playful banter and deemed it sufficient to criticize him lightly. Just then, she came across a video teaching girls about proper fitness, and Shen Yan immediately posed the question, when will you develop a defined waistline? I won't, Xia Yanchun murmured. I am quite satisfied with who I am now. There's no need for change. Isn't that a coincidence? I am also very content with who you are now. Ugh. I'm going to be sick. Who do you think you are? Xia Yanchun began to retaliate. Aren't you the one who frequently exercises? How many pull-ups, sit-ups, and push-ups can you do? I have no idea. Xia Yanchun shrugged, chuckling. Infuriating little Chun Bao, Shen Yan thought. I don't count because I can't keep track. I measure by time. I could do it all day. Then let me show you now, and you can count for me? Xia Yanchun's eyes lit up, eagerly nodding. Are you waiting for me here? Hasten. The moment to prove oneself has arrived. Xia Yanchun helped Shen Yan lift the blanket, observing him as he donned his shoes and stood upon the floor, while she remained snugly wrapped, resembling a little rice dumpling. Given that Yanchun was in such a state, Shen Yan found himself devoid of any reason not to comply. Yanchun wished to witness, so he might as well oblige. Let us do push-ups. I shall count for you, she declared, repositioning herself with a small pillow beneath her, lying directly in front of Shen Yan. Make sure you don't miscount, he replied, removing his jacket. In the confines of the room, donning a short-sleeve shirt for a brief period posed no issue, especially with the impending push-ups. He required no exercise mat or yoga pad. He simply began on the floor. 1, 2, 3, 8, 9, 10. Initially, Xia Yanchun counted aloud, but as the numbers increased, she quietly kept track in her mind. Shen Yan, clad in a fitted short-sleeve top, exhibited the definition of his muscles as he exercised. Once an ordinary high school student disinterested in sports, he had transformed into a lean and athletic young man, both in and out of clothing. 51, 52, 53. Xia Yanchun gradually lowered herself, resting half her face against the pillow. Aren't you dividing them into sets? No, you wanted to see how many I could do, didn't you? Oh right. 89, 90, 91. Xia Yanchun felt overwhelmed. Was Shun Yan's stamina truly this remarkable? Moreover, his form appeared impeccable for every push-up. She struggled to complete even 10 with her own less-than-perfect technique. 100. Shun Yan remained silent, continuing his push-ups, his focus unwavering. Despite being of the same age, he had not intended to showcase his prowess. It was Yanchun's request that prompted him. Of course, he wasn't foolish. He began to slow his pace after reaching 50. Feigning fatigue as he dropped down and lay on the floor, breathing heavily. How many did you manage? 123. Xia Yanchun blinked in astonishment, incredulous at the thought of Shun Yan's strength. That's quite sufficient, isn't it? Most people would be impressed with 30 or 40. I am thrice as impressive. Impressive indeed. Now rise from the ground. Shen Yan tugged at his collar and quickly got up, though he settled on a chair instead. Knowing that sitting directly on the bed after being on the floor would earn him a reprimand from Xia Yanchun. It was one thing to sit on the floor, but without breaking a sweat throughout the day, it would be ill-advised to venture onto a young lady's bed. Fortunately, he had bathed that morning, or he would have been unceremoniously kicked off by Yanchun. There are wet wipes in the drawer. Perhaps you should clean up. All right. As Shen Yan opened the drawer, he discovered an assortment of neatly stacked sanitary napkins. Not those. The one in the middle. Xia Yanchun exclaimed, her eyes wide, resembling a puffed-up little cat. You should have been clearer. This time, Shen Yan was genuinely innocent. After wiping his face and neck with the wet wipes, he offered Xia Yanchun a gentle smile. You asked me to do push-ups, and I did. What about you? Huh, what is wrong with me? I never agreed to anything. Unfazed by the mess. Shen Yan sat cross-legged on the floor, resting against the bed's edge, facing Xia Yanchun, who lay down. I believe it's not too late to agree now. Absolutely not. How could I possibly suffer such a loss? After toiling away, I have done over 100 push-ups for you. Xia Yanchun made a series of whimsical expressions, her sweet face taking on a slightly acerbic demeanor as she rolled her eyes. So tell me, what do you wish to do? First, we must confirm one thing. Today, we are indeed the best in the world, correct? Xia Yanchun nodded vigorously, locking eyes with Shen Yan, and playfully tapped his forehead with her finger. Her tone soft yet playful. You had better refrain from harboring any ill intentions towards me. After all, we are merely high school students, and even in our camaraderie, some boundaries must be observed. Do you understand? What are you thinking? Am I really that kind of person? Have you forgotten what you said back in middle school? Xia Yanchun's words were not overtly direct, leaving some ambiguity for Shen Yan to ponder. She had meticulously kept track of his numerous indiscretions. Shen Yan was left speechless, realizing she could indeed unearth all his past misdeeds. Unpleasant memories surged forth. Arguments often degenerated into harsh words, akin to the vitriol exchanged online, where one could easily utter extreme statements in a moment of madness. During their quarrels, he had uttered many threats towards Xia Yanchun, some of which were rather foolish and could have landed him in serious trouble, and now they had all become ammunition for her. How is it that you remember everything so vividly? You truly are insufferable. Observing Shen Yan's flustered demeanor, Xia Yanchun felt a surge of delight, resting her chin on her hands like a sunflower, her toes peeking out from under the blanket and swinging playfully. Is it my fault for having a good memory? Her eyes sparkled with mischief. Ahem, that was merely impulsive banter. Very well, I shall take your word for it. Now tell me, what do you wish? Do you truly believe me? Shen Yan's eyes widened. Enough chatter, speak quickly. Chapter 182. Intimacy. Shen Yan lifted his hand to tuck a stray lock of hair behind Xia Yanchun's ear. He said nothing. Instead, he gazed intently at her for a moment. Then his eyes drifted down to her rosy lips. Xia Yanchun's eyelashes fluttered as she buried her face once more, her cheeks instantly flushing a delicate pink. She glanced at Shen Yan and then at the pillow, her blinking becoming more frequent. Shen Yan gently pressed his forehead against hers. She reciprocated the gesture, and in an instant, they parted. Before he could fully register the moment, Xia Yanchun sat up, covering her mouth with her small hand. Her lips pursed, her face blushing all the way to her collarbone. Her typically cold hands and feet had begun to feel warm, and her scalp tingled. You still dare to smile? Truly, you have struck it rich. Xia Yanchun could hardly bear his dazzling grin, and with a playful shove to his shoulder, she pushed him back, causing Shen Yan to stagger slightly. What is wrong with smiling? I'm simply a boy who enjoys laughter. No more talking. I'm going to read. For every word you utter, I shall give you a kick. What about the benefits? Go away. Xia Yanchun half knelt, leaning forward to retrieve a stack of printed biology notes from the table, and surprisingly, she settled at the head of the bed, diligently poring over them, completely ignoring Shen Yan. Shen Yan rested his head on his hand, watching her for a considerable time, his mood soaring higher than winning a tenfold jackpot. Even with her face flushed like a little tomato, she still insists on studying. Huh, Yanchun, I acknowledge your scholarly spirit. Shen Yan sat quietly in the chair, diligently studying with the materials provided by Xia Yanchun. Unable to return home at the moment, he received 100 yuan from Shun Yu, feeling it would be impolite to return now. Previously, Shun Yan's presence would distract Xia Yanchun from her studies, but now, as he sat quietly at the desk, it created a conducive atmosphere for learning. The soft rustle of pages turning, the faint sound of his breathing, and the subtle shuffle of his slippers formed a gentle backdrop, more suitable for concentration than complete silence. Xia Yanchun bit her lip, her thoughts wandering, her cheeks flushed for an extended period. When she glanced at Shen Yan again, he was fully immersed in his studies. With determination to catch up, Shen Yan intended to use this time effectively to excel. Xia Yanchun, realizing this, mentally nudged herself to focus on her studies as well. At noon, the window framed a sliver of gray-blue sky, sunlight streaming into the quiet room. Feeling a bit hungry, Shen Yan opened the window, the cool breeze flipping through the pages of his book, breaking the warmth of the room. What should we eat? I can go buy something, he suggested. Isn't ordering takeout sufficient? I also want to visit the market to buy some ingredients. How about we cook together tonight? Whatever you prefer, she replied. Though Xia Yanchun knew how to cook, she often found it a bit tedious to do so alone. However, if Shen Yan wanted to cook, she would gladly let him do the dishes afterward. After all, that was how siblings operated. When it was time for chores, she would conveniently disappear. Could you pack a bowl of noodles for me? Any kind will do. Okay. Just as Shen Yan turned to leave, he paused at the door, leaning against it. By the way, did you notice any difference after eating that porridge this morning? Yes, your lean meat porridge is quite miraculous. It actually made me feel full. You fool. Even stone can fill you up, Shen Yan chuckled, shaking his head. Xia Yanchun pouted, her hands and feet feeling warm. It really does warm me up. My hands and feet no longer feel cold. What kind of ginger did you use that is so potent? She wished to buy some, chop it into pieces, and consume a bit whenever her hands felt cold. I won't tell you. It's a rare variety of ginger that costs hundreds per pound, he teased. Before returning inside to grab his keys and head to the market on his bike, he needed to continue researching his culinary skills. The ginger he used in the porridge was just ordinary ginger, plentiful at the market, and he had merely been teasing Xia Yinchun earlier. If it could warm the body, Shen Yin found it strange that he didn't feel the same effects, wondering about Shen Yu's condition. Could it be that his cooking skills didn't merely enhance the taste of the dishes, but optimize their effects? It seemed plausible. Much like the various food items in RPG games, different levels of food items provided varying effects. A basic lemon tea might grant a mere 10 attack points, while a high-grade lemon tea could offer 20, and the finest version would provide an impressive 30. And with his culinary expertise, regardless of how unappetizing or unappealing the dish appeared, its effects would always be top-notch. The lean meat congee prepared by others may provide warmth, perhaps as a psychological effect, though it might indeed offer some warmth. However, the congee made by Shen Yin yields a tangible warming effect, and it is quite effective. This seems reasonable, otherwise. What would be the significance of culinary mastery? Yet, the source of warmth in the lean meat congee is ginger, which was cut into chunks and slices rather than minced, all of which were discarded by Xia Yinchuan. Logically, it should lack any warming effect. Could it be that the culinary mastery bestows an artificial warmth upon the dish? Bestowing a buff upon food, perhaps? This notion appears somewhat exaggerated. If that were the case, it would surpass even fishing mastery. Uncertain, he decided to observe further. Having only prepared a single dish, it was premature to draw conclusions. Considering that Xia Yinchuan could cook, Shen Yin generously purchased ingredients, acquiring some beef and green peppers, while opting for water spinach as the vegetable. With Shen Yu included, there were 3 individuals, so extravagance was unnecessary. He was not worried about overbuying. Any leftovers could be stored in the refrigerator for later enjoyment. After packing lunch, Shen Yin returned to Xia Yinchuan's home to dine with her in her room. This bowl of beef brisket noodles costs 18 yuan. Remember to transfer me the money. What a ripoff. 18 yuan, and you still bought it? I see there's a fair amount of beef brisket. No way, that's too expensive. Consider it a treat from you. Then share some of that beef brisket with me. So stingy. Xia Yinchuan moved her portion far away, refusing to share. Just after a kiss, and you're already like this? Better end this friendship quickly. A man who can't spare 18 yuan is trouble. Look at you, buddy. Be generous. Here you go. Shen Yin offered her a marinated egg. Oh, my little brother is considerate. Shen Yin couldn't be bothered to retort. He ate quickly, slurping down his lunch, and while Xia Yinchuan was still eating, he playfully poked and prodded her, sometimes touching her belly, other times pinching her cheeks, which only vexed her further. He particularly enjoyed teasing her while she was savoring the noodles, as slurping noodles was a formidable skill, akin to a powerful control technique. Xia Yinchuan could no longer contain her irritation and glared at him, ready to scold him, when Shen Yin flashed a grin and brushed aside a stray hair that had unknowingly lodged in the corner of her mouth. You should tie your hair back while eating. Oh, you've interrupted my spell. Chapter 183. Can things be this good? Shen Yin had not returned home. After lunch, he spent the entire afternoon at Xia Yinchuan's house, studying using her materials. Only by perusing her resources did he understand how she achieved such high scores. The materials were somewhat worn, piled in a corner, and any exercise book he flipped through was filled to the brim with notes. A piece of trivia, Xia Yinchuan completed her practice books before delving into extracurricular readings like Youth Digest to accumulate material. Achieving a stable score of 50 was not solely reliant on talent. As the saying goes, talent determines the ceiling, while effort lowers the floor. Shen Yin suspected that if he were not present, Xia Yinchuan would genuinely study for half a day, which would surely frighten her. It was my beloved Chu Bao. Surpassing expectations by 4 o'clock in the afternoon, Xia Yinchuan could no longer suppress a languorous stretch, her upper body softly collapsing against the headboard as she lay sideways to glance at Shen Yin, who sat on the chair. Are you done studying? Shen Yin turned his gaze toward her. I'm tired. If you're fatigued, take a break then. Aren't you tired? Not really. Leaning against the backrest, he inquired. How did you manage when I wasn't at your house? Reading or using my phone? Xia Yinchuan replied with a blink, countering. What about you? Playing games, of course. I knew it. What's the matter? Haven't you studied enough at school? Now you can't even play at home? Don't be too diligent, darling. Xia Yinchuan felt no qualms about gaming, yet last semester, Shen Yin's grades had been rather poor. Knowing he lagged behind, yet still indulging in games felt to her a bit like giving up, a sense of complacency. It wasn't entirely unacceptable, but it would prevent her from attending a local university. If it were too far, it meant that she and Shen Yin could only meet during the National Day, Mid-Autumn Festival, and Spring Festival. Even during Qingming, he might not return home. Although they bickered daily, the thought of parting was somewhat bittersweet. A brother, however annoying, remained a brother, which was why she often urged Shen Yin to study diligently. Clearly, Shen Yin in his second year of high school took her words lightly, though she was relieved that he began to strive harder in his third year. Xia Yinchuan smiled, propping herself up. Isn't it nearly time? Aren't you supposed to cook? Indeed, cooking, Shen Yin replied, rising to head to the kitchen, retrieving the vegetables from the fridge, testing the water, which was still quite chilly. He washed the vegetables himself to spare Xia Yinchuan from frostbite. However, Haki Chuan turned to wash the rice, showing no signs of laziness. Shen Yin said nothing. If need be, he could always hold Chu Bao's hand later to comfort her. And you've bought beef. Do you know how to prepare it? I'll take charge. And you can assist. Xia Yinchuan tied on an apron adorned with a pink cat design, slightly clumsy in appearance. She wasn't particularly tall, and with a look that seemed to say if you can't handle it, let me. Shen Yin looked down, amusingly mistaking her for someone's adorable little chef. Haha, turns out it's from my household. I apologize for not keeping a closer watch and causing a laugh. You don't believe I can do it, do you? My culinary skills are quite impressive, I assure you. Just prepare the scallions, ginger, and garlic, and once ready, wait for the meal. Are you really capable? Have you cooked before? Do you truly know when to add what ingredients? The three rapid-fire questions left Shen Nian momentarily speechless. Xia Yinchuan sighed. And you claim you can do it? I must at least give it a try. Isn't everyone learning gradually? That's true. I'll guide you from the side, just stay still. Xia Yinchuan placed her hands behind herself, removing her apron, and circled around to tie Shen Yin's apron around his neck, her small hands fastening the ties. Chu Bao. It's a bit tight. If it's tight, bear with it. Shen Yin had no further retorts and began slicing the beef. He rarely cut vegetables, and his beef pieces were oddly shaped. It was Xia Yinchuan who reminded him to cut against the grain and to avoid injury. He pressed his thumb against the knife's spine, making his slicing speed increase. I truly regret not having cooked more often growing up. When my mother came over, she used up all the ginger while cooking. I was too lazy to prepare a meal and had not replenished it. Xia Yanchun only took out half a clove of garlic, pouting in frustration, and reminded me not to forget the cooking wine later. Alright. The beef was marinated with soy sauce, salt, and pepper, mixed thoroughly with chopsticks, and covered with plastic wrap to marinate for half an hour. In the meantime, he washed the water spinach and stir-fried it in a few quick motions, almost forgetting to add salt until Xia Yanchun nudged him. The beef was not yet ready, so Shen Yin took a moment to loosen his apron, cradling Xia Yanchun's small hands in his own, noticing how cold they were. It's chilly outside. Xia Yanchun's cheeks were lightly flushed, and her voice was barely above a whisper. It's fine. After dinner, I'll warm you up. Shen Yin smiled gently, pressing his forehead against hers. Do you want more? As soon as he leaned in, Xia Yanchun realized what Shen Yin intended, despite having indulged him once that morning. He sought again. Only when Shen Yin inched closer did she finally blink open her eyes, shifting back slightly to avoid his face and withdrawing her hands. Cooking is just cooking. No need for such thoughts. Haki-chan. What's wrong? Humph. Xia Yanchun turned her face away and exited the kitchen, shutting the door behind her. Choosing to ignore him. If there is something, it's Chuan Bao. If not, it's Haki-chan. Look at how spoiled you've become. Thinking you can do whatever you want just because of this day. After giving him a kiss, he would surely want another one in the evening. Once a day is sufficient. Wanting more? Such indulgence is rare. The beef was nearly marinated, the warmth in her ears gradually fading. She re-entered the kitchen, directing the process. Heating oil in the red pot, Shen Yin interrupted. Then add the garlic, stir-fry until fragrant. Then add the meat, and stir-fry until the beef turns white. Then add the green peppers, right? Yes, it seems you are not entirely inept. Xia Yanchun nodded her little head. I haven't stir-fried it myself, but have you seen the tutorials? Green pepper beef is nutritious and delicious, with no special effects. While she longed to warm Xia Yanchun. Lacking ginger meant the green pepper beef wouldn't provide warmth either. One meat dish and one vegetable dish were presented, and this time the presentation was quite pleasing. Thanks to Xia Yanchun's guidance. Otherwise, Shen Yin might not have thought to add dark soy sauce for color. Some dishes, despite adding dark soy sauce, maintain their flavor but appear far more appetizing. Shen Yin called for Shen Yu to join them, and the three of them rarely gathered around a table to dine together. This beef is delightful. Did you cook it, Xiaochun? I did. Shen Yin puffed out his chest, asserting, honestly, isn't cooking just about having hands? Implicitly accusing me, weren't you? Hey, I never said that. Don't take it personally, sister. Shen Yu gritted her teeth in annoyance, but decided to let it go this time. Given that Shen Yin had cooked, Xia Yanchun smiled brightly, enjoying the cheerful banter between the siblings. Shen Yu, being somewhat lazy, used disposable utensils from Xia Yanchun's home and fled after dinner. Hee, the dishes are all yours to wash. Fine, I'll handle the dirty work. Shen Yin grinned. He hadn't intended for Chuan Bao to wash the dishes anyway. With few utensils, Shen Yin quickly finished washing them. After the meal, warmth enveloped him. And even wearing just a light jacket, he felt no chill. After washing the dishes, Shen Yin quietly slipped into Xia Yanchun's home, seeking the warmth of her soft presence. Having spent ample time at her abode, he felt it was nearly time to depart as she prepared for her shower. Xia Yanchun, with a playful hum, allowed Shen Yin to embrace her for a while. Once granted permission, he plopped down on the bed, encircling her delicate waist with his strong arms, gently massaging her slightly swollen belly after a satisfying meal. My culinary skills are rather commendable, wouldn't you agree? He boasted. Mediocre, really, nothing compared to my prowess. She replied coyly. Oh, I've only just begun to learn, she added, her sensitivity heightened by her attire of nightwear, causing her cheeks to bloom with a rosy hue as Shen Yin continued to knead her stomach. After a delightful interlude, Xia Yanchun playfully grasped his fingers, preventing him from wandering. That's enough, I need to shower, she said lightly. Can't you manage alone? He teased. Get lost, she retorted, flinging his hand away. Who said I wanted to shower with you? Go away. I merely thought you'd welcome my company. Shen Yin grinned, rising to his feet. Then I shall take my leave. Good night, my dear Chun. Humph. As he departed, silence enveloped the room once more. Xia Yanchun rested her chin in her hands, sitting in contemplation for a moment before slipping into her slippers and selecting her attire for the following day. Upon returning home, Shen Yin found his mind racing with thoughts. Earlier, when he had embraced Xia Yanchun, he had intentionally removed his shoes to brush against her delicate feet. Her skin was soft and warm. And not only her feet, but her hands radiated warmth as well. He pondered whether the green peppers he had purchased, which were mild, and the absence of ginger could indeed warm him up. It seemed rather absurd. Perhaps the culinary mastery skill truly possessed some inexplicable qualities. Could it be a matter of belief? If one wished to create, could one simply do so? He resolved to experiment. At 10 o'clock that evening, Shen Yin sautéed the leftover chicken from breakfast, simultaneously preparing noodles. Is this truly cooking? He mused. I simply wish to test the limits of my culinary mastery. He wondered aloud to his family. Do you think I can conjure a dish that boosts intelligence by 50 points? Alas, it seemed Shen Yin was indulging in fanciful dreams. Even after finishing his meal and immediately diving into his studies, his speed and efficiency remained unchanged. An intelligence boost of 50 points was far too fantastical. Chapter 184. Culinary mastery leans towards business, while fishing mastery leans towards sports. The following day, Shen Yin rose early as usual, but this time devoted some time to preparing breakfast. He made a hearty egg porridge, carefully packing it into a small plastic bowl, ensuring that Xia Yanxun could enjoy it as soon as she stepped outside. However, he had prepared it a bit too early, and by the time she exited, the porridge had cooled to a lukewarm temperature. You made this. Xia Yanxun tilted her head, surprised by the early gesture. I sacrificed a bit of my workout time. He replied, You're not developing a penchant for cooking, are you? Aspiring to be a master chef? Why concern yourself with such trivialities? I made it for you. And yet you question me, he teased, tugging at her ponytail with a playful tone. Xia Yanxun pouted, pressing the elevator button, and, once in the lobby, leisurely scooped a spoonful of egg porridge into her mouth with a disposable spoon. The warm porridge, enhanced with a touch of soy sauce, strikes a perfect balance, neither too salty nor too bland. The addition of a stirred, perfectly cooked egg elevates the texture of the porridge, yielding an unexpectedly delightful experience. How is it? It's quite satisfactory. Enjoy it and indulge a bit more. I've added some herbal remedy. Ugh, I feel nauseous. Due to the need to catch a ride, Xia Yanxun hastens her eating, finishing the small bowl just before reaching the parking area. Shen Yin prepares the car, ready to embark with her. The morning carries a gentle breeze and a veil of mist, rendering the air refreshingly cool. Despite Xia Yanxun being warmly dressed, the sharp wind pricks at her, compelling her to nestle behind Shen Yin. With her arms wrapped around his waist, she finds the chill discomforting. Though it does not seem excessively cold. Is it very cold? Not particularly. It's mainly the wind. Then I'll drive slowly. The wind stings my eyes. With one hand on the wheel, Shen Yin grasps her delicate hand that rests on his abdomen, drawing it into the warmth of his coat, like a thief claiming a prize. It's not cold at all. Rather, it feels pleasantly warm. Today's egg porridge contains only eggs, yet it possesses a certain warmth that allows Xia Yanxun, who often feels ice cold even while cocooned in blankets, to enjoy a comforting warmth while traveling. How whimsical. As he prepared breakfast, his thoughts were solely on whether this bowl of porridge could provide warmth. The outcome appears limited. It lacks the profound effects one might find in games that enhance intelligence or stamina. However, it effectively warms the body and alleviates menstrual discomfort. As such, nourishing food is inherently beneficial. In the future, should Haki-chun or his older sister experience their menstrual cycles, he could prepare a bowl of ginger and brown sugar water, or even a simple bowl of white porridge, confident that it would provide relief. Yet, the effectiveness may not rival that of ginger and brown sugar water. Today's egg porridge exemplifies this. It does offer warmth, but clearly not to the extent of yesterday's lean meat porridge. The small hand in his pocket has lost some of its warmth, the fingertips now tinged with a slight chill. He must hold her hand to stave off the cold, to bestow a dish with effects that are not inherently present, albeit mildly, while amplifying the natural benefits of certain ingredients, demonstrates his prowess in the culinary arts. His culinary skill leans towards the practical, while his fishing prowess sways towards the athletic. For reasons unknown, the chill has returned, prompting Xia Yanxun to slip her other hand into Shen Yin's pocket. Today's temperature hovers in single digits, yet Shen Yin feels an overwhelming warmth. This sensation is most pronounced when they share a bed, clad only in sleepwear or short sleeves. She relishes the feeling of warming her hands within his clothing, claiming the entirety of his spacious pockets like a magpie in a nest. Upon arriving at school, Xia Yanxun disembarks but lingers, seizing the moment while Shen Yin locks the car to press her hand against the nape of his neck. Ouch! What the? Hee. Shen Yin recoils, utterly flustered. Had Xia Yanxun stealthily moved behind him, his quick reflexes might have allowed him to evade her, but standing still, she leaves him no room to escape. How could you get so cold so quickly? You really need to buy some gloves. There's no need to worry. Once I fetch some warm water, my hands will no longer feel frozen. Shen Yin bent down, meeting the girl's gaze for a moment, then glanced around before suddenly taking her hands in his, exhaling warm breath to help rub them. With no familiar classmates outside the school, Xia Yanxun merely stared at him, somewhat relishing the warmth he offered, her heart quietly blooming like a delicate pink flower. A gentle breeze stirred the strands of her hair. As she looked up, she saw pure white clouds drifting leisurely, occasionally gathering and dispersing, reflecting in her eyes alongside the azure sky. She withdrew her now warmed hands, playfully bumping her forehead against Shen Yin's chest, chiding him for such behavior at the school gate, feeling a tinge of embarrassment. What would we be in the classroom then? Classroom? I don't understand. I don't know. I'm leaving now. Xia Yanxun turned and jogged into the school, her ponytail swaying. In the blink of an eye, it was already 92 points. Oh my. Chapter 185. A desire to leap the school as sycamores shed their dense shade, and the winter sun pierced through the branches, with dry leaves accumulating along the pathway beside the teaching building, crackling underfoot during the breaks. Late November marked the full onset of winter in Ceramic South, where the air lingered at a chilly 12 to 13 degrees Celsius most of the time. At night, or in the early hours, when the sun was absent, temperatures could plummet to 8 or 9 degrees. Although Shen Yin did not find it particularly cold, he had no desire to go jogging in the park in such weather. He preferred to practice indoors instead. On Tuesday, Only a day remained until the mock exam. Shun Nian rested his chin on his hand, staring vacantly at the students rushing to the small shop, sipping from his cup of luo hangua water when thirst struck. He had brewed the luo hangua water himself. As the weather cooled, he prepared a bowl each day, not only for its benefits of clearing heat, moistening the lungs, alleviating coughs, and quenching thirst, but also to warm the two girls beside him. It seemed that girls generally preferred warm water, at least the two he knew did. Regardless, a sip of warm water in winter was undeniably more comforting than a cold one. The luo hangua water was inherently sweet, and he had added a bit more sugar while brewing. Xinyu had one bottle, he had another, and Xia Yanchun had her own, all filled and brought to school, ready to sip whenever they felt cold. Shun Yan's water bottle was a cheap one, not even reaching 20, with a far inferior insulation effect compared to Xia Yanchun's. Though her bottle wasn't a thermos, it still retained heat reasonably well. A pot of hot water usually remained warm until lunchtime. Xia Yanchun twisted off the cap and took a sip of the pleasantly warm luo hangua water, feeling a wave of comfort wash over her, as if the chill had dissipated from within. This luo hangua water was brewed by Xin Yan, who had unexpectedly asked her to bring her water bottle home every day, filling it with the brew the following day. She was uncertain where this idea had come from, but she had to admit, it was quite beneficial. A small packet of cat ears was tossed onto Xia Yanchun's desk, Xin Yan's shadow falling over her, blocking much of the light. How far have you reviewed? He inquired, leaning casually on her stack of books. I've lost count of how many times I've reviewed, now. It's about deepening impressions at random. 666, as expected of the class monitor, quite intimidating. Xia Yanchun pouted, it's just average. Who is as lazy as you? What an unexpected encounter. I have also completed my review, and it seems the mock exam is looming over us. Xin Yan, with a whimsical demeanor, is indeed a force to be reckoned with. Off with you now. Yet, Xin Yan remains unfazed, sharing some modest snacks with others, each costing nearly 50 cents per pack. Li Shiyan, filled with joy, revels in sitting at the back. Who would have known that sitting beside Xin Yan would yield complimentary snacks? I wish I had known sooner. Thank you, she chirps sweetly, her eyes sparkling with delight. Initially, I had intended to sacrifice your good fortune for 3 years in order to draw a card, but your simple thank you leaves me feeling rather bashful. Li Shiyan pouts, momentarily silenced. Her large eyes twinkle as she tears open the snack, delicately savoring each piece. Though Shun Yan's words may be harsh, the treats are undeniably delightful. Shun Yan possesses a charmingly mischievous nature. He scarcely pays attention to Li Shiyan and drags Chun Dong and Ma Mingfan in a group towards the restroom. Inside, an unusual scent of smoke lingers. It is perplexing that even in the second year, some dare to sneak a smoke. This mischief is more serious than romance, as being caught invokes a double punishment. What a stench, Xin Yan complains, wiping his damp hands on Chun Dong's shirt. What a stench, Chun Dong echoes, reciprocating the gesture. Mid-sentence, Ma Mingfan suddenly realizes he is wiping his own shirt and hurriedly races back to wash his hands again, emerging with them still wet. Xin Yan and Chun Dong have already made their escape. Ma Mingfan, amused yet exasperated, can only wipe himself down once more. How inconsiderate to not wait for each other at the restroom. It is no wonder that those who do not value their companions cannot ascend to greater heights. Meanwhile, Xin Yan and Chun Dong have already begun to engage in light-hearted banter in the corridor outside the classroom. Ma Mingfan jogs over, intending to playfully slap both of them. But as he arrives, Liang Jing unexpectedly exits through the back door. Ma Mingfan, why are you in such a hurry? Liang Jing exclaims, startled. I just returned from the restroom. Do you need something? No, you nearly bumped into me. Liang Jing points at the water stains on his shirt. Oh, this? It's just water, truly. I know, but it would be impressive if you managed to urinate on your clothes, Liang Jing quips, amused. I have tissues if you need them. No worries, it's merely water, it will dry soon enough. Alright, Liang Jing replies, adjusting her hair. Are you playing Minecraft this week? I've built a portal to the nether at our spawn point. When shall we venture into the depths? Ma Mingfan hesitates. I'll see if I have time this weekend. I'll join you after I finish Naruto. Sounds good. As Shun Yan observes their conversation, he promptly delivers a hearty pat on Ma Mingfan's shoulder upon his approach. What the hell, if you want to hit me, just do it directly. Why this theatrics? Ma Mingfan grins. Bro, is that how you pat shoulders? Next time, should I kick you like a martial artist? I feared you might not appreciate a direct hit. Why would you hit me at all? Shun Yan shifts the conversation. Have you been gaming with Liang Jing lately? Well, not exactly. She wanted to play, so I created a save file. If I have free time, I'll take her along. Ma Mingfan whispers discreetly. She is quite inexperienced. I provided her with a full set of diamond armor, yet she fell victim to a lone zombie. That indeed reflects a lack of skill, Xin Yan agrees. So lacking in competence, Chen Dong concurs. Girls are often perceived as not being adept at gaming, a stereotype that, despite its generalization, has roots worth pondering. In truth, Ma Mingfan does not frequently indulge in Minecraft. He plays occasionally, particularly when the internet connection falters on the bus. Liang Jing appears to have a fondness for the game, often urging him to join her. While he is not averse to this, he feels a certain awkwardness when playing with a female. It becomes difficult to express himself freely. Expletives linger on the tip of his tongue. Yet he must swallow them back. If only Liang Jing were a boy. Ma Mingfan, realizing the implications of his words, quickly covers his mouth. Attempting to clarify his statement. Why are you all so distant from me? Xin Yan, concerned for Chun Dong, instinctively shields him, assuring Ma Mingfan that this world is a realm of freedom. Are you serious about stepping back? He chuckles. Apologies, it seems someone in the classroom is calling me. I must go investigate. Chun Dong follows suit. My shoelace is undone. I'm heading back to the classroom for some badminton, brother. The exchange is laden with absurdity. As Ma Mingfan contemplates the loss of his once pristine reputation. Even if he were to retreat 1,000 steps, he still does not harbor any affection for men. Leaning against the corridor railing, the cold wind brushes against his face, inciting a fleeting desire to leap. Chapter 186. Did you know? Punching through a wall is simpler than solving the final mathematics problem. Outside the classroom, one can see their breath in the frigid air, while the warmth within is a result of the many inhabitants who ensure the door remains closed to preserve the heat. Upon entering through the front door, Shen Yan's gaze is immediately drawn to Chen Shiyu, whose melancholic demeanor is accentuated by her rounded chin. The day's gloom seems to deepen. Shen Yan hastily retreats. At 18, the pressures of high school can be overwhelming. How he misses the fishing uncle. During a previous parent-teacher meeting, Shen Yan had taken note of Chen Shiyu's father, remembering his name, Chen Guangming. While reading from a script on stage, the fishing uncle humorously shielded his eyes, eliciting laughter. It seems he might have thought the man was interested in his daughter. Old dang, is my fishing rod safe downstairs? Lunchtime arrives. Today, Shen Yan is the first to the cafeteria, devouring his meal with fervor while others are still queuing. In the classroom, several classmates engage in conversation or study. A mix of genders numbering around 10. Even Lan Fukai is present, though he remains absorbed in his own work. The mock examination holds significant importance, compelling even those who typically do not linger to utilize their time wisely. Some gather around Xia Yanchun, seeking answers to their queries. As Shen Yan arrives, those with mathematics questions gravitate towards him. Shen Yan, hurry and hand over your secrets. He is playfully urged. I merely allocate your break time towards study. With only 3 to 4 hours of sleep each night, you are bound to improve. Yet, amidst the jest, there is a hint of seriousness. He contemplates using the trident of Poseidon on them. You do not believe me when I speak the truth, he muses. Wishing only to be an honest child in a world that often dismisses sincerity. I wish to believe you. Do you truly sleep only 3 to 4 hours each day? At the very least, you ought to apply some makeup to create dark circles under your eyes to deceive us, right? Zhengbu chuckled. Shen Yan shrugged. Zhengbu, have you not heard? The constitution of individuals varies greatly. I once solved 10 complex mathematical problems in a state of extreme fury. Zhengbu was utterly terrified. Faced with such mathematical challenges, he could only succumb to his frustration. A little-known fact, in a state of profound anger, breaking through a wall is easier than solving a mathematical conundrum. Xiaochun, it's time to eat. You all go ahead. I have little appetite today. Oh, very well. Once a few individuals departed, the others gradually followed suit, leaving only Shen Yan and Xia Yanchun in the classroom. Aren't you coming for a meal? Shen Yan leaned over the pile of books to observe her. I lack appetite. What is the matter? Shen Yan smiled at her emotionless visage. It's the end of the month. It was hard for him to forget. Previously, he would tease her during her menstrual period. Times had changed. One must be considerate of those close to them. Xia Yanchun puffed up her cheeks. What's significant about the end of the month? Nothing at all. I have a few small buns here. Would you like to try the purple rice cream ones? Bring them here. Here you go. This exemplifies the advantage of keeping an assortment of snacks in one's bag. The purple rice buns, priced at 1 yuan and 50 cents each, were accompanied by Xia Yanchun, who had nearly emptied her cup of luo hangguo water, now lukewarm, and needed to add hot water. Shen Yan drew the classroom door, and curtains closed. The thick curtains blocked most of the light, necessitating the use of classroom lights in winter when drawn. Your stomach hurts, doesn't it? Shen Yan sat in Li Shiyan's seat, gently brushing her hair aside with a soft smile. No, I just lack appetite. Does your stomach ache during your period? Xia Yanchun, nibbling on the purple rice bun, nodded slightly. It does hurt, but mine is manageable. Some people experience severe pain. I read online that some have to take painkillers. We cannot concern ourselves with others. How about I prepare ginger water with brown sugar for you tomorrow? That works. But don't you have to wake up a bit earlier to make it? Not at all. Boiling water isn't laborious. I have ample time for sleep. So don't worry. Haha. Remember to tell your aunt that you enjoy Orland's grilled chicken. If you were to perish unexpectedly, I would indulge heartily. Damn. Your words are so sharp. I shall give you a light punch. Shen Yan gently nudged her cheek with his fist, causing her soft flesh to squish together like that of a piglet. Xia Yanchun was speechless, wondering which fool had emerged without supervision. As the warm water flowed down her throat, Xia Yanchun felt a comforting warmth envelop her. This luo hangguo water is truly delightful. It's packaged. Under the influence of culinary mastery, the inherent cooling properties of luo hangguo were enhanced, now imbued with a warming effect. It is perfect for cold days and can also alleviate excess heat in the body. Even if Xia Yanchun indulged in spicy hot pot and fried foods 3 times a day, a sip of luo hangguo water would suffice to restore balance. The next time I brew ginger water with brown sugar, it will effectively alleviate menstrual pain and provide warmth. In the past fortnight, he has nearly mastered the intricacies of culinary expertise, cultivating a sense of wellness that transforms previously deceptive health supplements into genuine elixirs of vitality through his culinary skills. After savoring a purple rice bun, Xia Yanchun discarded the remnants into a small trash bag tied between 2 tables and inhaled deeply. Are you still eating? No more. I shall read for a while, and then prepare for sleep. Reading? Tomorrow is a mock exam. Isn't it essential to balance work and rest? The more you exert yourself before the exam, the more fatigued you will feel during it, I assure you. What else should I do? Xia Yanchun, I've come to realize that your life is exceedingly monotonous. Each day is consumed by study, followed by sleep, and then back to study again. This routine will inevitably turn you into a heartless learning machine. What are you implying? Let me get closer. Shen Yan grinned, leaning in to inhale the fragrance of her hair and gently nuzzle her delicate ear. Xia Yanxun felt a tickling sensation on her face, turning her neck slightly. She did not stop him, but also did not lower her book, instead showing him the pages. A novel, borrowed from someone else. Are you satisfied now? Indeed. My dear Chu, just don't lift my shirt, please. Allow me to massage your abdomen. Despite being warmly dressed, Shen Yin's large hand slipped beneath her long-sleeve base layer, pressing against her stomach through the thin fabric. Xia Yanxun curled her legs, taking small breaths. Feeling somewhat at ease, Shen Yin's touch alleviated some discomfort associated with her menstrual cycle. She reclined comfortably like an empress, immersed in her book, enjoying the additional soothing massage. I still have some loquat tea. Would you care for some? Bring it here. Certainly. The loquat tea had long cooled, and Xia Yanxun added hot water before sipping it. Holding the cup, the mildly sweet tea soothed her throat. With no one else around, she felt no need to perform, simply drinking water as she had often done before. Chapter 187. Basketball is not my forte, yet I excel in other pursuits. Xia Yanxun slept soundly, and Shun Yin chose not to disturb her, indulging in a brief moment of observation for 13 minutes and 2 seconds before departing the classroom. When she slumbered, even a gentle poke to her face failed to rouse her. She was simply adorable. The afternoon class lacked significant focus, with the teacher engrossed in their own discourse while Shun Yin concentrated on his studies, having relied on the system to complete the entirety of his science review book, which had swelled with the volume of notes contained within. The activity was rather mundane. It merely required the use of one's hands. I'll have the opportunity to sell it to the younger students. Ranking 8th in the entire school undoubtedly places him among the academic elite. And possessing a comprehensive science review book with varied problem-solving approaches and answers could be considered tantamount to a treasure trove of knowledge. The old tome has been fully annotated. Surely, you should earn a little something for your efforts. Such a commercial mindset is formidable. Typically, students purchase practice workbooks either as complete sets or in combinations of science and mathematics, seldom acquiring them separately for language and English, as if these subjects are inherently regarded as inferior within a science track. In truth, most students in science classes believe these subjects hold less importance than mathematics and science. And while there are a few proficient students in language and English, they remain overshadowed. When it comes time to review, their thoughts invariably drift back to mathematics and science, emphasizing their strengths while minimizing their weaknesses. The college entrance examination considers the total score, and elevating a score from 60 to 90 is undeniably far easier than raising it from 80 to 100. Fortunately, Shen Yin has now fully recovered from her limp. Presently, she stands as a paragon of academic prowess across all subjects. Over the past fortnight, the system has remained rather quiet, allowing Shen Yin to engage in self-study, leading to a series of ordinary yet delightful days on campus, filled with lively banter among peers and playful squabbles with Chun Bao at home. On Tuesday afternoon, there was a physical education class. Due to the cold weather, everyone was reluctant to run, meandering lazily along the rubber track in a chaotic assembly. Regardless, they were required to complete 2 laps. Each physical education class witnessed the miraculous absence of Li Shiyin's monthly discomfort as she strolled alongside Xia Yin and Chun, chattering away with laughter. How wonderful, Qin Dong remarked. What is so wonderful? Just this leisurely stroll. Oh, your partner's foot is injured, making even a simple walk challenging. Isn't it? Yes, precisely, hence the joy in this. She can only get around in a wheelchair. Qin Dong scratched his head, contemplating that she likely wouldn't recover until after the new year. Not long ago, he had asked her, and she had confirmed her decision to repeat the year. Oh, he added, and she's not my partner, so keep that to yourself. Shen Yin dismissed his comment, suggesting that if her family was nearby, they could prepare some nourishing bone soup for her, filled with easily absorbable calcium. They must be around. They usually check in. I only visit on weekends. By the way, does bone soup actually work? It should. I've read that online. Shen Yin had recently watched numerous cooking tutorials and memorized the recipes, though she had never cooked it herself. Thus, she couldn't vouch for its efficacy, suspecting it might only have a negligible effect. After all, no homemade bone soup could rival the potency of medication prescribed by a hospital, unless it was her own concoction. While she could certainly make a bowl of soup for someone, aiding in their recovery, it felt odd since that person was Chun Dong's childhood friend. Such an act of kindness could easily be misinterpreted. You've really changed, Shen Yin teased. If your partner is repeating the year, you wouldn't be considering it as well, would you? Of course not. Her repeating is her affair. What does it have to do with me? Do you take me for a fool? Come on, you're not. Damn it, take that. Chen Dong, despite his jest, was no fool. Who could predict the outcome of repeating the year? Many students ended up with lower scores upon retaking the exams, and he lacked the confidence that Shen Yin or Xia Yin possessed. In other words, those who pressured others to accompany them in repetition often found joy only in their own misfortune. To evade Chen Dong's playful jabs, Shen Yin had already mingled with a group of girls. After completing the exercises, many headed to the basketball court to watch a game. Initially puzzled, Shen Yin learned from Lin Shiyuan that a friendly match had been scheduled for today, as someone had approached their class the previous Sunday. During that Sunday evening study session, he should have been in Chun Bao's room, engrossed in his books. Basketball games were quite common in high school. Both the first and second years had organized such events without much formal structure, and the school permitted them, with some classes even inviting their physical education teachers to officiate. These student-organized matches bore no rewards for victories, while losses left one feeling disheartened. Shen Yin was initially uninterested, but could not resist the allure of joining Haji Chun and Li Shiyin, who had both decided to attend. With the added presence of the formidable Chen Dong, he found himself drawn to the excitement. He had heard that there were 2 athletes in their class, one of whom had previously been on the school team. However, It was a well-known fact that athletes were typically restricted from playing basketball. An injury could render their training of the past 2 years futile. Such concerns were of little relevance to them. A few girls whispered among themselves, and Shin Yin squeezed his way over to stand beside Xia Yin-chun. "Why are you watching basketball too?" he inquired. "Sitting there is still sitting," she muttered. "Can you even play?" "I can't play basketball, but I excel in other sports," Shin Yin replied, stroking his chin. Xia Yin-chun suspected he was making a lewd remark, yet lacked evidence. After all, what if he was referring to badminton? This fellow would undoubtedly twist it around to imply his own depravity. "Badminton, huh? Who can't play? I could easily defeat you," she retorted. "Well, just you wait. Let's have a match." "I can't be bothered with you," Xia Yin-chun thought, knowing that his stamina surpassed hers. Competing would only be self-inflicted hardship. Comparatively, she had already outshone Shin Yin academically for 12 consecutive years. Shin Yin, in a moment of bravado, declared, "Come on, class monitor, can we not be honest? Is it so difficult to acknowledge that others excel? Go away." She shot back. "Hey." Just then, a basketball sailed through the air, startling them. Xia Yin-chun had been engrossed in her quarrel with Shin Yin, and by the time she realized what was happening, the ball was already hurtling towards them, sending her heart racing. In truth, the basketball was not moving rapidly, but to a girl unfamiliar with the sport, a ball headed towards her face was terrifying, as she imagined it would crush her nose upon impact, regardless of its speed. Of course, Shin Yin's quick reflexes contributed to the chaos. He effortlessly intercepted the ball. "My apologies, mate," a boy from another class called out, clasping his hands together in a gesture of apology. Without hesitation, Shin Yin tossed the ball back. "Were you scared to death?" he teased, tugging at Xia Yin-chun's sleeve. "Not at all. I saw you nearly jump out of your skin. Stop spreading rumors." She pouted. Who wouldn't be frightened by a basketball flying at their face? Fair point, he conceded. Chapter 188. Was it the kind of bet where the loser would be bullied? Shin Yin had no knowledge of basketball or its rules, rendering him utterly perplexed by the game. He couldn't even discern who had committed fouls. With time to spare, he decided to grab a basketball from the equipment room and invited Xia Yin-chun to join him at a nearby empty court for some play. Xia Yin-chun and Li Shiyan had initially been there simply to observe, but once Shin Yin called out, Xia Yin-chun took off, followed closely by Li Shiyan. The sports field at number 2 high school was quite expansive, and nearby, the first-year students were playing vigorously. After watching for a while, Shin Yin grasped the basics of shooting. "What are you doing with a basketball if you can't even play?" she remarked, standing by with a hint of sarcasm. "You didn't understand a thing about basketball, and yet you watched for so long. Aren't you just looking for something to do?" Shin Yin beckoned to her, proposing, "How about we see who can shoot more accurately?" Xia Yin-chun glanced at the hoop. She had never witnessed Shin Yin handle a basketball before. He had openly admitted to being a novice, and unlike academics, where they had clear distinctions in performance, in shooting, both were inexperienced, making it a fair challenge. "I just witnessed Shin Yin placing several bets, most of which seem unlikely to succeed. It's all about the gamble. One must embrace the thrill of betting. What are you wagering?" "Ahem." Shin Yin cleared his throat and glanced at the young girl beside him, quickly waving his hand dismissively. Li Shiyan, feeling both frustrated and speechless, obediently stepped back, hands behind her back, striding through the small patch of grass by the playground, feigning indifference. What secrets could they possibly be discussing? Could it involve some unspeakable wager? "Surely, you don't think I am eager to eavesdrop?" Li Shiyan's large, glistening eyes, having exchanged whispers of various intimate matters with Xia Yanchen before, suddenly seemed to light up, her cheeks tinged with a hint of crimson. A forbidden bet. Could it be that the stakes involved humiliation for the loser? She kicked an innocent pebble away, finding their banter rather amusing. Akin to a delightful game. "What shall we wager?" Shin Yin continued his hushed conversation with Xia Yanchen. Her face flushed, she inhaled sharply and whispered, "If I win, for the next couple of days, you must refrain from calling me by my name and instead refer to me as Sister Chun or just Sister. And if I win, you must call me Father? Get lost." Xia Yanchen playfully swatted Shin Yin on the head. "Let us be serious." In truth, Shin Yin was already quite serious. Yet he refrained from speaking up. What man does not harbor dreams of fatherhood? Having already fathered 2 sons, Chen Dong and Ma Mingfan, he merely wished for a daughter. What fault is there in that? "All right then, just call me brother. That won't do either." Shin Yin chuckled in disbelief. "Why not? Isn't a brother of the same generation as a sister? Why the double standards? I am indeed older than you. Asking me to call you brother is utterly absurd. Let us choose something else." Xia Yanchen was unyielding. Whoever is older is the sister or brother. It was evident she held the title of sister, while Shin Yin could not assume the role of brother. This was a line she would not cross. If there are so many rules to this wager, I am quite done with it. "Wait." Xia Yanchen urgently grasped his sleeve. She genuinely wished to hear Shin Yin refer to her as sister. It had been years since she had been called that. If not sister, then Sister Chun would suffice. Yet, Shin Yin stubbornly refused. Only in moments of defeat would he call out Sister Chun, pleading for her to cease her teasing. "Then I shall be audacious," Shin Yin teased, his tone reminiscent of a playful spirit. "Speak. If I win, you must grant me a few affectionate kisses in the coming days, right? Kissing the forehead is acceptable." "No problem," she replied, feigning innocence, "but Sister Chun doesn't he understand? Forehead is not on the table." Shin Yin shook his finger. Xia Yanchen cupped her warm, rosy cheeks, and declared, "A kiss on the cheeks is fair then." Shin Yin shook his head disapprovingly. Xia Yanchen bit her lip, tugging at the collar of her jacket to conceal half her face, her almond-shaped eyes assessing Shin Yin's expression, her gaze meeting his before she rapidly blinked twice. She averted her gaze, choosing silence, neither agreeing nor refusing, leaving Shin Yin to speculate. Shin Yin poked her forehead and proposed a game. Whoever scores 3 three-pointers first wins. I'll go first since my score is higher. Xia Yin-chun snatched the basketball from Shen Yin's side. 666, I'm done with your antics. Xia Yin-chun raised her chin proudly. Which line is the three-point line? That one. Is it really that far? Xia Yin-chun stepped up to the three-point line, honestly. She felt that even throwing the ball in that direction would be a challenge. Let me try, but this one doesn't count. As soon as she finished speaking, she clumsily lifted the basketball and threw it in what she believed was a commendable manner. After all, the only requirement was to score, not to adhere to any specific style. The reality was harsh. The basketball was high enough, but not far enough, rolling helplessly away from the hoop. Xia Yin-chun felt as though the sky had fallen. Li Shiyan huffed as she retrieved the ball for them. Let me try again. All right. What are you expecting? Are you hoping that someone who has never even touched a basketball can score a three-pointer against Shen Yin, who is 180 centimeters tall, possesses great strength and reflexes, and is even lucky? Shen Yin was already amused, while Xia Yin-chun continued to struggle. With a deep breath, Xia Yin-chun bent down again and, gathering her resolve, tossed the ball. The basketball clanged against the rim. Yay, hitting the rim means there's hope. Shen Yin couldn't help but chuckle, nearly considering giving Xia Yin-chun an easier shot. Fortunately, he remained composed, letting her score was out of the question. He and Xia Yin-chun had often engaged in friendly rivalries, sometimes competing to see who could keep their eyes open longer, hold their breath the longest, or finish a test first. Unfortunately, he had lost more often than he had won. Xia Yin-chun was clever and rarely competed in areas where she was at a disadvantage. Today was an exception. Perhaps she thought shooting was simple, but in reality, she struggled to even reach the hoop. Have you had enough? This time counts. Shen Yin was relentless. Maybe we shouldn't bet? At this point, are you joking? I started my period. I have to go. Shen Yin immediately sensed her unease and smiled lightly. Backing out means you lose. Xia Yin-chun, feeling frustrated, regretted not testing her shot before agreeing to this challenge. Once the contest ended, regardless of the outcome, she planned to sulk and make Shen Yin guess. This time, she was determined to sulk dramatically. Come on, Xia-chun. Li Shiyan cheered from the sidelines. How dare that Shen Yin bully me? Even when I'm on my period, he shows no mercy. He is just too mean. At this point, Xia Yin-chun realized there was no escaping. So she decided to throw caution to the wind and take a shot. The basketball arced through the air, clanging against the rim, spinning twice before finally falling. Shen Yin quipped, did BYD just lower the baseline? Or did a little girl give you a buff? Chapter 189. A sudden desire to shake it off after numerous attempts. She finally managed to send the basketball soaring into the hoop with her very first serve. Xia Yanchun nearly leapt with joy, exclaiming, yes, I made one. Was it really that significant? It was finally her turn. Shen Yin retrieved the basketball that the little girl had fetched, dribbling it with practiced ease. Though he had never played before, he had seen enough to know the basics of a jump shot. However, the accuracy was beyond his control, as he had little experience with the game. His throw hit the rim and backboard with ease, yet scoring proved elusive. His luck faltered, and the ball clattered to the ground. Li Shiyan dashed over to retrieve the ball, handing it back to the enigmatic Xia Yanchun, who encouraged her with a gentle fist pump. Keep it up, Xiaochun. Yes. Leading by a single point, Xia Yanchun felt a swell of pride, instinctively straightening her back, her youthful form barely discernible beneath her thick outerwear. She attempted another shot, but alas, it did not find its mark. Next, it was Shen Yin's turn who, with a burst of fortune, launched a beautiful three-pointer. He grinned at Xia Yanchun, flashing a peace sign. Your turn. Xia Yanchun's exuberance waned slightly, and she murmured encouragement to herself. Oh heavens, grant me another. Swish. The heavens conspired in her favor. She scored. Although the ball rolled precariously around the rim, it ultimately fell through. Excluding her earlier practice shots, she had made 2 out of 4 attempts, and Xia Yanchun felt formidable. How did I score? Don't ask. Isn't luck a part of skill? She pondered, though fatigue began to set in. Each shot required considerable effort, and the winter chill made her throat sting. Her stamina was already mediocre, and she feared that if she continued to shoot, her arms would ache by morning. In contrast, Shen Yin appeared unfazed, hardly breaking a sweat. The ball returned to Shen Yin's hands, and he tossed it casually, missing the basket. After a couple more rounds, he finally secured his second point. The prowess of microglow training surged within him. He felt his shooting touch improve, with a fiery rhythm. He sensed that further shots would rely more on his precision than mere luck. The score stood at 2-2. Shen Yin grinned, offering a reminder. Xia Yanchun took a deep breath. Her cheeks flushed from the exertion, the delicate skin beneath her eyes tinged with pink. Both sides needed just one more basket, and she was gripped by nerves, her energy waning as she steeled herself for another shot. Yet, it soared high but fell short. Suddenly, a whistle sounded from afar, drawing Xia Yanchun's gaze. It was her physical education teacher summoning the class, and her heart leaped with joy. Let's call it a day. Time to gather. Wait. Let me finish this shot. She protested, knowing she would face the teacher's reprimand later. Feeling a twinge of guilt, she hurriedly linked arms with Li Shiyan, and together, they rushed towards their classmates. Neither side could shoot, yet it was evident that she was at a disadvantage. Her stamina was waning, and after a few attempts, she found herself slightly breathless, just as the teacher blew the whistle to gather the students. Astute individuals understood the wisdom of departing early. Only a fool would continue to compete with Shen Yin. This was not a trivial matter. The teacher had sounded the whistle, and failure to assemble would result in reprimands. Shen Yin watched as the 2 girls gradually distanced themselves, a twitch at the corner of his mouth as he retrieved the ball, taking one last shot before leaving. Swish, the basketball sailed effortlessly through the hoop. After class, Shen Yin, in a rare moment, bought a bottle of drink from Qingdong. The beverage was under the strict supervision of Xia Yanchun, and it had been quite some time since Shen Yin had indulged in anything sweet beyond his own concoctions. He found himself feeling a twinge of longing. In the classroom, Xia Yanchun was meticulously placing books into the storage box, merely glancing at Shen Yin without uttering a word. "Where are your books? Come and put them in," she said, having purposely left some space for him. "Wait a moment, I'll tidy up." "All right." This was a significant manifestation of his good rapport with the girls, without the assistance of Xia Yanchun and Li Shiyan. The books he couldn't bear to part with would have to be stacked on the floor. Before long, the seating arrangements for the exams were posted at the back of the classroom. Shen Yin was fortunate, as he was assigned to the same class as Xia Yanchun, albeit in a different seat. During the final class, everyone rearranged their desks and chairs according to the seating chart. A classroom meant for 50 could accommodate only 25 students, with the school even repurposing classrooms from other grades to expand the examination venues. The first mock exam was quite formal. Not only the students but the school itself placed great emphasis on it. The mock examination in CIN was a unified test across the province, facilitating comparisons among different provinces, with only the third mock being a tri-province examination. Due to the first mock exam for the seniors, the first and second year students were granted 2 days of leave, confined to the dormitories as long as the seniors were still taking their exams, effectively only attending evening self-study sessions. Feeling envious, Shen Yin wished he could fast forward to the college entrance examination. During the last period of evening self-study, Shen Yin and Chen Dong wore somber expressions. "You've already lost." Shen Yin twirled his pen, flashing a carefree smile akin to a tipsy flutist. "Damn it, let's do it again." "Huh, the outcome is already decided. Continuing would be futile." Shen Yin waved his hand dismissively. "When it comes to Gamoku, you are still a bit too inexperienced." Xia Yanchun listened to their banter, offering a faint smile, but as the class gradually grew louder, she decided to intervene. "Tomorrow is the first mock exam. Those who are not studying should keep their voices down so as not to disturb others who are reviewing." Shen Yin and Chen Dong immediately fell silent. "My apologies, class monitor Ma Sai. I spoke too loudly just now. I'll finish the remaining 2 subjects of the 5-3 exercises." Chen Dong turned back to resume his game of Gamoku with Ma Mingfan, while Shen Yin dared not utter another word, aware that further chatter might result in Xia Yanchun noting names. Despite her sweet demeanor, she had little patience for noise in the classroom, if reminded too many times. She could easily remember several names, and if she remembered too many, Tsukashi would come calling for those with the most infractions to discuss matters privately. Once the class settled down again, Xia Yanchun resumed her reading, only to have a small eraser lodged in her hair moments later. Xia Yanchun cast a disgruntled glance at Shen Yin. Without the obstruction of the pile of books, she could capture the entirety of Shen Yin within her gaze. Shen Yin continued to feign ignorance, his tongue swirling in his mouth like a rogue. It seemed as though he might shake his head at any moment. Chapter 190, a win-win or a lose-lose situation. As soon as school ended, Shen Yin shouldered his backpack and exited the classroom alongside Xia Yanchun. Their shadows were divided into 3 by the streetlight. Xia Yanchun walked ahead, hands clasped behind her back, humming a light melody, each step landing atop Shen Yin's shadow. She was petite, and her backpack was a small, youthful design, barely managing to contain a water bottle and an umbrella, alongside a few books, which made it quite burdensome. Shen Yin was the one carrying the water bottle. "Walk faster, it's freezing." Xia Yanchun turned around, stepping backwards, calling out softly. "What's the rush?" Shen Yin quickened his pace to catch up, shaking the half-empty bottle of Pepsi from his backpack. "There's still some left. Do you want a sip? After we leave school." "I thought you were going to scold me again." "Why would I scold you? It's not that I'm forbidding you from drinking. I just want you to consume less." "I hardly drink it anymore, just occasionally. Tomorrow, I'll make you some ginger tea with brown sugar. Actually, rock sugar would work too. We just happen to have brown sugar at home." A gust of wind, laced with chill, swept by, sending a dry leaf spiraling down, landing lightly like a sigh upon Xia Yanchun's head. Shen Yin gently plucked it off, glancing at the school's barren branches. This wind had whisked away the last remnants of warmth. December follows the mock exam, and the winter break and spring festival are not far behind. "You're quite lucky," Shen Yin remarked with a smile. "What do you mean? The leaf just happened to fall on your head. You might step in dog waste next time you go out." "How is that lucky?" Xia Yanchun replied, utterly speechless. The half-full bottle of cola rattled as Xia Yanchun carefully twisted the cap, releasing a cascade of fizz. The dark soda bubbled forth, and she gulped it down in one go. After burping, she handed the empty bottle to Shen Yin. "By the way, can I drink cold water during my period? I'm just on my period, not dead." "Oh right." Shen Yin nudged her with his elbow, tilting his chin towards a nearby stall. "How about some candied hawthorn?" "No thanks. Candied hawthorn is ridiculously expensive now. Prices are bound to rise. I'll go push the cart. You buy me one." "I'm amazed by you." Xia Yanchun made her way to the little stall by the roadside. It had been a while since she had candied hawthorn and discovered that it had expanded to include grapes as the base. She had only ever tasted the small and large hawthorns before. A wave of nostalgia washed over her. Xia Yanchun had always adored these sweet treats, often imploring her family to bring one home whenever possible, sharing them with Shen Yin, each enjoying 2. Though Shen Yin had a stubborn temperament and had been critical of her from a young age, he would readily barter his soul for snacks, prioritizing his taste buds over pride. Little Shen Yin was quite sincere. To have a piece of candied hawthorn, he would sweetly call her sister, only to turn on her and call her old hag immediately after finishing the treat. Xia Yanchun mused that anyone who bought him a stick of candied hawthorn would earn the title of sister from him. Upon recalling some disheartening thoughts, Xia Yanchun puffed her cheeks in contemplation. Yet, after a brief moment of silence, she found herself at a loss as to what exactly was troubling her. How juvenile. she mused. To contend with the sentiments of a child from a decade ago. Uncle, may I have a hawthorn skewer? Certainly, it's almost time to close up. 6 yuan will suffice. Hearing the girl address him as uncle, the candied hawthorn vendor felt his spirits lift somewhat. Thank you. Xia Yanchun accepted the skewer, which contained 6 hawthorns for a mere 6 yuan. Quite reasonable indeed. Ah, indeed, winter calls for candied hawthorns. As she tucked a strand of hair behind her ear, she bit into one of the hawthorns. The sweet coating mingled with the tartness of the fruit, causing her eyes to squint in response to the sourness. How come you're indulging? Shen Yan had driven over, stabilizing the car with his long legs. Why shouldn't I enjoy what I've paid for? If you wanted more, you could simply buy another. 2 will suffice. Buying a second would be wasteful. Very well, your wish is my command. Now hop in. It's freezing. Xia Yanchun, unhurried, offered him the skewer. Here, have a bite. Shen Yan grinned and took a mouthful of the syrup-coated hawthorn, chewing it thoroughly, albeit still with the pit intact. Nevertheless, it was rather delightful, he had to admit. What is that expression on your face? Oh, it's nothing. Let us go? With a smile illuminating her features, Xia Yanchun steadied herself against Shen Nian's shoulder as she entered the car. She held onto the skewer while Shen Nian drove attentively. Upon arriving at the community, only 2 hawthorns remained. Xia Yanchun covered her mouth, realizing she had dropped one. I saw it in the rearview mirror. Denying it won't do you any good. You should have just bought another. All right, here you go. Shen Nian graciously accepted, devouring the remaining 2 hawthorns before they even reached the elevator, tossing the stick into a nearby patch of grass. In the elevator, Xia Yanchun twirled a strand of hair around her finger, occasionally glancing at Shen Yan, and then at her own toes. By the way, I won this afternoon. The moment you left, I made a throw, and it went in. Shen Yan suddenly interjected. What nonsense. I didn't see it. And by then the teacher had already gathered everyone. That certainly doesn't count. Shen Yan pointed at her with a playful gesture. So you threw and missed. Then bolted away, right? I said that backing out counts as a loss for you. But you have no proof that you made the 3rd shot. Let us call it a draw. A draw? Does that mean a tie or a loss for both? Shen Yan nudged her playfully. Ding. The elevator doors opened. And before Xia Yanchun could process her surroundings, she instinctively stepped out, belatedly realizing the implications. A tie or a loss? Did a tie mean that Shen Yan would have to call her sister Chuan or sister for the next few days, and she would be subjected to several kisses from him? Or did a loss mean that nothing counted? Was there even a notion of a tie? Blinking, Xia Yanchun lowered her head to retrieve her house keys, murmuring softly. I don't wish for your kisses, let us call it a loss. Shen Yan scratched his head, about to say something, when Xia Yanchun added. I just bought you candied hawthorns. What's wrong? Do you expect me to pay you back? I misjudged you, Xia Yanchun. What would I need 6 yuan for? She twirled her hair, avoiding his gaze. Humph, shouldn't you show some gratitude? Shen Yan scratched his chin, pondering for a considerable time without arriving at a conclusion. I absolutely despise riddles. To navigate the intricate riddles posed by this individual, Shen Yan possesses a refined social acumen. What are you babbling about? Just look at your legs. You can leave. Thus, what exactly do you wish to convey? If you remain silent, at least send me 2 pictures of your legs. Xia Yanchun, both exasperated and anxious, felt as though her very essence was being drained, and if Shen Yan did not prepare ginger syrup for her the following day, she would leave her socks unwashed and stuff them into his mouth. Blushing, she poked his chest with her index finger. You've changed, Shen Yan. How did you address me when I used to treat you to candied hawthorns? And how do you address me now? Sister? The sudden utterance of sister from Shen Yan caused a flurry of blossoms to bloom within Xia Yanchun's heart. Her almond-shaped eyes sparkled, reflecting Shen Yan's image, and her chaotic thoughts were sweetened with a hint of nectar, until Shen Yan gently pressed his forehead against hers, smiling. Chunbao. He was leaning against her forehead once more. Xia Yanchun blinked, opened her mouth, but remained silent, her slightly stiff hands intertwining with his larger ones. Xia Yanchun softly lowered her heels, hurriedly brushed her lips, turned her flushed face away, and whispered softly. I still want to hear you call me once more before you go to sleep. Shen Yan turned to unlock the door, aware that the awkwardness would fall upon him otherwise. Xia Yanchun twirled a strand of hair with her fingertips, her heart racing, and leisurely returned to her room. While bathing, she indeed contemplated whether it was a win-win or a loss for both. The call of sister resonated deeply within her. Chapter 191. Just wanting to be someone else's mother emerging like a water lily, her skin, softened by the warm bath, glistened delicately. The house felt a bit chilly, prompting Xia Yanchun to dash back to her bed, gently swinging her feet. Once the moisture dried, she wrapped herself in a quilt, comfortably reclining against the headboard while scrolling through her phone. The faint blush on her face from the warm bath lingered for a while, and as the warmth dissipated, her hands and feet began to grow cold, especially heightened by her current menstrual period. Xia Yanchun's fingertip glided across her phone screen as she ordered 2 earmuffs and a hot water bottle. The hot water bottle would accompany her to school, allowing her to charge it by unplugging the water dispenser at noon, which was quite convenient. With so many people at school, she couldn't possibly slip her hand into Shen Yan's pocket, nor could she expect him to provide warmth. She planned to have Shen Yan bring it back for her later. Xia Yanchun giggled, a master of energy-saving techniques, skillfully utilizing every opportunity. Suddenly, an idea struck her, and she opened Shen Yan's QQ. Xia Yanchun, if you wake up early tomorrow, I would like some ginger syrup. You poked Shen Yan and said, nice butt. What a lunatic. If a guy poked him, wouldn't he explode on the spot? It was better to just call for her mother, anyone would suffice. What girl doesn't harbor a desire to become a mother? She was uncertain about others, but she certainly did. Although she currently did not wish to have her own children, she simply wanted to be someone else's mother, touching the hearts of 1 billion people. Let us commend the pure maternal love of Chunbao. After a while, Xinyan finally replied to her message. Xinyan, got it. How many times do I need to say it? My cup can also be filled for you. Xiaoyan Shun, what is your attitude? Xinyan, what else could it be? Do you expect me to fawn over a woman like you, who takes advantage and then refuses to admit defeat? I could easily knock you out. Xiaoyan Shun, if you can prove that your ball went in after I left, then I'll concede. Xinyan, do you think I have a time machine? Xinyan, the first thing I would do with a time machine is train you to be a maid. Xiaoyan Shun, images of a deer, a water pipe, and an alarm clock. Xinyan, enough already, Xiaoyan Shun, you just can't let it go, can you? Xiaoyan Shun, image of Jerry looking anxious, with a gentle smile. Xiaoyan Shun held her phone, her eyes sparkling. The precision of his words was indeed overwhelming. There are certain memories that, once seen, are impossible to erase. If Xinyan hadn't made those peculiar comments about training her as a maid, she wouldn't have even brought it up. Ultimately, it's all Xinyan's fault. She was certain of that. After a while without a response from him, she wondered if he was truly affected by her words. With a playful grin, and considering the exam tomorrow, she plugged her phone into charge, snuggled under her blanket like a turtle, preparing for an early night. Once the urge to sleep hit her, drowsiness washed over her like a tidal wave from the Qiantang River. Unable to resist, she yawned, her eyelids growing heavy. Suddenly, her phone buzzed to life, and her hand instinctively reached for it. A weather update. Tomorrow there's a blue wind warning. With the screen illuminated, she opened Xinyan's chat window, only to find he still hadn't replied. Hesitantly, she typed the message, "Are you coming over tonight?" but ultimately deleted it, opting instead for the simplest farewell. Xiaoyan Shun, good night. Xinyan, instant reply. How can you sleep at your age? Xinyan, sharing a video with you. How high school students can achieve a sudden turnaround in a short time. MP4, Xinyan, sharing a video with you. Students who sleep before midnight are destined for mediocrity. MP4, Xinyan, sharing a video with you. 3 characteristics of exceptional students. The last one is crucial. MP4, Xiaoyan Shun, what a genius. So you didn't reply earlier because you were hunting for some motivational nonsense. This kind of thing might work in a parent's group, but sent to her, it would only make her want to laugh. Achieving a turnaround. Who are you surpassing? Those at Yizhong? How many of them can outdo me? Better to just block him. The next day, Xinyan woke up early to prepare ginger tea with brown sugar, filling both his and Xiaoyan Shun's cups, then reminding Xinyu via WeChat to take a pot to work with her. This ginger tea was no ordinary concoction. It was a poetic blend worthy of Wang Wei. After his culinary expertise, it had transformed into something extraordinary, a beverage that wouldn't leave one feeling lightheaded. As school time approached, the moment Xinyan opened the door, he bumped into Xiaoyan Shun in the corridor. They headed down together. It was still quite early. There was no need for me to wait. Xinyan flashed a grin and hurried to press the elevator button. I'm so tired, Xiaoyan Shun muttered softly. What's wrong? Did you not sleep well? Su Yanchun exhaled a puff of warm air, rubbing her hands together, and glanced at Xinyan. The wind had picked up during the night, rattling the windows, and she had gone to bed with icy hands and feet, reluctantly turning on the heating. If only Xinyan were here, she wouldn't have woken up cold in the middle of the night. After sharing a bed with him once, she found it hard to bear the thought of curling up alone under the covers with her limbs so cold. Silly Xinyan. Su Yanchun pulled out a bottle of pure milk from her pocket and offered it to him. Xinyan scratched his chin. The last time he visited Su Yanchun's home, he had wanted to sneak a couple of bottles, but couldn't find any. So he had settled for snacking on some peanuts from the fridge in the dead of winter. Goodness, Su Yanchun even had a sense of theft prevention. Must the rivalry between adversaries be so riddled with schemes and calculations? Xinyan felt a pang of sorrow. Why couldn't I find the milk when I visited? Did you hide it? Do you think I would actually steal your milk? He lamented his misplaced trust in Su Yanchun. You not only would steal my milk, but also nibble on my ice cream cone. Oh, that does seem to be the case. Xinyan suddenly realized. Su Yanchun grabbed his large hand, placing the milk in it, and helping him fold his fingers around it. There you go, hold on to it. Moved to tears. Please give me a kiss. Kiss my foot. Su Yanchun laughed with a hint of annoyance. If you want a kiss, then why did you bet yesterday? You didn't win after all. That's because you cheated. Xinyan tugged at her hair. Honestly, I still think it would be better if we both won. Too lazy to argue with you. The elevator is here. Su Yanchun skipped into the elevator and pressed the button for the first floor once Xinyan stepped in. Xinyan fell silent, inserted a straw into the bottle, and took a sip of the milk, draining it until it began to collapse. Want a sip? He offered the milk to Su Yanchun's lips. She tossed her hair back, took the straw in her mouth, and sipped. And Xinyan swore he could hear her swallow, the sound echoing as she took 2 small gulps. As she pulled away, the straw broke free from her lips, like a silver thread snapping. Here, take your water cup. Okay. Chapter 192, Were We Seen? Su Yanchun received her water cup, opened the lid, and a puff of steam escaped. After taking a small sip, the warm ginger water began to dispel the chill within her, making her feel all soft and cozy. Once outside, Xinyan wrapped an arm around the petite Su Yanchun, nuzzling her face and hair, inhaling her youthful scent. Su Yanchun didn't resist. She only shrank her neck a little when he tickled her. That's enough. Haha. After having breakfast, they drove to school. The early arriving classmates had already settled into their seats. Time had flown since the beginning of the semester, and now they were approaching their first mock exams, which meant the real college entrance examination was just around the corner. Xinyan set his backpack down, feeling lazy about reviewing, and beckoned Su Yanchun with his finger. What do you want? Su Yanchun shot him a glance. Are you going to study? Well, I'll look at some books before the exam. Come sit over here then. It's not long until the test. Su Yanchun hesitated. In the past, during evening study sessions, it was not uncommon for Xia Yanqun to sit beside Shen Yin. At that time, their relationship lacked the ambiguity that now envelopes it. Sitting together, their hearts were at ease. However, now, having shared kisses and intimate moments, a sense of trepidation has taken root. She fears that others may discern the truth, or that rumors will circulate about Shen Yin's affections for her, or vice versa. Although she cannot help but recall the midday when Shen Yin confessed his feelings, causing her breath to quicken, she has never reciprocated those sentiments. After all, rivals must remain oppositional. If Shen Yin harbors feelings for her, then she must feign disdain for him. Xia Yanqun nodded to herself. Contemplating the day she might rise to be the best in the world, at which point she could ponder matters of affection. Come, let us quiz each other on English vocabulary or classical poetry, she suggested. Very well, he replied. The class had not yet begun. With half the students still trickling in from outside, Xia Yanqun retrieved 2 printed documents and settled into the empty chair beside Shen Yin, using his request for vocabulary practice as a convenient excuse to sit close. It seemed quite normal for classmates to quiz one another, especially since Shen Yin had no desk mate, thereby placing the responsibility on her. The air near the window was slightly chilly, and Xia Yanqun adjusted her posture, her cloth shoes scraping against the desk's crossbar with a grating sound. Have you anything you haven't memorized? Either Chinese literature or English will do. Surely, after 3 years. Mastering the texts and vocabulary is a matter of diligence. I could conquer it all in just 2 months. Then why didn't you study in your first and second years? He inquired. Well, I found it tedious back then. But now that the college entrance examination approaches, I must demonstrate my true abilities. Just then, Ma Mingfan entered, carrying 2 boiled eggs, and nearly fainted upon hearing Shen Yin's words. Hey, you're not the class monitor. Why are you over here? He asked, taking a seat and glancing curiously. Shen Yin asked me to help him with vocabulary practice. Xia Yanqun replied with a light laugh. Why not have you join us for a quiz on your vocabulary? Classical poetry is also acceptable. Aha, you wouldn't be unprepared, would you? The mock exam is fast approaching, and you should be studying diligently for that 6-point composition. It's not that I haven't studied. Rather, I have a strategic approach, slow and methodical, ensuring that those capable first tackle the material. Shen Yin rested his chin on his hand, grinning as he added, having formulas for problem solving certainly expedites the process. Oh, you're getting too detailed there, Shen Yin, Ma Mingfan interjected. He was not entirely unprepared, but his pace was slow and his knowledge incomplete. As an exceptional student, he was betting that the upcoming mock exam would feature only the material he had studied. If he lost, he would endure watching Candy is Super Sweet 10 times. But if he won, he would reward himself by watching it 20 times, honing his willpower in the process. Ma Mingfan then noticed Xia Yanqun's pink water bottle. With no books on the desk, the 2 bottles, hers and Shen Yin's, stood out prominently, making it hard to ignore, although they were not matching items. The water inside was the same color, suggesting a shared bond. Goodness, I thought they were just ambiguous before, but now it seems they are no longer pretending. How infuriating. With a knowing sigh, Ma Mingfan turned his attention back to his studies. Instead of eavesdropping on their conversation, he preferred to cram for the classical poetry he had yet to memorize. Who knew? It might just appear on the exam. Last-minute cramming was, after all, the true embodiment of cost-effectiveness. Li Shiyin also entered the classroom and, upon spotting the enigmatic figure, hurried over to sit beside Shen Yin, her curiosity evident as she leaned in to observe. Their relationship had always been amicable, so sharing a seat seemed perfectly natural. Last night, Li Shiyin had inquired about the wager between Xia Yanqun and Shen Yin, initially anticipating a bet that would involve some form of harsh humiliation upon losing. However, the stakes turned out to be merely calling one another brother and sister, leading to a momentary sense of relief, even though no definitive winner emerged in the end. Nevertheless, the intense competition often spurred one to become a fervent admirer. Come, let me test your memory of ancient poetry. If you falter, you must call me sister. The classroom buzzed with noise as Xia Yanqun whispered into Shen Yin's ear. Shen Yin, with his distinctively large eyes, leaned closer to her. They exchanged playful taunts. If I can't respond, I will call you sister. If you falter, you must allow me to kiss you 100 times and send me a photo of your legs every night, showing both your thighs and calves, at a 45-degree angle, with a slight enhancement of skin tone, but not too excessive. Is that fair? The stipulation of calling sister and kissing 100 times hardly seemed equitable. And what was with the lengthy list of conditions? Even specifying the angle and editing requirements felt excessive. Why not just propose an immediate marriage and bear a child instead? The absurdity of it all brought a smile to Xia Yanqun's face, her frustration dissipating. Let us be serious. Are we betting or not? If not, then let us drop it, she murmured. Let us bet, following yesterday's terms. I'll go first. Xia Yanqun promptly grabbed her poetry materials, reciting. In the melancholy of autumn, I am often a guest. A century of ailments leads me to ascend the stage alone, burdened by the frost in my hair. I have recently ceased my indulgence in wine. Your turn. Amidst the vast sea, the moon shines bright, and pearls shed tears. What follows? The sun warms the jade of Lantian. This sentiment awaits remembrance, yet at that moment, it was already lost. Shen Yin remained unfazed, for he had already memorized all the necessary verses. After exchanging several lines without resolution, the class bell rang, necessitating a pause in their recitation. The morning study session required tranquility, especially with an impending exam. Even in the province's finest school, one could witness students dozing off during lessons. Yet most were diligently engrossed in their studies. In such an atmosphere, Xia Yanqun could no longer converse with Shen Yin. She lifted a corner of the curtain, gazing outside at the windswept, withered leaves, while below, junior students busily tidied their designated area. It was rather pleasant sitting near Shen Yin. It was no wonder he often occupied that corner alone. Suddenly, Shen Yin poked her shoulder, prompting Xia Yanchun to turn and find him smiling at her. A piece of alpine candy resting in his palm. With a playful hum, Xia Yanchun tore open the wrapper and popped the sweet into her mouth, savoring its delightful flavor. Recently, Shen Yin had been exceedingly attentive to her. Feeling content, she intended to return to her poetry, but Shen Yin had leaned forward, his fingers mimicking legs as they crept toward her, playfully poking her little finger with a nail. Startled, Xia Yanchun quickly withdrew her hand. How bold, Shen Yin. This is not a classroom reserved for just the two of us during a break. Frowning slightly, she refrained from scolding him, intending to give him a fierce glare, only to find herself locking eyes with Li Shiyin's round, glistening gaze from the adjacent desk. Had she been seen? Chapter 193. You are the true king of prayer. Xia Yanchun felt a fleeting unease in her heart. Why was Shiyin looking over here so seriously? She must have been noticed. It was all Shen Yin's fault for being so audacious in class. Xia Yanchun quickly gathered her belongings, choosing to ignore Shen Yin, and quietly returned to her seat. Shen Yin, perplexed, scratched his face and shifted his gaze in her direction, only to find that Xia Yanchun completely disregarded him. Whispering secrets with Li Shiyin, oblivious to the conversation they were having. There was little to be done in class, and Xia Yanchun's departure did not weigh heavily on him. After sipping some sweetened water, he lowered his head to continue his studies. Xia Yanchun pinched Li Shiyin's soft cheek, furrowing her brow gently. What were you looking at just now? Li Shiyin blinked innocently, pulling Xia Yanchun's cool hand away. Her voice was soft and delicate. I saw Shen Yin bothering you. He touched your fingers. Xia Yanchun exhaled, the anxiety in her heart dissipating. It was all Shen Yin's fault for being so brazen in public. If it had been during lunch break with only the two of them in the classroom, she shuddered to think what Shen Yin might have done. She was relieved to have withdrawn her hand quickly. Had she dared to interact with Shen Yin or allowed him to tease her, Li Shiyin would have surely witnessed it, leaving her no way to explain. Hee. You and Shen Yin seem to have a good relationship, Li Shiyin giggled, linking her fingers with Xia Yanchun's. You're not even angry that he bothers you. Who says I'm not angry? Are you really angry? Li Shiyin tilted her head, seemingly unconvinced. In fact, throughout her acquaintance with Xia Yanchun, she had never sensed that Xia Yanchun was truly upset with Shen Yin. Occasionally, she might express mild annoyance, but it was usually just a few harsh words. If one were truly angry, wouldn't they remain silent and ignore the person? Even if they had quarreled, when Shen Yin approached Xia Yanchun later, she would still respond, albeit with a tone less amicable. When there are many people around, it's hard to be truly angry. I can't even scold him properly, Xia Yanchun explained. That makes sense. If there were a commotion, everyone would surely turn to look. Let us just say Xia Yanchun is angry then. However, I still think you two have a wonderful relationship. Not at all. It's merely our way of interacting. I've grown accustomed to it. Childhood friends, huh? Xia Yanchun bit her lip, choosing not to rebut. Li Shiyin knew that she and Shen Yin hailed from the same hometown and had progressed together from elementary school to high school. So there was no need for further explanation. Besides, it was the truth. Before becoming rivals, she and Shen Yin were indeed childhood friends, inseparable in their youth, albeit with a plethora of hidden agendas. As the clock struck 9, the bell shattered the atmosphere of revision, and the classroom buzzed to life. I pray to the god of mathematics that I will know everything on the exam and guess everything correctly. Ma Mingfan clasped his hands. Having become a devoted follower of mathematics, Shen Yin blushed in embarrassment. But aren't we taking the language exam this morning? You understand nothing. I pray once in the morning and once in the afternoon. The god of mathematics will surely take notice of me. While praying twice, you are the true king of prayer, sacrificing 10 years of Shen Yin's life for my perfect score. Dude, are you actually plotting against your own father? Shen Yin relentlessly pursued Ma Mingfan, employing both kicks and shoves to propel him out of the classroom. At 18, a time marked by rebellion, Ma Mingfan unmistakably embodied this phase, and as a father, Shen Yin naturally chose to forgive him. Being the only one among his peers at Sin and No. 2 high school who had experienced fatherhood, Shen Yin wore an expression of kindness that was absent in others' age, often forgetting the past and the future. Both Shen Yin and Xia Yanchun were assigned to the same class, separated by a narrow aisle. Shen Yin occupied the front, while Xia Yanchun sat in the rear. The mock examination was conducted with utmost formality, adhering strictly to the standards of the college entrance examination, with the test papers sealed in envelopes, which the invigilator opened in plain sight. Upon receiving the test paper, Shen Yin swiftly scanned through it, exuding confidence, while others were still grappling with the multiple-choice questions. He had already commenced the composition section. His handwriting was both rapid and neat, a testament to the effects of his rigorous training, which, though subtle, was inherently advantageous. However, the rigid and formulaic nature of high school made it difficult to fully showcase the benefits of such training. In the 2.5-hour Chinese exam, Shen Yin completed his work in just over an hour and a half, leaving ample space for his essay, adhering to the established format. Xia Yanchun, seated behind him, was still laboriously penning her composition, her slightly numb fingers causing her handwriting to be somewhat crooked and prone to errors. When she glanced up, she noticed Shen Yin sprawled comfortably on his desk, his legs slightly shaking. This guy, Xia Yanchun squinted. How could he finish so quickly? The Chinese exam included an essay component, and some of the more nuanced prompts required her a good 10 minutes to contemplate what to write. In stark contrast, Shen Yin had already completed his work, likely to score 688 points. He surely wouldn't abandon the test without finishing. A sense of urgency surged within Xia Yanchun as she diligently focused on her paper, Rereading the questions she found challenging, working until the final 10 minutes. She could not bear the thought of being surpassed by Shen Yin. As the bell rang, signaling the end of the exam, the invigilator began collecting the papers. Shen Yin excused himself to the restroom, where a throng of students crowded the space. Upon his return, he found that most of his classmates had already settled back into their seats. How did it go? Shen Yin inquired, standing beside Xia Yanchun with a light-hearted chuckle. Moderate difficulty, Xia Yanchun replied, clearing her throat. Let me see your test paper. Have you also begun checking answers? Is that a problem? I just want to see how many you got right. It's usually others asking you for answers. It's rare for you to seek someone else's. Shen Yin handed his paper to her, perhaps fearing he hadn't performed as well. Not at all. I'm simply curious. After comparing their answers to the multiple choice questions, Xia Yanchun discovered they matched perfectly. Let us go. Don't get too confident. It's time for lunch. I have no appetite, Xia Yanchun mumbled. If you're not hungry at school, let us eat outside. Fine. Why the long face? Are you genuinely worried about not scoring higher than me? Impossible. The face of one who wishes to win lacks a smile, and yet yours is devoid of joy. Xia Yanchun was at a loss for words, baring her teeth in a rather unprofessional feigned smile. You're insufferable. I'm leaving. No, you are. Shen Yin retorted, as Xia Yanchun angrily packed her bag, shoving her water bottle inside. Upon Li Shiyin's return to the classroom, she exchanged a brief greeting before departing with Shen Yin. The outdoor chill was palpable, and as the wind picked up, Xia Yanchun soon found herself sniffling, her nose turning a rosy hue. She handed her backpack to Shen Yin, tucking her small hands into her pockets, insisting that he treat her. I know. It's not as if I lack funds, Shen Yin replied, gently smoothing her windswept hair. How about we wager on our overall scores? That way it's fair. In consideration of you, I shall refrain from betting, lest you accuse me of bullying, she retorted. Ridiculous. We are hardly worlds apart in terms of our abilities. If you don't wish to bet, then so be it. Xia Yanchun was quite confident in her academic prowess. As a top student, she harbored her own modest pride. Not betting with Shen Yin was purely a matter of disinterest, rather than a fear of losing. Even when her grades had significantly surpassed his, she had never engaged in such wagers, and now that the gap was narrower, she was even less inclined to gamble. With Shen Yin's persistent chatter about betting, Xia Yanchun felt a sense of frustration, realizing that he seemed utterly confident in his potential to win. However, should he lose, he would be obligated to call her sister, a title he had previously been reluctant to utter. It seemed the allure of a kiss outweighed his resistance to that appellation. Oh, you insufferable Shen Yin, she huffed, exhaling warm breaths into the air, playfully nudging his arm with her forehead like a stubborn calf, causing him to stumble slightly. Hey, why are you bumping into me? He exclaimed. To knock some sense into you, you lecher? How am I a lecher? In chapter 194, isn't standing on tiptoe an act of initiative? The handsome boys were beset by rumors about a little fairy, leaving them utterly speechless, amidst a whirlwind of absurdity. Shen Yin playfully lifted Xia Yanchun, who resembled a little calf, and demanded clarification. Nothing, just bored enough to insult you, she retorted with a huff. Truly, I have encountered a remarkable individual. Indeed. The higher the scores, the more extraordinary the person. Not far from the school lay a commercial district, and both Shen Yin and Xia Yanchun opted to walk. The trees lining the road had shed half their leaves, and the crunch of dried foliage underfoot was unmistakable. At some point, her small hand, which had been tucked in her pocket, found its way into Shen Yin's grasp, and with no classmates around, Xia Yanchun paid it little mind, especially since he was already carrying her backpack. They chose a quaint little eatery, where Xia Yanchun ordered a clay pot rice with Chinese sausage. Isn't this dish quite greasy? Are you sure you can handle it? How many times must I reiterate? I am merely on my period, not incapacitated. Then I shall rest easy. What are you so relieved about? Xia Yanchun furrowed her brow, poking him playfully. His peculiar remarks were bewildering. It was as though he insinuated that during times when she was not on her period, their interactions would take on some odd nature. In truth, aside from their childhood, their relationship had only ever reached the level of innocent affection. Shen Yin cast her a sidelong glance, a question mark dancing in his expression, and grinned. I fear I might exasperate you. What on earth are you thinking? Xia Yanchun's cheeks flushed crimson as she glanced around nervously, relieved that their conversation was hushed amidst the surrounding noise, ensuring that no one was paying them any heed. The thought of being overheard was mortifying. Humph. In a moment, I shall bite you to death. Are you truly going to bite? Leave me alone. Xia Yanchun rolled her eyes. Shen Yin had completely inflated his ego. She needed to find an opportunity, leveraging her unstable temper during her period, to teach him a lesson. During dinner, Xia Yanchun maintained a frosty demeanor, silently eating her meal and resolutely ignoring Shen Yin. No matter how he teased her hair or pinched her cheeks, she offered him no pleasant expression. She had transformed into a heartless eating machine, impervious to any of Shen Yin's antics. Shen Yin glanced at her, narrowing his eyes, and then snatched an entire sausage from her plate. What are you doing? Xia Yanchun immediately trapped his chopsticks with her own. Shen Yin, you are utterly despicable. I thought you weren't eating. I never said I wouldn't eat, okay? Xia Yanchun mumbled, safeguarding her sausage while reaching for the half sausage that Shen Yin had left uneaten. This is your punishment for coveting my sausage. Next time, remember to be more straightforward about your desires. Xia Yanchun huffed, refusing to engage with him. Shen Yin ate quickly, finishing his meal and sitting beside her, occasionally checking his phone and then observing her as she took dainty bites. Whether due to a concern for her image or simply a naturally slow eater, Xia Yanchun consumed her food in small morsels, chewing each bite multiple times. The sweet and delicate girl was quite formidable, fortunately. Shen Yin had witnessed her picking her nose, or he might have been deceived by her charm. Feeling slightly thirsty, I shall buy a drink. Shin Yin remarked as he prepared to rise. Wait a moment. Are you going to drink too? Don't buy any beverages. You just had some yesterday. I brought my water bottle. Oh. Shin Yin rummaged through his backpack and produced a pastel pink water bottle, containing ginger water that appeared somewhat diluted and was still warm to the touch. He recalled seeing Xia Yin-chun adding hot water before they left. Shin Yin had no qualms as he took a swig, quickly downing nearly half of the ginger water. The diluted concoction was only mildly sweet, but it sufficed to quench his thirst. How do you feel after drinking today? Did it help? Shin Yin inquired with a smile. It's not bad. Where did you learn this? Xia Yin-chun was puzzled. Sipping the ginger water throughout the day had made her feel considerably warmer, and her stomach felt quite comfortable. She even shared some with Li Shiyin, who was even less tolerant of the cold. The effects were more pronounced, as Li Shiyin's small hands had warmed up. The ginger water she cooked herself had never yielded such results. I forgot. It was just something I randomly found. Was it really that useful? Yes, it's packed with benefits. Especially for women. Shin Yin grinned. Ugh, it's so greasy. They say sausage claypot rice is oily enough as it is, yet you still indulge. I say to you, what are you mumbling about? You drank my drink, and instead of thanking me, you insult me. Xia Yin-chun couldn't help but smile lightly. After all, he had willingly prepared it for her. You are invincible, Xia Yin-chun. After lunch, it was already past 12:40. Shin Yin was always chattering beside her, otherwise she wouldn't be eating so slowly. It was all Shin Yin's fault. Xia Yin-chun was convinced that she had elegantly vanished from the scene. Where's my water bottle? Hand it over for me to take a sip. Shin Yin helped her unscrew the cap. Here you go. Xia Yin-chun took a sip. The ginger and sweetness dispersing the greasiness in her mouth, and surprisingly, the chill enveloping her body dissipated as well. Ha ha ha, I just spat while drinking that. How disgusting. Xia Yin-chun remarked with a look of disdain, yet she took another sip. If it's so disgusting, why drink again? You didn't actually spit, did you? Not at all. Shin Yin wrapped his large hand around Xia Yin-chun's arm. Does this count as an indirect kiss? Xia Yin-chun lowered her gaze, fixating on the tips of her shoes, and after a brief moment, she gently nodded her head, her small ponytail bouncing slightly. Does that mean drinking from my cup, which you've used, is akin to initiating a kiss? What kind of logic is that? Next time, if you use my cup, you must wash it clean. Just joking. Not funny at all. Xia Yin-chun tucked the cup away, poking Shin Yin's face with her index finger. Why would I ever be like you? So perverse as to initiate a kiss? Don't project your actions onto me. It's always you who wants to kiss. I've never thought of it. Shin Yin grasped the delicate fingers of the girl. But you did tiptoe yesterday. Isn't that an initiation? Xia Yin-chun's ears instantly flushed with heat, stammering. When did I tiptoe? In chapter 195, Shin Yin was quite secure in her mind, not at all pitiful. Did she actually tiptoe yesterday? The memory of such a small gesture eluded her, leading her to suspect Shin Yin was deliberately misleading her, for he was indeed that mischievous. Embarrassed and flustered, Xia Yin-chun thought, even if she did tiptoe, she would stubbornly refuse to acknowledge it. Tiptoeing implied initiative, and the very notion of initiating anything with Shin Yin was utterly inconceivable. In a flurry of thoughts, she crafted numerous psychological reassurances to bolster her conviction. You, of all people, never speak a word of truth. So you truly did not tiptoe? Do you think I am like you? Shin Yin stroked his chin, observing the rosy-cheeked Xia Yin-chun, who remained defiantly self-righteous, and decided to acquiesce. Given her state, why not indulge her? Shin Yin remained silent, merely holding Xia Yin-chun's small hand while she chattered incessantly. Upon reaching the school gate, Xia Yin-chun withdrew her hand from his pocket and tucked it into her own. The classroom was warmer, and upon her return, she retrieved a small pillow to rest her head. It was now the lunch break. Shin Yin had no intention of disturbing Xia Yin-chun's slumber. He simply sat beside her, resting his head to watch her for a while. I advise you to refrain from any mischievous thoughts. The surveillance for the mock exam is certainly active. Xia Yin-chun, fearing his antics, pointed at him seriously. What mischievous thoughts? I am quite earnest, you know. Even earnest thoughts are best kept to a minimum. Go play elsewhere and let me sleep. Understood. I shall join you for a nap as well. I can't be bothered with you. Whatever Shin Yin wished to do outside, she would not voice. But within the classroom, especially under the watchful eyes of the mock exam surveillance, she would steadfastly prevent Shin Yin from causing any trouble. Shin Yin could face the consequences himself, but she would not be dragged into it. If there ever came a day when Shin Yin faced repercussions, with the entire school notified, she would be the first to revel in his misfortune. With no ulterior motive, merely mischievous, she resolved to return the favor. Shin Yin lay quietly, seemingly innocent, which prompted Xia Yin-chun to refrain from chiding him further, especially with an examination looming in the afternoon. Good afternoon, she murmured softly, propping her chin on her hand and humming gently. Go to sleep, go to sleep. I shan't spy on you this midday. Outside, the sun shone brightly, and today? In an unprecedented turn of events, Xia Yin-chun awakened before the midday bell. Blinking through her drowsiness, she rubbed her sleepy eyes and stifled a yawn. Her mood still languid as she sat in a daze for a moment. Resting on a school desk during the midday break was hardly comfortable. An improper posture could lead to a sore neck, and migraines were all too common. Had she known earlier, she would have heeded Shin Yin's suggestion to drive home for a proper rest. With a sidelong glance at Shin Yin, who remained blissfully asleep on the hard desk, she noted that he had merely propped his head on 2 books, yet he appeared to be in a deep slumber. How could he sleep so soundly? Xia Yin-chun had heard tales of individuals with remarkably high sleep quality, who could thrive on a mere 6 hours of rest, while others, despite sleeping for 12 hours, remained weary. Shin Yin seemed to belong to the former category, though he often napped during classes in his first and second years of high school. Xia Yin-chun recalled how she had to remember several names of Shin Yin during those years, as he either slept or chatted. It seemed he had suddenly transformed into someone quite exceptional. Was it possible for boys to undergo such a significant change at a certain age? It felt as though he had suddenly developed a fondness for her, a closeness that was quite endearing. Resting her chin on a small pillow, her almond-shaped eyes blinked dreamily, and a whimsical thought bloomed within her heart. Gazing at Shun Yin's sleeping visage, she felt an irresistible urge to pinch his nose to wake him, to draw piggy noses, cat whiskers, and rosy cheeks on his face, inscribing the character D twice. Such antics would surely mirror their childhood mischief, marking her as a truly mischievous girl. Was this akin to voyeurism? Xia Yanchun fell into contemplation, deciding against such thoughts. Shen Yin was safely nestled in her mind, far from any plight. The bell soon rang, prompting Shun Yin to awaken, rubbing his eyes and reaching out, inadvertently grasping Xia Yanchun's soft face before casually grabbing her water bottle and draining its contents before her eyes. The lukewarm water was surprisingly refreshing. Did you sleep well? You even drooled a little, she teased. Oh, no way. Quickly return to your seat. Someone will arrive shortly. As Shun Yin stood, he found it difficult to rise fully. Boys often experience this phenomenon. A brief nap during class could leave them in such a state. A curious tidbit. Most boys, when abruptly awakened and asked to respond, would prefer to choose the latter, an intriguing fact indeed. With an awkward chuckle, Shun Yin inquired, Chun Bao, do you have any wet wipes? Here, take them yourself. Ahaha, do you have any oil-absorbing sheets? My face feels oily. Why do you have so many requests? It's the middle of winter. You want me to bring you oil-absorbing sheets? Shin Yin was drenched in sweat, trying to buy time with feeble excuses. Fortunate that Haki Chun remained unsuspecting. After engaging in some innocent chatter, he finally dared to excuse himself to the restroom. In the afternoon, when the math exam was scheduled, everyone arrived quite early. As Shin Yin emerged from the lavatory, he unexpectedly collided with Chun Dong. Observing Chun Dong's despondent and lackluster demeanor, Shin Yin immediately approached with concern, patting him on the back. What's wrong, Chun Dong? You look a bit unwell. You're treating me like a rag again, Chun Dong retorted. Haha, little Chun. Sometimes one must endure small grievances to achieve great plans. Although we may not have grand ambitions, you should still exercise some patience. I apologize for putting you in this position. You dream of making sacrifices, right? In exchange for good fortune on the final exam. May the questions avoid hyperbolas and eccentricity. Goodness, that tactic is ruthless. Then I might as well sacrifice some of my lifespan, even if it means living 10 years less. Would you not prefer to avoid such a sacrifice? Shin Yin, you rascal, Chun Dong said with a serious expression, I acknowledge your wisdom. Truly, you will undoubtedly become an elite in society and a force for change in our nation. Come on, what more is there to say? Once you step into society, should you encounter difficulties, do not hesitate to call me. You have connections? Not exactly. Just hand me your phone, and I'll help you navigate your troubles. BYD is offering me a loan. Is that it? What are you two chatting about? Mom Ming Fan, who had arrived unannounced, was brimming with energy, clearly ready to conquer the day. What did you do at noon? You seem more spirited than I am, Shin Yin remarked, giving him a playful jab. I was honing my willpower, Mom Ming Fan replied, waving his hand dismissively. Resisting the urge to nap during the afternoon break also counts as training one's resolve. You're quite the expert, but you better not doze off later. Who do you look down upon? If I feel sleepy, I'll simply go indulge in an all-you-can-eat barbecue this weekend. That is how I stay awake. Just say if you want to eat. As the preparation bell for the exam rang, the teaching building became a bustling hive of activity. Shin Yin had not returned to the classroom, instead braving the cold air with Chun Dong and Mom Ming Fan, who were now ready to retrieve their stationery for the upcoming exam. Being assigned to our class is indeed a pleasure. Shin Yin, Chen Xiuyu emerged unexpectedly, holding a pencil case, her face lighting up upon seeing him. What brings you here? I scored 120 in math on the mock exam. I'm treating you to a feast this weekend. So confident, are we? Well, I wish you the best. But please don't let me down. Shin Yin felt a sense of aspiration for her, as Chen Xiuyu appeared quite determined. I thought the saying once a teacher, forever a father was merely playful banter, yet it seems you genuinely wish to take on that role. It felt inappropriate for her to engage with Shin Yin, but she had a serious matter to discuss. When one harbors little hope for an outcome, they tend to believe in more mystical notions. Quickly, say something flattering to imbue me with the aura of a top student. Shin Yin, taken aback, chuckled lightly and offered, allow me to guide you. Find a girl in class who is under 1.6 meters tall, appears rather simple-minded, speaks softly, performs decently in her studies, sits at the back, and often enjoys candy. Seek her blessings for good fortune. That should prove more effective, infused with a hint of mysticism. You aren't referring to Li Shiyin, are you? Ah, this is indeed your own statement. I never claimed who it was. Surely, you wouldn't want others to discover what you deem to be foolish behavior among your classmates, would you? The situation escalated to such an extent that Chen Xiuyu was left in tears. However, Shun Yin remained largely indifferent. He harbored a fondness for the little girl, finding her silly demeanor amusing, a delightful distraction during idle moments. As the students from their class departed, those from other classes arrived, prompting Shen Yin to take a brief respite before entering the classroom. The distribution of scores in mathematics is rather predictable. When the foundational questions are simple, the advanced problems tend to be quite challenging. Conversely, if the basic questions are of higher difficulty, the advanced ones may prove to be relatively easier. Typically, when a test is particularly challenging, it tends to be the latter scenario, resulting in a significantly lower average score when the foundational questions are tough. However, this does not apply to the students of Class 1 and Class 2. Apart from the likes of Chen Xiuyu, most students are adept at securing foundational points. A mere glance at the final question allowed Shin Yin to gauge the level of difficulty, and it appeared that this mock exam was of a relatively low caliber. It seemed that achieving a score of 110 was not an insurmountable task for Chinchiyu. In just an hour and a half, Shin Yin completed the exam. Although he could submit his paper 30 minutes early, few chose to do so. Those who regarded the mock exam with due seriousness tended to take their time for further review. Shin Yin, however, refrained from submitting his paper as he awaited Haki-chan, who seemed to prefer lingering until the very end. One could only surmise that there was a reason for his consistent top ranking in the grade. As the examination concluded, the supervising teacher collected the papers, prompting Shin Yin to rise from his seat. Xia Yanchun capped her pen, and suddenly, a pen rolled to her feet. Blinking in surprise, she bent down to retrieve it. My apologies, thank you. The boy who dropped the pen stammered upon noticing Xia Yanchun, his demeanor becoming awkward. Oh dear, I think I'm in love. It's nothing, Xia Yanchun smiled, springing to her feet and casting a glance at Shun Yin before scampering over to his side. Shall we go for a meal? If we go out, it's on you. I'll cover it. The boy who had dropped the pen watched silently as the two exited the classroom, their backpacks in tow. Oh dear, I think I'm heartbroken. On the campus path, the afternoon clouds had thinned, allowing the sunlight to spill forth gently, with a warm breeze caressing the air. Xia Yanchun wrapped herself tighter in her clothing and glanced up at Shin Yin. Shin Yin, I need to return for a moment. Shin Yin replied, surprised. What is the matter? It's that time of the month. Xia Yanchun was reluctant to elaborate. While a girl's menstrual cycle might not be a grave concern, it could be quite inconvenient at times. Those residing in the dormitory often needed to request a brief leave to attend to personal matters. Now that Shin Yin had a car, it was truly convenient for her. Oh, then shall I take you back after we eat? Yes. I might not attend the evening self-study session tonight. I'll just ask the homeroom teacher for a leave. Are you experiencing heavy bleeding? You silly, Xia Yanchun explained. During evening self-study sessions, there are no teachers to instruct. It's merely self-study. So what is the difference between home and school? At home, I can lie on my bed and read. Shin Yin playfully pinched the soft cheek of the young girl. Do as you wish. If you take leave, I shall as well, and I won't attend either. Why won't you come? Are you also on your period? What nonsense are you spouting? I also believe evening self-study serves little purpose. Isn't studying at home just as effective? You clearly feigned disinterest in attending because I intended to take a leave of absence. Xia Yanchun ruthlessly exposed him, questioning his pretense in her presence. I fear that if I cease my act, you shall disdain me. At present, I indeed find you quite distasteful. Damn it, yet you still speak of the marketplace. I could easily render you into a puff pastry with a single blow. Shin Yin clenched his fist and delivered a punch to Xia Yanchun's face, causing her to tilt her neck slightly, perspiration gathering like yellow beans upon her skin. How could he manage to be so insufferable during such ambiguous moments? Had he ever considered the feelings of his romantic interest? Aside from his sister, who had grown accustomed to Shun Yin's foolishness since childhood, who else could endure such behavior? She had grown weary of the phrase Sister Chun is too much. Xia Yanchun navigated the process of requesting leave on her phone, intending to inform her mother and send a text message to Su Kashi, confirming her absence. Shin Yin remained unhurried, holding the young lady's hand as they strolled, retrieving 3 takeout meals from a restaurant before returning to school, taking a slightly longer route. Upon reaching the school gate, Xia Yanchun finally realized and withdrew her hand. Her palm felt warm, having been intertwined with Shun Yin's fingers throughout their walk. How is this any different from being in a relationship? Xia Yanchun felt a warmth within. Leaning against Shun Yin's shoulder as they entered the car, distancing herself slightly, her arms encircling his waist. The thickness of their clothing rendered her gentle pressure on his back inconsequential. Shall we study together at my place later, or would you prefer I come to yours? Why not study independently? I wish to be with you, Shun Yin stated candidly. Xia Yanchun, disliking his pretenses, found him resolute in his decision to forego any act. Oh, you are incorrigible. Xia Yanchun breathed warm air against his ear. You took leave because you wanted to spend time with me, didn't you? Haki-chan. How could you even ask? With a playful glimmer in her eyes, she leaned forward, resting her chin upon Shun Yin's shoulder. Do you truly hold such affection for me? Indeed, my fondness for you is directly proportional to the extent of your disdain for me. Shin Yin, I absolutely loathe you. Come now, is there not a hint of fondness? I shan't reveal anything. Not confessing implies there is something. Your words do not determine the truth. Chapter 197. Alas. He is but a younger brother. Otherwise, I would have dealt with him directly. The drive home was swift. Due to her menstrual cycle, Xia Yanchun hurriedly returned home. Each month, there are a few days when she feels particularly uncomfortable, especially after spending prolonged hours in the classroom, despite the predictability of the timing. Some classmates often seek excuses to skip school for leisure. Shin Yin had previously engaged in such antics, deliberately sweating profusely before taking a cold shower to induce a mild fever, thereby enjoying a day off. Xia Yanchun, however, rarely requested leave. Her last absence was due to a sprained ankle. Once her leave request was sent, Tsukashi promptly approved it. Academic achievers undoubtedly receive special privileges. Requesting leave for a mere evening study session or even a 3-day hiatus is easily granted, as the school turns a blind eye toward the requests of high achievers, relying on them to bolster overall performance. Having not yet dined, she indulged in a comforting hot bath, lingering longer than usual. The takeout meals had cooled, yet she did not mind the inconvenience of reheating them in the microwave. By evening, the time coincided perfectly with the start of evening study sessions. Thankfully, Shin Yin had taken leave. He resolved to spend an entire night attending online classes, striving to outshine others while exhausting himself in the process. Only when he achieved a stable position as the top scorer in the college entrance examination would he consider enhancing skills beyond academics, with aspirations to become a businessman in the future. Shen Yin harbored no grand ambitions. He merely wished to possess sufficient funds when the need arose. Whether it be purchasing a car worth several $100,000 or acquiring a property valued in the millions, his only concern was having the financial means to do so. Perhaps he was indulging in a bit of fantasy. Shen Yin believed his immediate priority was to secure a formidable presence for himself. When Shen Yu returned home later than usual, her weary demeanor signaled to Shen Yin that she had once again been burdened with tedious tasks. "Sister, could you lend me 50? He inquired. Upon hearing his request, Shen Yu, filled with frustration, felt as if her spirit had been crushed. "Could you not have a semblance of conscience?" She retorted. "Just kidding. Is there food?" "Yes, I ordered some takeout for you." Shen Yin replied with a smile as he retrieved the warm meal. "You do have a bit of a conscience," she remarked, utterly exhausted, slumping in her chair like a weary creature. When not at work, Shen Yu would often be reprimanded by their mother for such a state. Yet now that she was employed, it had somehow become the norm. Work is work. Even the grassroots of state-owned enterprises are not without their challenges. As she munched on her meal, Shen Yu suddenly paused, glancing at Shen Yin. "Could you do me a favor? It's not a big deal." "If it's not a big deal, why ask for my help? Solve it yourself." "You misheard me. I meant it as a big deal. What significant matter could an 18-year-old high school student like me possibly assist with? Handle it on your own. I'm asking out of respect." "Do you think refusing means you're off the hook?" Shen Yu dropped the pretense. "My electric bike is out of battery. Could you help me charge it later?" Shen Yin felt somewhat exasperated. "Why didn't you charge it when you returned?" "I simply forgot. Can you help me charge it next time instead?" In the past, Shen Yin would have eagerly rushed downstairs, as his allowance barely sufficed for a monthly pass. However, now his savings exceeded Shen Yu's, and he hardly played games anymore, making the monthly pass seem rather insignificant. "Let us do this. When I graduate, you can buy me a computer instead. A monthly pass is just too expensive." "Is a few thousand for a computer more than the 30 or 50 for a monthly pass? That is quite impressive. If only he weren't her brother. He might have simply dismissed her request." With keys in hand, Shen Yin made his way downstairs to find Shen Yu's little electric bike and proceeded to charge it. After all, who else would he assist if not his elder sister, who had worked all day? Considering that she had purchased him 2 years' worth of monthly passes for the Naruto mobile game during her first 2 years of high school, he felt compelled to help. By the grassy patch near the parking lot, Shen Yin fortuitously encountered a few fluffy cats curled up in slumber. Unlike the north, the winters in their region were not excessively harsh, and the cats seemed quite capable of withstanding the chill. The cats were well behaved, and Shen Yin was reluctant to see these warm creatures transformed into cold, lifeless forms. He squatted down to observe them for a while, gently poking one on the back, pondering its age and whether it would be suitable for adoption. The little cat, with its ears twitching, rolled over and, upon noticing someone nearby, immediately adopted a dragon-like posture. Exhaling a breath towards Shen Yin, recognizing him, the feline awkwardly licked its paw and presented its belly. How impressive! Shen Yin gently rubbed the cat's belly. Harboring no intention of adopting it, he was merely drawn to tease the creature. The cat's distinctive fur color, particularly the stylish hue on its face, never failed to elicit a chuckle from him. At that moment, a little girl with 2 ponytails approached, curiously observing Shen Yin and the cat. "What are you doing, big brother?" she inquired. "Just playing with the cat," Shen Yin replied with a smile. What else could he possibly do, if not play with the cat? The notion of discussing chocolate and vanilla with a kitten seemed rather absurd. He recognized the girl as the one from the beginning of the school year. Amusingly, both she and the cat shared their origins from the same place. "Aren't you going to feed the cat?" she asked, squatting down and pulling a cat treat from her pocket. "I'm just looking around. Are there any other cats in the neighborhood?" "There used to be, but now there's only this one." As she fed the cat a treat, she stroked its fur and said, "My dad said I can have one when I turn 5. Humph, I'll make sure it eats treats every day. I've even thought of a name. I'll call it Cotton Candy." "Why?" "Because it looks like cotton candy." Engaging in such delightful conversations with a sweet and charming little girl truly brightened Shen Yin's mood, though he was already feeling quite content. The fate of stray cats in the community was uncertain. Perhaps one day, the property management would arrive with nets to round them up. He hoped these cats would manage to live safely until the day they could be adopted. Surely, a cat touched by Lucky Star would become fortunate, wouldn't he? Chapter 198. Selling health products in old age. Winter days passed swiftly, with darkness enveloping the sky by 7 o'clock. Lying in bed, Shen Yin glanced at the system. It had been half a month without any news, leading him to suspect that the system might have ceased functioning. Yet, the main quest remained active, offering a modest reward of 50,000 gold coins. 50,000 was no small sum. In some smaller cities, it was sufficient to purchase an apartment. Shen Yin contemplated whether he should buy a car soon. Such a substantial amount made the previous methods of laundering money through fishing impractical. He needed to devise a quicker and more reasonable approach. Being a high school student was constraining and inconvenient. Perhaps a swift and time-efficient route could be found in the realm of the internet, without needing to achieve any significant results. Simply concoct an event. Later informing his parents that he had won a prize, with the official announcement claiming several thousand in rewards, all while being vague about the details. He considered dabbling in live streaming, even conceptualizing the content. Challenge. Intense studying from 6 in the morning until 2 in the morning. The difficulty level would rival that of Dwayne Johnson battling Megatron. It was quite absurd. Perhaps during the winter break, he could find the time to experiment with it. After all, he intended to study anyway. If it didn't work out, he wouldn't lose anything, but if it did succeed, it would be a joyous outcome. However, if he were to truly stream such content, he might face severe backlash. Everyone else is unwinding, and here he is, competing in a nonsensical way. With a playful clatter, Shen Yu was once again engrossed in a variety show. "Little Chun, what brings you here?" Come watch with us, she beckoned. Shen Yin's ears perked up at the sound of Xia Yin Chun's voice, indicating that today, it was indeed Hockey Chun seeking his company. Slipping into his slippers, Shen Yin exited his room to find the young girl, clad in her pajamas, nestled on the couch beside Shin Yu, absorbed in the television. What wind has blown my precious Chun here? Shen Yin grinned. Oh, Shin Yu raised an eyebrow, casting a glance at Xia Yin Chun and then at her foolish younger brother. Since you've taken to calling her Chun Bao, when did you two become so close? Don't listen to his nonsense. He can't possibly speak with any wisdom, Xia Yin Chun retorted nervously, shooting Shen Yin a glare. What is wrong with calling her Chun Bao? It's a sign of respect, given that I'm doing it in front of my sister. If you don't like it, I shall simply refer to you as Dianpa instead. Get lost, you brat. Shen Yin complained. Sister, look, your brother has been insulted. Aren't you going to slap this Dianpa twice? I find little Chun's words rather agreeable, Shin Yu remarked, pointing towards the refrigerator. Go fetch some yogurt. I want some too. The two sisters conspired against their brother, leaving Shen Yin nearly in tears from the fright of their combined authority. Resigned, he trudged to retrieve the yogurt, knowing that any disobedience would result in being subdued by the two empresses. With Shin Yu around, Xia Yin Chun seemed to command Shen Yin with renewed audacity. After finishing her yogurt, she ordered him to fetch a cup of hot water as well, leaving Shen Yin uncertain about who truly belonged in this household. Fine, he relented, handing her the hot water. Huh, she chuckled, dare to laugh at your own peril. Go ahead and hit me. Today, I grant you a chance to strike me. Once you've had your fun, I shall return home early for a good night's rest. That audacious Hockey Chun was so brazen, taking advantage of her brother's fondness. Shen Yin felt a strong urge to exhale in frustration. Indeed, it was high time to reign in Hockey Chun, unless he lacked the means. Shen Yin typically avenged any grievances swiftly, for he was rather petty. At present, he refrained from confronting Hockey Chun, as he would soon be studying closely with her. Once their study session concluded, he could easily control Xia Yin Chun when she wished to return home. A cunning plan. Such was the nature of rivals. One had to be ever vigilant in conversation. Shen Yin shamelessly squeezed himself beside Xia Yin Chun on the small, plush sofa. With Shen Yu reclining and Xia Yin Chun sitting upright, he leaned slightly against Xia Yin Chun, creating a rather cramped arrangement. On one side was the beloved neighborly sister, and on the other, the insufferable neighborly brother. Xia Yin Chun felt a peculiar sensation wash over her. Suddenly, she envisioned herself as a victor in life. If she were to marry Shen Yin, they would be free from familial disputes, and wedding arrangements would simply entail stepping out and turning left into a carriage. Oh, how far she was thinking. Initially, Xia Yin Chun contemplated slapping her own face, but after much deliberation, she decided to give Shen Yin a gentle smack instead. Why? Shen Yin asked, perplexed. What is the issue? Am I not allowed to sit beside you? Is this your home or mine? Why are you hitting me? My hand was itching, she replied. When I find myself questioning, it's not my issue, but rather yours. Without reason, one strikes and commands others. And I feel as though I am being bullied. My hands itch. May I deliver a slap? Go ahead. I was just about to retire for the night. Damn. So audacious, aren't we? Xia Yanchun chuckled with delight. What are you chattering about, little brat? I can hardly hear you anymore, Shin Yu remarked with disdain. Sitting with you all feels like enduring grievances. I'm not watching anymore, Shin Yin muttered, rising to retreat to his room, slamming the door behind him. Xia Yanchun blinked, feigning indifference, and continued to watch the variety show with Shin Yu until past 9. With no evening study session, the night stretched before her, affording her ample time to enjoy television with Shin Yu and then spend time with Shin Yin. If she retired by midnight, she could accompany him for a full 3 hours. I'll go check on Shin Yin, Xia Yanchun said, tucking her hair behind her ear. Her fair feet slipped into slippers as she lightly knocked on his door, entering uninvited before waiting for his consent. Shin Yu glanced towards Shin Yin's room. Too lazy to comment. The two little rascals were likely to be up to no good. Otherwise, if there was something important to discuss, they would surely have spoken openly rather than shutting the door. Since the National Day holiday, she had noticed this trend. Which kind-hearted person would visit the boys' room at such a late hour? Clearly, they were an amorous young couple. Huh, the youngsters certainly know how to have fun. Shin Yu chuckled, though a bittersweet tinge threatened her smile. If this continued, she would truly become an unmarried woman. How vexing. In the future, she would have to encourage her younger brother and the neighbor, Xiaochun, to have another child, so she could come over to play, and then return them when they were in tears. In the room, Shin Yin leaned against the headboard, horizontally positioned with his phone, absorbed in a game. Xia Yanchun entered, and he didn't even spare her a glance. Such bullying, and yet she was the one to approach him? Feeling irritated, she knew she needed to coax the adorable little Chun, who stood at 160 centimeters, with her shoulder-length hair tied in a cute ponytail, soft and sweet like a strawberry cake. What are you playing? Xia Yanchun inquired, peeking over his shoulder. Can't you tell? Is this Three Kingdoms Kill? Yes. I've heard this game has a terrible reputation. Many online claim that bad things are attributed to the official Three Kingdoms Kill. Old folks sell you health products. Three Kingdoms Kill is quite entertaining. I didn't know, that's just what I heard online. Xia Yanchun recognized his attempts to maintain an aloof demeanor and chose not to expose him. Instead, sitting down in a chair to see how long he could withstand her presence. There were remnants of an eraser on his desk, and as Shen Yin remained silent, she took a tissue and began collecting the scraps, wrapping them up to toss into the bin. On the pen holder lay a blue hair tie. Xia Yanchun pinched it between her fingers, inspecting it closely and sniffing for any strange odors. Humph, did Shen Yin already have feelings for her when he asked for this? How peculiar to be fond of an older sister he grew up with. What are you staring at? Come to attend an online class? Shen Yin finally spoke, shifting to make room for her. Why aren't you angry anymore? Feeling somewhat flustered, Shen Yin was at a loss for words and decided to remain mute. Xia Yanchun arched her brows and settled at the edge of the bed, pulling her cold little feet into the warm quilt that Shen Yin had prepared. Her icy toes brushed against Shen Yin's feet. She took his hand and cradled it in her embrace, her fingers playfully entwining the sapphire-like hair tie around Shen Yin's wrist. You shall wear this tonight, and do not remove it before you leave tomorrow. 666, marking an item, is it? So what? A brother inherently belongs to his sister. In chapter 199, the Leshan giant Buddha, Shen Yin raised his hand, the tears of cloud and sea on his wrist glimmering under the light. Resembling a fragment of the azure sky encased in a trinket worth just a few yuan. The trinket was quite charming. Was this a proclamation of sovereignty from Chuanjin? Young couples often adorn their partner's wrists with such hair ties, signaling to other girls that their love is claimed. Shen Yin playfully pinched the girl's nose. You shall not remove it tomorrow. Take it to school. Absolutely not. Xia Yanchun pouted. If I wear it, others will find out. Who would know this trinket belongs to you? Oh, it simply cannot be. If you dare wear it outside, I shall be furious. Xia Yanchun pulled up a corner of the quilt, leaning against Shen Yin's arm. No arguments. Hurry up and watch the online class. We need to tackle the physics finale. Shen Yin did not contest her whims. He accepted her perspective. Whatever Chuanjin said was right. He had already taken Shen Yu's tablet and searched for the physics finale online class, positioning it horizontally to watch alongside Xia Yanchun. He genuinely studied when he took leave. Even if he didn't tea, Xia Yanchun would still engage in her studies. The online class was conducted by a middle-aged professor with a receding hairline, his short sleeves tucked into his belt, exuding an air of authority. The course was comprehensive. Having previously watched the mathematics lectures, he recognized its high caliber. When he lacked specific review goals in the evening, he would glance at this series, as its unique problem-solving approaches could benefit even those who typically scored around 600 to 450 on exams. Viewing online classes was indeed a form of study. Shen Yin usually took notes to highlight key points, yet now, lying beside Xia Yanchun without a notebook or pen, it appeared as though they were merely relaxing, even though they were genuinely engaged in learning. To embody the essence of studying, Shen Yin reached for the draft paper on the desk and handed it to Xia Yanchun. You take notes, do you understand? What? Why must it be me? This is a course I sought for ages, begging for talent to access. Most would charge for it. Yet I'm offering it to you for free, and you're reluctant to take notes? Reflecting on this, Xia Yanchun fell silent, propping herself up slightly, the notebook resting on her abdomen. With one hand grasping a pencil, she jotted down interesting points. She even replayed explanations on the finale problem types multiple times. What an impressive teacher, Xia Yanchun murmured. Indeed, I hardly allow anyone else to view it. Then what am I to you? Xia Yanchun glanced back, her meaning unmistakable. Can you utter those two words? Rather than asking Shen Yin to call her sister, she yearned to hear him address her in the affectionate manner he used in their childhood. You are the grass beside my nest, Shen Yin replied, baring his teeth in a grin. What nonsense. I'm speechless. Xia Yanchun rolled her eyes elegantly, her gaze drifting back to the online course. How deeply entrenched is your obsession with calling me sister? You've become a resentful spirit at this point. It's not my fault that you lack awareness. If you called out to me more often, I might actually want to listen. Honestly, I'd love to hear you call me dad, but utter another syllable, and I'll have to silence you. A playful cough escaped her lips, followed by laughter. Ah, Chunbao, you are the best. Come here, let us cuddle. The young girl was clad only in her sleepwear, half reclining, her hair cascading down naturally, just a tad longer than shoulder length, falling shy of her shoulder blades. This length allowed her to fashion a small ponytail at the nape of her neck. She had maintained this hairstyle effortlessly over the years, simply needing to comb it neatly. And Shen Yin had delighted in playing with her little ponytail for many years. Shen Yin twirled a lock of her hair, as if her scent lingered on his fingertips. Did you wash your hair today? Is your scalp all right? No. Good. Shen Yin attempted to gather her hair, recalling how they used to do it. Using 2 fingers to fashion a makeshift hair tie, creating her beloved little ponytail. What are you doing? Learning how to tie hair? I can do it myself. That is not necessary. I'm not incapacitated. Are we even talking about the same thing? Don't you think it's rather romantic for someone to style your hair? Generally, when she used to ask him to help, he would joyfully comply, only for her to seize the moment and tug at his hair in retaliation. Shen Yin couldn't help but chuckle at the memory of their childhood animosities, where they would spar fiercely, neither holding back. After all, back then, their feelings were pure animosity. How could one not harbor resentment towards someone who forced you to call them sister, made you do chores, blamed you for their mischief, invaded your bed, or playfully assaulted you, none of whom shared any blood ties? He recalled how, back then, he would have relished the chance to kick Xia Yanchun when she fell. Shen Yin mused that if he didn't give Xia Yanchun a proper beating now, it would be a testament to his benevolence. How can I still hold affection for Chunbao after being bullied like that in our childhood? He thought, feeling a wave of confusion wash over him. Was he secretly harboring a crush? Haha, certainly not. It must be Stockholm Syndrome, right? As he glanced at the fragrant Chunbao and his large hand resting on her shoulder, Shen Yin offered a soft smile. Who would have imagined that 2 individuals who once clashed would now find themselves sitting on the same bed, feet intertwined, studying together? I won't hit you anymore. Don't worry. I'm the good guy. Yeah, right. You say that while threatening to hit me every day. If you keep talking back, I might just really do it. See. Shen Yin continued to style her hair, deftly securing it with a hair tie from his wrist. It took 3 or 4 wraps to keep her hair in place. Though somewhat messy, it was enough to create a ponytail. Instinctively, he gave it a little bounce, feeling satisfied. Stay still. Xia Yanchun, unfazed, pressed pause on her screen, raised her hand to remove the hair tie, then grabbed Shen Yin's hand, rethreading the tie into her hair. I told you not to take it out. Then I won tea. Why do you keep bothering me? Are you still going to watch the online class? It's all your fault, murmured Xia Yanchun as she slightly dragged the progress bar forward. I have mastered this type of question the best. I opened it specifically for you. Are you really that kind-hearted? Of course, considering my kindness. Can we sleep together tonight? Beneath the unseen blanket, Xia Yanchun playfully nudged Shun Yin's foot. Since you desire it so much, I shall indulge you tonight. Chapter 200. When one is forceful, they suddenly become meek and seek a favor? Xia Yanchun indulged him yet again. Shun Yin, utterly enamored, wrapped his strong arms around Xia Yanchun's waist and comfortably reclined against the pillow, inviting her to lie down with him. Xia Yanchun, taken by surprise, shot him a resentful glance. Was he not afraid that she might inadvertently call out if startled? What if Shin Yu heard them? The irate girl slapped Shin Yin's hand. Don't move, just look. Shin Yin leaned closer to her face from behind, his warm breath brushing against her ear. The ear, being a sensitive spot, sent a tingling sensation through Xia Yanchun, filling her with an ambiguous warmth. Being with Shin Yin was always like this. One moment of carelessness, and he would fluster her heart and cheeks. However, lying against him was undeniably more comfortable than sitting. Half her weight pressed against him felt more pleasant than resting on a blanket. Xia Yanchun softly hummed, feigning a struggle to signify her reluctance, all while rationalizing Shun Yin's indulgence and subtly playing the role of an elder sister. You are truly the smartest, Chuanbao. Shin Yin remained silent, simply accompanying her in watching the online class, relishing the softness of the girl and occasionally caressing her face or teasing her lips with his fingers. Around 11 o'clock, a slight noise came from outside, the faint sound of footsteps approaching. Shin Yu knocked on Shin Yin's door, startling both of them. I'm going to sleep now, Xiaochun. Make sure to check that the door is closed when you return. Xia Yanchun immediately responded, praying that Shin Yu would not enter. Fortune favored her. Shin Yu did not come in, and after speaking, she returned to her own room. Hearing the door close, Xia Yanchun quietly exhaled in relief. At Shin Yin's house, one never felt as free as at home. No matter how loudly she spoke, she would not be overheard, but the weight of secrecy felt overwhelmingly heavy. Shin Yin poked her cheek. Still watching the online class? Yes. Okay. Xia Yanchun resolved to focus intently on the lesson, determined to remember all the key points presented by the instructor. She felt impressively capable. However, this state of concentration did not last long. Fatigue soon set in, and Shun Yin's movements beside her disrupted her focus. Tired? Shin Yin keenly observed her demeanor. A little. No matter how engaging, an online class remained just that. After a full day of high school classes, the evening self-study session coupled with online lessons was bound to induce weariness, and Xia Yanchun had begun to feel her eyelids grow heavy. Why not sleep in my room? What? That's creepy. Xia Yanchun remarked as such. Yet her body was unyieldingly honest, surrendering to the bed. She casually set her tablet aside on the desk, resting her head upon Shin Yin's arm, softly leaning against him. The unfamiliar quilt enveloped her in comfort, infused with Shun Yin's scent, a fragrance distinct from the one she secretly inhaled when he was unaware. If I sleep here, do you still plan to rise early for your workout tomorrow? Not anymore. Is that acceptable? As long as you don't wake me. Sneaking off for your exercise is perfectly fine. What if I accidentally wake you? Then you shall await your doom. Damn, you finished your words. Be wary. For I may deprive you of sleep tonight, resulting in a poor performance on your exam, allowing me to surpass you. Dreaming before slumber, I see. Sleep now. Xia Yanchun huffed, unafraid of his taunts. You claim you'll keep me awake all night. If I can't sleep, do you believe Shin Yin will rest easy? No matter how energetic you are, one cannot remain vibrant after a night without sleep. Even superheroes have their limits. You truly lack humor. Shin Yin, disinterested in further banter, raised his hand to extinguish the light, plunging the room into darkness. Accustomed to illumination, her eyes struggled to adjust, rendering her blind to her surroundings. Xia Yanchun remained awake, acutely aware of the warmth beside her as he shifted, drawing her closer into his embrace. His breath brushed above her head, and she instinctively knew it was Shun Yin holding her. He cherished the act of holding her, for her softness provided a delightful comfort. I detest you, Xia Yanchun retorted, eager to counter his previous jibe. Then you shall forego sleep tonight. You dare. Hush, lest my sister overhears. Prompted by his warning, Xia Yanchun immediately lowered her voice to a whisper. Do you realize this constitutes sexual harassment? If it were anyone else, you would certainly be apprehended. Not at all. I only harass you. Shin Yin's thigh pressed firmly against hers, akin to a body pillow. Before she could chastise him for his audacity, his weight became uncomfortable, prompting her to shove his leg away. Do you not realize your own weight? You could genuinely crush someone. Struggling to find the right words, Xia Yanchun contemplated calling him heavy as a pig, yet he possessed well-defined muscles and an admirable physique. Conversely, if she claimed he wasn't heavy, the discomfort he caused her belied that assertion. I must sleep. Exams await tomorrow. By the way, you won't have any nighttime accidents, will you? I'd prefer not to find my bed soiled. Never. Xia Yanchun clenched her teeth, tempted to land a punch on Shin Yin's face. In that case, I can rest easy. Will you have brown sugar ginger tea or loquat tomorrow? Either is fine. What time will you wake? Typically around 5. But since I won't be exercising tomorrow, I can rise at 5:40 to prepare your tea. Alright then, you should sleep. You've barely 6 hours left. Shin Yin brushed his forehead against hers. Is that permissible? No. Xia Yanchun poked at his chest, her neatly trimmed nails posing no threat to him. If you wish to kiss, just do so. It's not so simple. It was an opportunity, yet Shin Yin insisted on discussing his tiptoeing and initiative. If there's blame, let it rest upon him. Why? No means no, does it not? Must I provide an explanation for an unapproachable stance? Your words hold no authority. With her own words, Shen Yin stubbornly embraced the girl in her arms, turning her from side to side, transforming their positions from horizontal to vertical. His large hand glided along her delicate arm until it reached her palm, where their fingers intertwined closely, merging together. Xia Yanxun was momentarily taken aback, gazing blankly at Shen Yin, who was pressing down on her. Her almond-shaped eyes fluttered, and her heart raced, the thumping sound of her pulse overwhelming her senses, rendering Shen Yin's face clearer to her view. "I beg you, Shen Yin," she murmured, her throat dry with embarrassment. Was she really about to plead when she intended to be assertive? How mundane. Xia Yanxun thought her heartbeat was in vain. Surely, she wouldn't be able to sleep tonight without a kiss, would she? Truly, what a fool. Shen Yin blinked, subtly shifting away from her, leaning in to plant gentle kisses on her face. 1, 2, 3, before finally grazing her soft lips with a tender peck. "That's enough, truly," Xia Yanxun interrupted, flustered, exerting a bit of force to free her hands from Shen Yin's grasp. "Just lie down properly." "All right." Shen Yin relented, now behaving himself. As soon as he lay back, Xia Yanxun, like a young calf, burrowed into his embrace, her small hand resting against his chest. Feeling the unsteady rhythm of Shen Yin's heartbeat, Xia Yanxun's eyes curved in a playful manner. "Did you genuinely intend to force yourself upon me just now? I wouldn't dare, for fear of your retaliation." Good to know. The 2 newly released chapters have been reviewed. Everyone, please read them a little later. Chapter 201. Woken by your noise, the familiar warmth beside her made Xia Yanxun sleep soundly. Her hands and feet felt warm, after a brief moment. Her breathing gradually evened out. Nestled in Shen Yin's arms, while initially comfortable, maintaining such a position for an extended period became quite uncomfortable. Though Shen Yin had yet to drift into slumber, Xia Yanxun began to shift in his embrace, transitioning from lying on her side to lying flat. Her nightgown draped over her, accentuating the youthful curves of her form. Shen Yin chose to respect her for a moment before gently rearranging the blanket to cover her completely. "Haki-chan, you are truly adorable even in your sleep." Shen Yin found himself lost in thought, staring at the ceiling. The only light in the room seeping in through the curtains, creating an exceptionally tranquil atmosphere. He was sleeping in his own room with Xia Yanxun. It was indeed somewhat hard to fathom, considering that previously, he had shamelessly visited Xia Yanxun's home, pestering her just to spend the night in her room. He had taken a significant step closer to the pinnacle of happiness. The following day, Xia Yanxun slowly awoke, instinctively stretching her hand and inadvertently brushing against Shen Yin, which startled her into immediately retracting it. The sky had not fully brightened yet. Glancing at her phone revealed it was just past 5 in the morning. Xia Yanxun had slept quite comfortably, and her eyelids were not heavy, even if she chose not to continue sleeping. She felt invigorated enough to last until noon without a nap. What was this? Was sleeping beside Shen Yin always this comfortable? In her own home, yes. In Shen Yin's room, too. Xia Yanxun pondered, tiptoeing to gently grasp Shen Yin's large hand that rested on her abdomen, lifting it with utmost care to avoid waking him. The fellow had his hand tucked beneath the pajamas, seemingly unaware that a woman's lower abdomen is quite sensitive. Silly Shen Yin, even in slumber, was restless. I must scold him harshly later. Yet, to be honest, the warmth was rather pleasant. Suddenly, Shen Yin's breathing grew a touch heavier, prompting Xia Yanxun to feign sleep, fearing he might awaken. However, Shen Yin merely shifted slightly, showing no signs of waking. He had mentioned he would forego exercise today. That was why he had not risen early. Xia Yanxun lay on the outer side of the bed, while Shen Yin's phone rested on the table. She pressed the screen to illuminate it, but did not see the alarm he had set. Could he possibly wake up naturally? The mischievous side of Xia Yanxun stirred, contemplating teasing Shen Yin, yet she worried about disturbing his slumber. This internal conflict left her in a quandary. After much hesitation, she decided to indulge in a brief return to sleep. A fleeting glance made her pause, and she quietly turned away from Shen Yin, blinking her eyes as her cheeks flushed a delicate hue of crimson. Although she was aware of the natural physiological responses of boys in the morning since middle school, it still struck her as curious, particularly given the heavy blankets covering them. Certain inappropriate images invaded her thoughts unbidden, causing Xia Yanxun to bury her face in the covers, never having anticipated that returning to sleep would become such a challenge for her. Even as she endeavored to dismiss these thoughts, some memories proved stubbornly persistent. Igniting her imagination with poetic fervor, aimed at Shen Yin, she strove to remain silent, quietly contemplating her own little schemes while lying with her back to him. Just minutes after she had turned, the mattress creaked softly, signaling movement behind her. Shen Yin had awakened. He truly woke up naturally. How impressive. Were it not for sleeping beside Shen Yin, Xia Yanxun would never have stirred at 5 in the morning. Awakening at such an hour typically indicated some discomfort. And even if she did awaken, she would prefer to luxuriate in a comfortable return to sleep. Anyone who could rouse naturally at this hour and choose not to continue sleeping was destined for success in whatever they pursued. Awake? Shen Yin's soft voice came from behind, causing Xia Yanxun to hold her breath, her heart racing. How did he notice? This was alarming. Thankfully, he remained unaware. What a relief. Xia Yanxun felt exasperated as Shen Yin audaciously drew closer, cautiously pressing against her back, his large hand slipping to her abdomen and gently lifting her shirt. The warmth of his breath tickled her ear as he whispered, his hand kneading her belly. Xia Yanxun was taken aback, her ears blushing visibly, her heart racing uncontrollably. While she might have pretended nothing was amiss with a mere touch, Shen Yin's actions grew increasingly bold, even going so far as to lick her ear. Maintaining her ruse of sleep under such circumstances would be a feat worthy of admiration. Have you truly become so lecherous as to target your elder sister? Xia Yanxun, flustered and embarrassed, extricated his hand from her clothing, curled her legs, and sat up, delivering a sharp slap to the back of his head. With an angry glare, she demanded, "What on earth do you think you are doing, waking me so early?" Shen Yan, with his usual innocence, replied, "I thought you were dead asleep. Awake from slumber, what do you desire? Is mere voyeurism insufficient for you? Go perish, you lecherous man." Xia Yanchun scolded fiercely, leaving Shen Yan flushed with embarrassment. He merely intended to tease Chun Bao and share a moment of intimacy. After all, it was Haki Chun who had entertained such far-reaching thoughts, making it difficult to discern who the true pervert was. "Hush, hush, hush, lest my sister overhears." "Humph." Xia Yanchun lightly huffed, tucking a stray strand of hair behind her ear. Her voice lowered as she admonished, "Didn't I warn you last night that if you dared to wake me from my slumber, you would face dire consequences?" Shen Yan scratched his head, claiming it was unintentional. "Your hand was nearly reaching out. How can you say it wasn't deliberate?" Xia Yanchun retorted, adjusting her clothing. Shen Yan remained silent, feigning ignorance. Upon awakening, he noticed Haki Chun sleeping with her back to him, an indication she had already risen. The keen observational ability bestowed by his agility was unnerving, little one. Haki Chun resembled a jester, play-acting in her own little world. He suggested she adorn herself with a red ball on her nose. However, one must consider that her early rising likely meant she had seen little of consequence, as she was tucked under the covers. It was indeed surprising for Xia Yanchun to rise so early. The dawn had only just begun to break. He tilted his head, inquiring, "What prompts your early awakening today?" "You woke me," Xia Yanchun replied, her indignation fortifying her stance. "Ahem, my apologies, my apologies. Hush now, return to your slumber. At 6:10, I shall awaken you to change your clothes, while I prepare a bowl of sweet soup for you." As he spoke, Shen Yan attempted to lift the covers. Startled, Xia Yanchun quickly squinted and turned her face away, her gaze flitting about, avoiding Shen Yan entirely. Shen Yan paused, a question mark slowly forming in his mind. Is your averted gaze sincere? Even a fool like Shen Yan grasped the situation. The world seemed to drain of color in that instant. It felt as if the sky had fallen, revealing the mundanity of existence, evoking laughter from the absurdity of it all. Soon school would beckon. He resolved to descend without the aid of the elevator or stairs. Chapter 202. Shen Yan seemed to be unemployed. Shen Yan spoke not a word, dutifully exiting the room. The longer he lingered, the more the urge to leap became overwhelming. Fortunately, he was a youth imbued with the spirit of socialism, resolutely refusing to disseminate negativity. What was the matter with being seen reacting naturally? There was nothing to be ashamed of. A man should withstand such trials. Some individuals even soared within their rooms at night, witnessed by their childhood companions. Cursed fate. Tears slipped forth. Shen Yan grew increasingly distressed, having risen at 5:30. Why did Haki-chun feel entitled to wake so early? Previously, he would sneak breakfast into her home, and she remained oblivious until 6. He felt ensnared by Haki-chun's machinations. Such a cunning woman could truly invoke fear. Yet life must persist. After venting his frustrations, Shen Yan proceeded to brush his teeth and wash up. Xia Yanchun did not return to sleep. As Shen Yan sliced fresh ginger, she gently opened the door, tiptoeing back like a little mouse caught in the act. The more she pondered, the angrier she grew. Soon she would search for links to sleep-inducing tea. For Haki-chun had become increasingly insufferable and needed to be reined in. Xia Yanchun merely returned to brush her teeth and wash her face. After changing into a fresh outfit, she arrived early at Shen Yan's place, slipping into the kitchen with her hands behind her back, where she found Shen Yan preparing ginger tea with brown sugar for her. "What are you staring at? I'll give you a punch." Shen Yan playfully nudged her, causing the delicate Xia Yanchun to stumble slightly. "I can't even look? What's there to hide?" she retorted with a teasing tone, but upon meeting Shen Yan's gaze, she fell silent, lost in thought. "Where on earth did your mind wander off to?" "Nowhere. I've said all I needed to," Xia Yanchun huffed. Shen Yan, however, could not shake off his suspicion. If he had been overly sentimental before, he was now certain that Xia Yanchun was anything but innocent. Yet, he could not confront her, for she had firmly asserted that he was the one who had disturbed her slumber. "See, you've shifted the blame onto me again. You're such a master at this, you wicked woman," he teased. "I'll unleash the herbal remedy on you." "Truly," Shen Yan threatened. "Go ahead," she shot back, unimpressed. Shen Yan coughed, gathering saliva. "You're disgusting." Xia Yanchun grimaced, declaring she would not touch a single drop of that ginger tea if he were to spit in it. Though they could share a straw or enjoy an ice pop together, Shen Yan's spitting was simply revolting to her. "The more disgusted you are, the more it signifies my triumph," she remarked with a deadpan expression, grateful that her socks were clean, lest she be tempted to stuff them in his mouth. "May you step in dog poop on your way out." Shen Yan's spitting was merely for show. He respected the meal he had prepared. He preferred to return to his old ways of spitting at Xia Yanchun, for in their playful skirmishes, it was a magical tactic. Although such actions would trigger her second-phase fury, merely grossing her out felt like a victory. After all, he could never win in a fair fight. "Oh, I miss those days," Shen Yan sighed as he cleaned her cup and filled it with steaming ginger tea. "What on earth are you talking about?" Xia Yanchun asked, perplexed. "I miss the days when our exchanges were akin to life-and-death rivalries, the pure essence of combat. I long for the sensation of your feet upon my face and my fists upon your body. I can certainly strike you, but can your bare feet, freshly washed and dried, step on my face?" After hearing this, Xia Yanchun resolved to become a scientist and invent a time machine to return to the past and put an end to Shen Yan's younger self, for now. She could not defeat him without risking a counterattack that might lead to her own defeat. Feeling too lazy to argue, she stared blankly at Shen Yan, leaving him feeling uneasy and awkwardly smiling. Just kidding, just kidding. Here, take your water." It's still quite early. How about we go out for some fresh air? Who wants to go out in this winter chill? Have you lost your mind? You hit me, he retorted. Humph, you deserved it back then. All right. You're not getting any sympathy from me now. Xia Yanchun puffed up her cheeks, clearly uninterested. Then I won't call you anymore. And you won't get any affection either. Oh, you truly have no sense of humor, not even recognizing a jest. Humph, I thought you were more formidable. Hee. Xin Yan would not let go of Miss Wu Bianchao, ensuring that she was comfortably attended to before indulging in her. It was not until 6:10 that Xia Yanchun, with her cup in hand, returned home, shouldering her little backpack. As she stepped out, a hot water bottle dangled from her chest, her small hands warmly nestled inside. When had she bought that? Xin Yan curiously squeezed it. It was quite warm. Earlier. Please hold this for me. Xia Yanchun puffed as she handed the hot water bottle to Xin Yan, rummaging through her backpack to produce a pair of fluffy earmuffs. These earmuffs offered little in terms of sound insulation, yet their plush lining provided warmth, shielding her ears from the biting wind. Ah, earmuffs. You are well equipped, Xin Yan remarked. You asked me to buy them, and I even got one for you. Did I mention that? Xin Yan stroked his chin thoughtfully. Indeed, it hasn't been long. Yet you've forgotten. You claim to want to be my best friend, so off you go with your generous portion of the finest delicacies, she teased. I truly did not remember. The only thing that lingers in my mind is the image of you frying cow dung, he retorted. I only remember you taking control in the dead of night, she shot back. Starting from 0 frames. Isn't that an obvious overreach? Xin Yan felt desensitized by the exchange. Xia Yanchun had become so nonchalant about that incident. Life was indeed peculiar. She pursed her lips, then burst into laughter. All right, let us quickly try on the earmuffs. Taking the hint, Xin Yan slightly bowed his head, allowing Xia Yanchun to place the earmuffs on him. They were quite warm, and even his ears felt no discomfort against the chilly 8 to 9 degree weather. Xia Yanchun donned her own earmuffs and retrieved the hot water bottle, which had a strap for hanging. Lightweight, she preferred to drape it around her neck, although it resembled a bandage on an injured hand. How much did this cost? Xin Yan inquired, feeling the earmuffs. About 30. Don't forget to transfer me the money. She replied playfully. Such a miser, he remarked. Just a tad, she quipped. Stepping outside, a gust of wind greeted them, swirling the dust from the roadside until it finally settled. It's quite cold today, she observed. Indeed, but thankfully I have my hot water bottle, Xia Yanchun boasted. Lifting it slightly, Xin Yan smiled gently, intending to tousle her hair as he had in the past, but with her earmuffs on, her hair was flattened. He also considered slipping her small hand into his pocket, but she had tucked it back into the hot water bottle. Xin Yan felt as though he was at a loss. Xia Yanchun hummed a cheerful tune, leaning against Xin Yan and giving him a playful glance. Xin Yan, unpretentious in his demeanor, showed no inclination to hide his thoughts. She giggled, withdrawing a delicate hand from the hot water bottle and slipping it into his pocket. What would you like to eat later? My treat, she offered. A bit of porridge would suffice. Sounds good. Her hand seamlessly transitioned into Shun Yan's pocket. Chapter 203. A letter of blood from Thousand. Xia Yanchun enjoyed sitting on the back seat of Shun Yan's bike. One arm wrapped around him while the other held hot porridge, sipping through a straw until they reached the school gate. The warm porridge gliding down one's throat is truly a delightful sensation, enveloping the stomach in a comforting warmth. However, the porridge served at the breakfast stall pales in comparison to the exquisite flavor crafted by Shun Yan. While the taste may seem comparable, she sincerely believes that Shun Yan's porridge is far superior. Could it be that dishes infused with emotion indeed taste better? Is the magic that makes omelette rice delectable in maid cafes truly a reality? Or has he secretly added some special ingredient? Regardless, the porridge is undeniably delicious, though the process of making it is rather cumbersome. Unlike cooking rice, which merely requires washing and adding water, porridge demands careful attention to timing. If it boils without being covered and removed from heat at the right moment, it can easily turn into a mushy mess. Expecting a high school student to rise early to prepare porridge is rather harsh, especially since she already has to head to school early. Not to mention Shun Yan's morning routine of exercising and preparing ginger tea for her. Nonetheless, Shun Yan's daily gesture of making her tea touches her heart. Who would have thought that the once brawny and reckless youth could exhibit such tenderness? Hawking Yan, you've been performing admirably lately. With a cup brimming with ginger tea, Xia Yanchun, in a good mood, rested her chin on Shun Yan's shoulder, showering him with praise. Are you referring to this morning when I playfully nudged you while you were still waking up? Is that your idea of affection? You, remarkable individual. I was referring to your daily ritual of preparing tea for me. When I scold you and you call me Hawking Yan, I choose to ignore it. Now that I am diligently attending to your needs, what should you call me? Brother, Xia Yanchun promptly replied. Bold indeed. I shall call you Chun Bao. And what should you call me? Xin Yan said with an air of seriousness. Still brother, she retorted. Ah, child unteachable. It appears I have misplaced my trust in you, and thus, I must impose a fine of 800 yuan. Hand me your phone. Don't be ridiculous. I have no intention of spending frivolously. Xin Yan was well aware of Hockey Chun's little tricks, having encountered them countless times. With electric bikes at their disposal, they swiftly arrived at school. Rising early meant they arrived early, and the streets were bustling with students. Even on a chilly morning of 8 or 9 degrees. There were brave souls who prioritized style over warmth, donning only their school uniforms. Xin Yan, however, was not so resilient. He required at least a sweatshirt to combat the coolness. Today's examinations included English and comprehensive science, and Xin Yan, now a paragon of academic excellence, felt no trepidation even without a review. After years of diligent study, he was ready to embrace the present moment. Sitting back in his seat, he chuckled lightly. Haven't you only been working hard for one semester? Xia Yanchun unflinchingly called him out. Did the efforts I put forth in elementary and middle school not count? We both attended the same school. To say I didn't work hard would be to demean myself. After all, if I could excel enough to attend the same institution as you, perhaps you are the one lacking in strength. Passing by the water station, Chen Xiaoyu turned back. Her ears perked with curiosity. You both were in the same school? I recall the class monitor spent her elementary and middle school years in town. Are you both from the same hometown? Indeed, we are fellow townsfolk. Xia Yin Chun nodded in agreement. We studied in town together. You continued through high school together? Surely. You weren't in the same class the entire time? To this question, Xia Yin Chun eagerly replied. No, just the same school. We became acquainted over time. Oh. If you had been in the same class all along, that would have been quite youthful, wouldn't it? Indeed, when it comes to youth, one cannot help but reminisce about some youthful phrases. Shen Yin's sixth sense was activated. Sensing that Chen Xiaoyu was about to lose her composure, he decisively interrupted, questioning the significance of youth, as if it were merely a school. What was the big deal? He had prepared some artistic and poetic phrases, but was abruptly interrupted by Shen Yin's spell, leaving Chen Xiaoyu feeling rather dejected. After murmuring a few words with Xia Yanchun, she fetched some hot water and returned. The classroom was not yet crowded, so Shen Yin tore a piece of paper into small bits, crumpling one into a ball and tossing it at Xia Yanchun. Landing a golden hit, Xia Yanchun, overwhelmed with disbelief, opened the note, only to find more confusion. Shen Yin remarked, "Is it shameful to be in the same class as me?" Xia Yanchun replied, "It's quite embarrassing. I fear others will think I'm foolish." Shen Yin retorted, "If you insult me, you better apologize. If I don't receive an apology, I might just hang myself from your bedside tonight." Xia Yanchun hastily sketched a pig's nose on the note, adding a long, crooked arrow that covered the whole paper, with Shen Yin inscribed at the arrow's tip. Upon reading it, Shen Yin was thoroughly exasperated. How audacious to fill the note to prevent his response. As more classmates arrived, Shen Yin found himself unable to trouble Xia Yanchun and shifted his attention to Ma Mingfan instead. He inadvertently recalled the time during the sports meet when Ma Mingfan had patted his head for 30 minutes, a rather intimate encounter. The fervor he once held had long since vanished, and he realized that escaping that ordeal was largely due to Ma Mingfan. For a moment, he felt a tinge of guilt. What a peculiar mindset. Those in the know were engaged in playing Naruto, while the unaware might think they were indulging in something entirely different. Ma Mingfan had initially planned to enjoy a peaceful pre-exam nap, but as soon as he lay down, visions of candy so sweet invaded his dreams. Suddenly, Shen Yin slapped him on the shoulder, jolting him awake. "Good grief, Shen Yin, you're like a father to me," Ma Mingfan exclaimed, moved to tears. Shen Yin and Shen Dong always managed to rouse him from his nightmares, and with friends like these, what more could one desire? A multitude of heartfelt letters had listed Shen Yin and Shen Dong among the nation's top 10 most moving figures. Although Shen Yin was perplexed, he smiled and patted Ma Mingfan more vigorously. "Are you just now realizing it? I've known all along. You truly are my father," Ma Mingfan declared, overwhelmed with gratitude. "Haha, I know. I've been your father for ages. You must treat me to a big bottle of cola later, preferably Pepsi." Suddenly, Shen Yin's enthusiasm made Ma Mingfan uneasy. "Wait a second, are we really on such terms? Did that slap truly elevate me to fatherhood? Is that what it takes to earn your respect?" Having known Ma Mingfan's eccentricities, Shen Yin was taken aback by the depth of his oddity. Alarmed, he stepped back and called out to Xia Yanchun, "Do you have any alcohol wipes? Come quickly and save me." "Yes," Xia Yanchun replied, moving past Li Shiyin to rummage through a drawer. Producing 2 antiseptic wipes to hand to Shen Yin, he took them and scrubbed his hands vigorously, fearing contamination. The atmosphere within the circle has become tumultuous, leading to a severance of the father-son relationship. Chapter 204, No hand-holding allowed. What do you mean by that? Ma Mingfan stared, seemingly disdainful of his friend, right? Haha, no, could you please not touch me? Of course, it's not that I dislike you. I just believe that male affection should not be so intimate. We are merely classmates, so let us maintain a bit of distance. Damn, you're such a BYD. Xia Yanchun, eavesdropping nearby, stifled a giggle, feeling a little giddy about the pair. At 9:30, the English examination commenced as usual. Shen Yin scribbled effortlessly, brimming with confidence. His estimated score would undoubtedly exceed 145. He wrote so fervently that his pen nearly ran out of ink. Time for a new refill. What about the old one? Naturally, it was discarded into the trash. The afternoon S comprehensive science exam was even simpler. The entire mock exam was of moderate difficulty, which posed little challenge for Shen Yin, though it might be somewhat daunting for those who typically score around 550. For other schools, the difficulty might be higher, given the disparities between institutions. As school ended in the afternoon, the 2-day, exhilarating mock exam drew to a close. It remained uncertain when the results of the mock would be released, and the main quest had to be temporarily set aside. After this mock, the next principal task was uncertain. Would it be the second mock or the midterm? Or perhaps all 3 mocks would be evaluated as one. The ultimate main quest would be the college entrance examination. The first mock was akin to a formidable demon general, as described by the system, which suggested it was on par with a trusted minion of the demon lord, belonging to the later stages of an otherworldly narrative. Tasks in the later stages should dwindle, and the rewards provided by the system would likely suffice. This system is not of the overpowered variety. It merely serves as an auxiliary and guiding force, allowing one to gain a certain edge in the other world. However, without commensurate effort, its assistance could become rather trivial. It pales in comparison to a truly overpowered system. Thankfully, my friend hasn't traversed into that realm. Otherwise, he would be cut down by monsters in the other world. Shen Yin chuckled to himself, wondering if the system could remain his companion for eternity, a respite from the chaos. Just as Xia Yanchun returned from the restroom, she observed Shun Yin behaving rather eccentric at his desk. What are you grinning about? I thought of something delightful. Shun Yin grinned widely. The mermaid cliché. I said nothing. I wasn't even planning to use a cliché. I know you too well, Xia Yanchun remarked. Pulling out the hot water bag she had been secretly charging at the drinking fountain. Shun Yin smiled, though his expression bore a hint of mockery, feeling that Yanchun truly believed she had the upper hand. Oh well, let us just let Yanchun enjoy herself daily. At the end of the school day, the classroom was sparsely populated. Most students hurriedly rearranged their seats before retreating to their dorms for a shower, leaving only Shun Yin and Xia Yanchun, the two off-campus students, particularly relaxed. There was no need to check answers or shower. An hour and a half was certainly sufficient for a meal, with nothing to occupy his time. Shun Yin approached the podium to play with the multimedia equipment. How about I play a song for you? I don't listen to Hakimi music. Not even the hit songs. I knew it. Move aside. I'll play it. Xia Yanchun sprinted to the podium, nudging Shun Yin aside. Her flushed fingers tapping the multimedia controls. She played a gentle, soothing English song that brought a sense of comfort to the atmosphere. The school features a broadcasting system where students can pay to request songs, with the most popular selections being Jay Chou's Rice Aroma and Blue and White Porcelain, as well as several tracks by Lin Junjie. Occasionally, some students opt for Japanese and Korean songs, while English songs are quite rare. However, Xia Yanchun has a profound affinity for English music. Not only does she find it melodious, but it also serves as an excellent means to practice her English. She often translates the lyrics on her own or reads them aloud to enhance her speaking skills. Isn't it delightful? My divine playlist could elevate anyone who listens to it. It's just mediocre, Shun Yin remarked, stroking his chin. If you say it's mediocre, that implies it's quite good. Shun Yin felt a tinge of embarrassment. What if I say it's excellent? Then it must be extraordinarily delightful. And if I declare it unpleasant, the more you find it displeasing, the more it indicates that my song selections are exquisite. All right, it's delightful. Is that satisfactory? Shun Yin raised his hands in surrender, pondering why he should resist her enthusiasm. No sooner had he spoken than he noticed Su Kashi passing by and quickly cleared his throat. Xia Yanchun, entirely unfazed, busily tapped away on her device, opening the web version of Douyin, dismissing the few onlookers as she scrolled through videos. Ahem, have you caught a cold? Xia Yanchun tilted her head and, seizing the moment, teased, huh? Serves you right for not dressing warmly enough. Now you know your error. Don't forget to buy some cold medicine. Sukashi paused at the classroom entrance, arms crossed, surveying the room until her gaze fixed on Shun Yin and Xia Yanchun. Good day, teacher. Shun Yin stood at attention. Startled, Xia Yanchun turned around and awkwardly greeted her as well. While she often admonished others against misusing multimedia, she found herself caught in the act as the class monitor, unable to shift the blame onto Shun Yin. After observing them for a moment in silence, Sukashi simply walked away, her footsteps echoing on the floor. What does the teacher mean by that? It appears we are the ones playing. I'm unsure where to begin to explain. Shun Yin nudged Xia Yanchun. You are simply too obedient. If I were the top student in the entire school, I would frequent the office for tea daily, and I wouldn't drink anything unless it was brewed by the grade supervisor. Had I been the one playing just now, I would not have cared about the homeroom teacher. What nonsense. Are you truly the top student, acting like a school bully? How about this? Next time you take an exam, intentionally score lower. Having held the top position for so long, I should be allowed a turn. Shun Yin rubbed his hands together. If you desire to be the top student, defeat me academically rather than resorting to such tricks. Xia Yanchun paused, covering her mouth as she whispered, unless you promise to call me sister every day from now on, I might consider intentionally scoring lower, but only for the final exam. Dream on. Then there's nothing to discuss. May the best contender win. With some time to spare, Shun Yin suggested, shall we take a stroll downstairs? It's cold outside. Then bring your hot water bottle. Shun Yin descended from the podium, heading straight to Xia Yanchun's seat to retrieve her fuzzy earmuffs. Faced with Shun Yin's actions, Xia Yanchun momentarily found herself at a loss for words, but ultimately followed him downstairs. The first floor was nearly deserted, with only a few supporting columns, and the wind was much stronger below, causing Xia Yanchun's bangs to become disheveled in an instant. It is quite a torment. Enduring the chill with Shun Yin during my menstrual period. Yet, what can one do? After all, I am the elder sister. I might as well indulge him a little. Put them on, he urged, as he gently tucked a strand of hair behind her ear and helped her don the earmuffs, which shielded her delicate ears snugly. In such a public place, his actions startled Xia Yanchun, who glanced around anxiously, relieved to find no familiar faces, and quietly exhaled a sigh of relief. Let us take a stroll around the playground. Honestly, if you have nothing better to do, you might as well find a good book to read. What's wrong? We just finished the exam. It's been ages since class resumed, and you want to even allow me a leisurely walk on campus? Then why did you drag me down here? Shun Yin shot her a glance. Without you, I wouldn't even want to wander. Xia Yanchun huffed, playfully nudging him, the fabric of their clothes producing a soft rustling sound. The campus path was perfect for a leisurely stroll after an exam. A chance to calm the mind and discover new sights. Xia Yanchun often walked this path at night, but rarely during the day. Yesterday she hurried past without noticing. But today, alongside Shun Yin, she observed numerous couples clandestinely meeting, some even boldly holding hands. How audacious. Shun Yin's hands dangled loosely at his sides. She discreetly stole a glance at him, thinking to herself that she must resist the urge to withdraw her hands from the warmth of her pockets, for he would undoubtedly want to hold them. Xia Yanchun preferred to walk ahead of Shun Yin. However, his strides were long, effortlessly closing the gap between them. Each time he drew near, she quickened her pace to maintain a distance. After several attempts, Shun Yin began to stroll behind her, hands in pockets, observing her petite figure. As the twilight enveloped them, Shun Yin shielded his eyes from the golden light. He recalled a time when he and Xia Yanchun had competed to see who could gaze at the sun the longest. He had easily triumphed, laughing heartily at her expense. The consequence was a lingering light spot in his vision that refused to dissipate, a reminder of that moment. He was but a child then, fearing he might go blind. And it took much coaxing from his mother to quell his tears. That evening, he had been reprimanded for demanding a black eye mask to play pirate. Oh. The trials and tribulations of a life destined for greatness. Continuing along the path, they approached the playground, and with a slight turn, they encountered a charming bamboo grove, designated as the responsibility of Class 11. In summer, it was sure to be besieged by mosquitoes, leaving Xia Yanchun with legs covered in bites. Shen Yan, who preferred wearing shorts, often found